Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joe Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 212. In this episode, we're going to talk about Tua's historic game, the Colts' issues, Nathaniel Hackett, most impressive 2-0 starts, which 0-2 teams we are concerned about, and give our picks for NFL Week 3. I think in this episode, no intro needed. Let's jump right into it.
No intro needed.
We know what you guys want to hear. We know why you're here. Tua had a great game. Drew, you have a Tua jersey on.
Is it?
The Dolphins beat the Ravens 42-38, 21-point fourth quarter comeback. Teams trailing by 21 in that scenario have been 0-711. Drew, the floor is yours.
This is an L for you. You're a Ravens guy.
I am a Ravens guy.
Deeply Ravens guy.
No.
Well, needless to say, Sunday was electric. One of the better days of my regular season career. You know, usually I carry a laptop every time we do a show. And I knew this moment was going to come at some point in time during this season. I wasn't sure which week, but I knew it would come. So I wrote down here in this book of mine a list of names for the people that doubted Tua Tagovailoa.
You're going to open the book?
Bro's got a journal.
Yeah, this is nuts.
For everyone to see.
And he's had this book for a minute.
May I see?
This isn't something you
Okay.
put together. I know you've had it for a minute.
It says list of Tua doubters. Okay.
You use the whole book?
Oh no, it's a couple pages. First name I want to shout out. RFF Football. Alex Blasek. This is the first guy to ever stitch me. It was the video of me saying that Tua was going to enter that top 10 conversation. He told me that Tua is not even a top 10 quarterback in the AFC.
Ooh,
okay?
Spicy.
Next, I want to shout out the 911.1 thousand people that watched that Tua video of me saying that he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. I also want to shout out the endless Twitter accounts that tweet at me anytime Tua has a bad game, a bad throw in training camp, in OTAs. I want to shout out Serge, absolutely, right? Serge, I can't tell you the amount of times that he messaged me privately about how bad Tua is. The historic, the Andy Dalton picture that Joel loves to use was actually given to him by Serge.
Wow. Shout out to Serge for that
It's
pic.
a funny picture.
Tua his ceiling is Andy Dalton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in parentheses, I actually have idiot written next to his name. Next, I want to call out my so-called friends. Joey Stassi, we actually had him on the show. He's told me that Tua sucks at least 25 times in my life. Patreon member G Boog, he told me that Tua sucks, never be good. One of our guys, John Tortorelli, right? Another guy who said that Tua sucks.
Steelers fans.
But you know what? I have to give him his due diligence. He texted me privately, and he said that Tua, he's apologizing for all the things that he said. I actually want to shout out my own father. My own dad, who did not believe in Tua Tagovailoa either. And I told him that he's going to regret that because it's going to be a moment like this where I come on air and I let him know how wrong he was. You.
What? Wait, what?
For joining FinFam but refusing to accept Tua Tagovailoa.
You wrote me down, bro. That was just like 3 weeks ago.
My good friend Joel Dehls, who I've known for more years than not, saying that he was a bottom-tier quarterback in the National Football League.
Here we go.
And of course, in all capital letters, the last name on my page.
Who is it?
Who you think, bro?
Joel V. Moran.
Me?
I had to sit here for a year and take endless abuse about how Tua's mediocre. To be kind, Tua's bad. He'll never be a franchise quarterback. He's got a weak arm. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league. His ceiling's Jimmy G. Now, on Sunday, we saw Tua absolutely erupt. First half, not the greatest. Touchdown, 2 INTs. But it's a tale of two halves in the National Football League. Threw for over 300 yards in the second half, threw for 5 touchdowns. Ended the game with 6 total touchdowns, 469 yards, and down 21 in the fourth quarter, goes and scores 4 straight touchdowns to win the game on the road against one of the best teams in the National Football League, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I was emotional. I won't lie. I really was. Because I knew it was inevitable that Tua was going to have a breakout game. But I never imagined 469 yards, 6 touchdowns against the Baltimore Ravens. Down 21 points. No way. But I knew Tua inevitably would prove me right. And you know what's the beauty of this all? The name of the show. Pick a Side Podcast. Because when you pick a side and you're on the right side of history, but you know what? You stick to it. You don't doubt yourself. You trust in your guns. Sometimes it pays off. And you have moments like this. A true victory lap. Shout out to Tua and absolutely the unbelievable game that he had. You got to give credit to the wide receivers. Absolutely Tua. And listen, of course, this is all credit to Tua, but it would not be possible without Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the amazing offensive line that showed out this past Sunday. Mike McDaniel called an amazing game. But at the end of the day, the quarterback has to execute, and that's exactly what Tua did. I had to sit here for a year, take abuse from this man every single week. And he likes to, and the crazy part about it, actually, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, he had the audacity to go onto his show, The Crunch Time. Make sure you tune into that, actually. And say that it's time to stop being so hypercritical of Tua. When that's absolutely all this man has done for the past year. He tried to hit me with some BS line before the show about how he said that Tua's going to have a great statistical season. He never doubted that. But you know what? That means absolutely nothing when you refuse to pick a side. Shout out to Tua and shout out to the Fin fam. Shout out to those that never doubted Tua and was able to celebrate this moment. It's the regular season, so we're not satisfied. But this is a great start to the season. 2-0 against the division rival, the Patriots, one of the best teams in the AFC, in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens. But now this is the true test. The Buffalo Bills, who have been probably the best team in football.
Bills Mafia.
But let's celebrate this one while we can, boys.
That was a beautiful monologue.
No, that was really good.
You have a list that's actually hilarious. Shout out to you for that.
That was really good. And
Rebuttal?
I will say this. Last week, Nathaniel Hackett had one of the more horrible head coaching debuts. Clock management was absolutely horrendous. Against the Texans, we'll talk about that later on today. He was horrible once again. But when I came here and said, I don't believe in him as a coach, that's overreacting. Tua has this performance. Everybody's now wrong about him. Did I say stop being hypercritical about Tua? Yes. I think today he deserves his credit. He had a historic performance. After everything he's been through, I think it's deserved. But in week 2, we're propping him up to be a franchise quarterback. Everybody that questioned him and his ability all of a sudden is wrong today because of a week 2 game. If that's not overreacting, what is? That's an overreaction. Now, you're right. When I first created this show, Pick a Side, the name was a bit of, I guess, just a shot in the dark. You know, I love the name.
Let me give you the credit that you deserve. It's one of the best names of any podcast.
It was because I wanted it to be different than mainstream sports shows. That's why it has been disappointing to me that in the comments I have been reading that I am now being compared to the headliners of the shows that I disliked.
Yeah.
Now,
Skip, in fact.
while on this show, my opinions, I tend to stay firm on.
Tend?
What?
When I'm wrong, I admit when I'm wrong. And this is one of those moments. I'll admit that I'm wrong. Now, Tua proved me wrong. I did not think he was capable of a performance like that. I could have dreamed a million dreams, hibernated for 11 winners, and never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that Tua Tagovailoa, Tua turned the ball over, Tua sucks on cup, would have had the stat line that he had. I'm shocked. You said it. You were shocked. It surprised you. I am shocked. If you were shocked, imagine how I must feel. I'm astonished. But it didn't feel like a nightmare. It felt like, okay, that's a good performance. Matt Flynn had 6 touchdowns.
Ooh.
Nick Foles had an amazing performance.
Jesus Christ.
So happy he did this.
7 touchdowns.
Because this is how simple it is. None of those quarterbacks were down 21 in the fourth quarter on the road
against the Baltimore
against one of the better defenses in the league.
With that being said, let's be honest about what happened. Did Tua make some amazing throws? Yes. I'm not here to say that, he was throwing a wide open guy. They wasn't that impressive. The performance was impressive. It's as simple as that. It was impressive. But did the Ravens blow coverages? Yes. Did Tua capitalize on that? Yes. The Dolphins had over 220 yards of yak. That's almost half of Tua's yards. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, they get the ball, they're going 15-plus yards, and that was chunk yards each time. Did this performance change where Tua ranks in the AFC amongst top quarterbacks? Joel and Riv, because I know you are insanely biased, but I'll even ask you, Drew. Is he up there with Mahomes?
Hell no.
Josh Allen?
Not even close.
Justin Herbert?
Nope.
Lamar Jackson?
Negative.
Even Russell Wilson, who's been struggling?
Nah.
Would you put Tua there? What about Joe Burrow?
Not yet.
Could have the conversation.
Now, I knew you were going to say that. Isn't that an overreaction? Joe Burrow, who last season threw for 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, had a pass rating of 97 in the playoffs.
Too early.
And which included 2 game-winning drives in the playoffs because of one Week 2 game by Tua. We can have the conversation.
Do you want to know
what
why
has
it's not an
Tua
overreaction?
done
You want to know
to
why
have
it's
that
not an
conversation?
overreaction? Want to know why it's not an overreaction? Because I've had this statement said on the show already. So it's not an overreaction to me. I've already believed this.
This is just you.
I've already believed this. So it's not an overreaction because if you watch the show and you're a fan of it, I've been made fun of that statement endless times as well.
You've said on air that Tua is better than Burrow.
That he will be better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Although you think he could be better than Burrow, even though you have said it in the past, it's still an overreaction given their resumes up to this point. It is an overreaction. One guy has been to the playoffs, has been to the Super Bowl, and had a top 5 quarterback season last year, was in the MVP race.
He was amazing.
Now, this is a fact. In our NFL predictions for the AFC, I had the Dolphins going 10-7. I had them missing the playoffs, being the 8th seed. Now, do I maybe prop them up over teams like Denver? Yeah, it's possible. They can make the playoffs. I think they can. Did I say Tua was going to have a good statistical season? Yes. Me and Joel never once said Tua is going to be horrible in this offense and he's not going to be good. We said he's going to have a Jared Goff 2017-like season, which Tua will be great statistically. But the real issue is what's going to happen when pressure is getting home on Tua and he has to make throws in a crowded pocket? What's going to happen when they force him out the pocket and he has to make off-platform throws?
Isn't that something? Because you know what we saw this past Sunday? Tua making off-platform throws,
That's true.
scrambling out of the pocket,
He was amazing.
and making
You're
throws.
talking about the spin in the red zone?
Forget about just the spin. How about the
He was just
game-winning
down- he was down
touchdown
21.
where the pressure's coming? He steps up in the pocket, moves up, and high points the ball to Jalen Waddle. We're talking about the game-winning play with less than 20 seconds on the clock.
Although Tua had a phenomenal performance, the great thing about the NFL is that it's a week-to-week thing.
No doubt.
Joe Burrow just led a team to the Super Bowl, and after 2 weeks, people are calling him a fraud. You have to prove it on a week-to-week basis. This performance was great, but can we see the consistency before we just say, my goodness, he's a franchise guy?
I've said this isn't an overreaction to me. You know, if this was anyone else, if Joel came here and said, he's a franchise guy, then I can understand these statements. Because Joel never believed he was a franchise guy. If he's coming here and saying it, then to him, it would be an overreaction. To me,
I get what you're saying.
I've known this.
Wait,
I've always trusted that Tua was a franchise
wow.
guy.
Okay, so that's really funny because all offseason long I've been down on the Broncos, and after week 1, when they got embarrassed by the Seahawks, I came on the show and said this was horrible, and people said I overreacted. Although that's something I believed in the offseason. You can believe in something, and it still can be classified as an overreaction.
This isn't just the offseason, though. I've said this since Tua was drafted. This is years in the making.
Since Russell Wilson got to the Broncos, I've said
it's just two different types of scenarios.
No, it's not.
Listen, the point you're making,
it's the same thing.
It's a fair point, but it's just a little bit more extreme in my case.
Ooh.
They're both overreactions.
I don't think mine's an overreaction.
The difference
they're
is
hindsight bias. Both of them.
The difference is they're both overreactions. Did I overreact? Yes. But guess what? I am not backtracking on overreaction because I believe the Broncos are going to disappoint this year. There's no doubt.
I mean,
just same way with you. You've always believed in Tua. So although in week 2 you're propping him up in the same conversation as Joe Burrow, it's still an overreaction, even though you've been believing it for a while, because he has still not accomplished what Joe Burrow has accomplished to this point.
To regular people, it's an overreaction. To me, it's not.
It's confirmation bias. You believed in Tua before this. You believed that the Broncos weren't going to be this fantastic team, and through 2 weeks, both of those have been proven right on both sides. So that's why you guys are going to come up there and say that.
That's why I say it's a fair point.
So both take the W.
Yeah. Go
Well,
ahead.
it's fine to bring up something that we're not talking about, bring into this conversation. I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's recent. It's what happened last
hey,
week.
King, it's fine.
Last week.
You know,
It happened last week.
Bring something else to bring into this conversation. That'll help you out.
No, it's
smart. I'll really give you that. It's
both,
smart.
It's just they're both
Very.
overreactions. It's not really much
One's
to think
not.
about it.
One's not.
Yeah, it is. Would you classify, if anybody told you after week 2, now wait, so actually this is a better question. Where did you have Joe Burrow ranked in your top quarterbacks list?
He was top 10.
So Tua is arguably a top 10 quarterback.
I believe that.
Is that not an overreaction?
I think that's just a little crazy.
So he's moved up. Would you have to a 16?
Oh, he's not top 10 right now. End of the season, like I said, he will enter that conversation. I said that.
He could enter.
I got clipped.
Kyler Murray tier.
And I got
man.
embarrassed.
Kyler Murray tier.
A playoff game changes a lot.
You had Joe Burrow over Kyler Murray.
I did.
So Tua is better than Kyler Murray.
He can be.
Tua is better than Dak Prescott.
He can be.
Off of one game.
I've already believed this.
You know he's believed
No, but
Even the K1
although
one?
He's a K1 guy.
That's what I'm just confused.
But this is what I'm trying to gauge. Although you believe in it, does not change. It is in fact an overreaction.
For me, it's not. It's not an overreaction.
I guess. Well, we have 2 years. Well, no, 2 years and 2 games of tape that have proved that Tua doesn't make the best of decisions.
Yeah.
And you know,
And then after the first 2 games of the season, okay, now he's a franchise quarterback. He's a borderline top 10 guy. After 2 games in the season.
I just want to say this really quick. And then I'm sorry, boys. I know that it's been very me and Joel centric.
Listen, this is y'all beef.
Yeah, I know it's what the fans want to hear. I'll let y'all go.
It's y'all beef.
Of the quarterbacks drafted in Tua's draft class, only one quarterback has a winning record. Just one.
Would you like to
The
say
one
his name?
who's supposedly the worst out of all of them. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua's records against Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Super Bowl winning head coaches. He's 8-1. He's 2-0 against Lamar. He's undefeated against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Because that whole theory of Belichick against rookie quarterbacks, Tua takes that, crumbles it up, and throws it in the trash. 17-8 as a starter, and 7-3 in his division.
Who hasn't he beat?
That's facts. That's
Bills
facts.
Mafia.
The Bills have had his number.
Josh Allen, baby.
Bill's got a lot of people's number.
Best team in the league.
Bills
bro.
are probably the best team in the league. But this upcoming week is a true test. Like
It's
I
in
said in my
Miami, right?
monologue. Yes, it is.
It'll be fun.
In his first 2 seasons,
It will be
he's-
extremely fun.
and
He has a completion percentage of 66%.
Oh, Tua's been amazing.
He had a completion percentage this past weekend of 72 on 50 attempts.
Tua's a dog. Tua's been a dog, bro.
in
In the
his
fourth
first
quarter,
2 seasons,
199 yards, 4 touchdowns.
in his first 2 seasons, 13-8. In those games, he's averaged 194 yards per game.
Tua had the worst offensive line last year. He had the 3rd worst rush offense last season.
I think, yeah.
His wide receiver 1, watch the crunch time, because you did an excellent job of breaking it down. Absolutely.
Watch the fucking crunch time.
Devontae Parker was his number 1 option. And we all know Devontae Parker. He gets no separation. It's a different story now because he has an offensive guy that knows what he's doing. He has two of the best receivers in the National Football League, a great tight end in Mike Gesicki. I'll give him that credit now. And Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds that are going to be very serviceable running backs. And this offensive line has been spectacular through 2 games.
I think, was it Mike just said he
We
had a great
finally
catch
have Tua in a situation where I wanted to see him thrive, and I wanted to see him in a situation where he would be able to thrive. And here he is, proving it early.
Look, you said it excellently. I think Tua, first time situation where he has a good situation around, at least offensively, because Brian Flores and that defense always came up.
They held it down.
They always came to play.
They held it down.
But in terms of offensively, Tua's finally put in a good situation. And look, I'll give him his credit. He's having great performances. He had one against the Ravens in the fourth quarter. He's been fantastic. But I think right now, this is where I'm moving.
What a great day.
Can you win with Tua?
Day.
Yes.
Yes.
The same way you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers have proven that.
Jimmy Garoppolo's never had a game like this.
I will say this.
That Saints game was
Has
tough, though.
Has Tua graduated?
This is different.
Has Tua graduated the Jimmy Garoppolo's his ceiling take from me? Yes. He's now in the his ceiling could be Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill in 2019-2020.
Don't say
my
that
ceiling.
name.
I'd
Ryan
kill
Tannehill is so
myself.
mid.
Kirk Cousins was my ceiling. After what I just seen, I'd be mad as hell.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's
The
Tannehill. Don't do that.
2019 and 2020. Tannehill.
Tannehill was
Is that
cool.
what, I thought you were
Yeah,
saying.
I'll say
okay.
both of them have put up some really good years.
Tannehill's
I don't
cool.
think that's disrespectful.
I think we're kind of in the same boat in the sense of where, for starters, Tua had a beautiful game. You know, you can't knock coming back from 21 points in the fourth quarter. You can't knock that. He had a beautiful game, amazing game. I guess I made your list. I didn't even know I made your list, but all right, cool.
I couldn't let you. I couldn't.
I didn't know. I just wasn't as high on Tua. I put him, and me and Dehls, we talk about this all the time. I put him in the same category as Hurts, in the sense whereof we want to see them prove it consistently for a year. Now, Hurts is a little different because he made the playoffs last year, but in primetime games, he wasn't that good. And in the playoffs, he wasn't that good. This year, both of them have a better offense, and you can see it. Allen is a prime example. When you get a number one receiver, things just open up. The field just opens up. He has 2 number one receivers. You know, however you want to look at Waddle, I view him as a number one. He's just a number 2.
He is a number one.
Yes, two dynamic number
1A,
one.
1A. That's
when
them.
you have that type of game, it just opens up your game so much. It opens up the field. And Tua just looks healthier. He looks more comfortable. The offensive line's been great. Granted, it's been 2 weeks, but you got to give them the credit. They're 2-0. Baltimore, they wasn't supposed to get out with that win. They got the win, and they beat the Patriots. Like you said, next week is the test. You play the best team arguably the best team in the league. You play a guy you've never beaten. You play a defense that's been elite, and you play an offense that's been lights out. Another guy who's been on fire. So I think right now with Tua, Miami fans need to just pump the brakes. The same way I said, like I made a tweet the other day, like we're over exaggerating a little bit for the same reason my Philly fans are over exaggerating for Hurts. They both been amazing for 2 weeks, but like you said, it's a week-to-week basis. You want to see the consistency. Tua has to make the playoffs. Miami could have made the playoffs last year, and they fumbled the bag at the end of the year. Your job shouldn't be
play well.
Yeah, your job shouldn't be, week 2, Tua's in this conversation because he had this amazing. No, you can celebrate an amazing performance without trying to put him in these conversations that he isn't in yet, and it's okay. It's a week 2. He hasn't made the playoffs yet. So I think right now the question was, did Tua impress you more, or did the Ravens disappoint you more? I think it was a bit of both. I think the Ravens just they've known to be a disciplined defense. They've known to be a stout defense, and just the way they were blowing coverages and just collapsed in the fourth quarter was something I haven't seen from Baltimore in a long time. Lamar was carrying them. He was backpacking. He's been carrying them for the past 2 weeks. He's been backpacking.
But what happened to him in that fourth quarter?
And Dehls, I know you're going to go up soon, but you got to keep the same energy when you talk about Matt Ryan blowing that 28-3 lead. You got to keep the same energy. I know.
One's a Super Bowl, one's a regular season game.
I know. I'm not blaming Lamar, but you got to put points up on the board.
I agree.
You have to put points up on the board. And on top of that, the Baltimore Ravens just defensively just fell off. So I think you can be impressed with one and be disappointed in another. I think Baltimore, they had an opportunity to capture that 2-0 and be 2 games ahead of the Bengals. Now you're 1-1. Bengals could still secure that spot. I think defensively, they just have to be more disciplined for 4 quarters. That was just a random, weird, bad performance by them. But shout out to Tua because he was amazing. He was great. I'm not going to go all the way and say he's up in this conversation and up in that conversation because I think he still has to prove it on a week-by-week basis. You know, he had an amazing performance. Now you got Buffalo. You can't have this performance, go play Buffalo and play like shit.
I agree.
Literally, that can't happen. You can't blow that. He wasn't playing good this game, then turned up. You got to keep the same pace.
I'm with you.
Adding context to that wins thing, too, before you go, Joseph, be really quick.
Did you call him Joseph?
No, I said Joe.
Oh.
I feel like you should call me Joe in the beginning.
Jalen Hurts didn't start his first season, but his first year starting, he made the playoffs.
Yep.
Tua hasn't. Joe Burrow got hurt in his first season. Second year, he comes and he makes the playoffs, he makes Super Bowl. And although Justin Herbert doesn't have the winning record Tua has, we know Herbert is miles better than Tua. Although Tua has more wins, 2 of the guys in his draft class have been to the playoffs. Tua has not.
All 3 of those teams better than everything Tua's had up until this season.
Philly?
Yes.
Last year, Philly versus
Last year, your
Miami?
offensive line was amazing.
You had them finishing last in the division.
I think they were pretty close.
Did I have them finishing last?
Yeah, I don't think only he had Philly making the play. I think they were Philly and Miami last year were pretty neck and
Right,
neck.
that's fine. They played. Jalen Hurts was not great passing the football. He was all-world rushing.
Which was the main component of their offense.
Absolutely. They were the number 1 rushing offense in the league. Credit to them.
Yep.
But what held them back was his passing. But the defense was great.
Yeah.
And your
Miami's
offensive
defense
line was great
last year.
It was.
Yeah, but their offensive line wasn't great. Their weapons weren't great. Their run game wasn't great.
Well,
Play calling was bad.
yeah.
They had 2 play callers. That's just
So,
absolutely
Joe,
out of this world.
Look at who we beat last year, though.
I know you have.
You beat teams that you should have beat.
And we
You
lost
didn't-
to teams we-
absolutely.
Make
Joe,
the same argument for the Dolphins. Their 6-7 game win streak last year.
Definitely.
Joel, I know that you got your own thing to say, but we know that Jalen Hurts just had 2 great performances.
Yes.
Do you think it would be an overreaction propping him up with names like Joe Burrow after 2 weeks?
Yeah, I thought Jalen Hurts yesterday was fantastic. He made a lot of open throws. You know, I don't know what Minnesota's defense was doing. There was a lot of guys wide open, a lot of, RPO type of stuff that Jalen Hurts is what we're expecting to make, and he did make those throws, but he also had some really impressive throws. The Quez Watkins touchdown was insane. A throw that was actually an incompletion, rolling out to his left, throwing across his body on the sideline. Jalen Hurts has definitely shown this season that he's taken a step up as a passer. I'm not, and Tua as well, obviously. I think we knew this already. Before I get into Jalen Hurts, I want to get into the Tua stuff first. I think the biggest takeaway from the game was Tua looks healthy. This is the healthiest we've seen Tua look probably since pre-injury in Alabama. That was something coming out of the draft that a lot of doctors were worried about, a lot of front offices too. Even though he did go number 6, there was plenty of reports that people were worried about his hip. And given the offense, the offensive line, everything was not good those first 2 seasons. But I think more than anything, that hip injury, him not being as mobile he was in Alabama, not being able to get the same torque on his lower body, had a big impact on why he wasn't making some of the throws we were expecting him to make. And we even saw in the preseason this past year, the balls deep down the throw, I still don't have a problem with. We saw he can make those throws, especially when you have guys like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle who could take the top off the defense, and also helps when Baltimore's leaving some guys wide open. But Tua was fantastic. I don't know how anyone in the comment section of our TikToks, I was reading them, I had to shut off. You can't shit on Tua after this. He was down 21 points. He's put up 28 in the 4th quarter. Right after the game, I told Drew, it was like, Buffalo next week. He's like, yeah, no, man, it's a tough test. If you're a Miami fan, if you're a Tua believer, there's not a team in the league right now that you think we can't beat. There's not many teams in the league that could put up 28 points in 1 quarter. I think in 2022, which was part of the reason why I had this big Lance agenda over Jimmy G, you have to be able to score points. We saw that Chiefs-Buffalo game in the playoffs last year. You have to be able to go down the field, put up points quick, and the Dolphins have the offense, the offensive system, the players, and the quarterback to get the ball out into the playmakers' hands. I think Tua deserves all the credit, and Mike McDaniel is right up there, right behind him. Mike McDaniel has came in and really catered this offense around Tua. We know he's not gonna put up the type of throws Mahomes does out of the pocket, throwing across his body, all of this shit. But he's gonna get guys open. And that's what there was multiple, not even just the wide open touchdown. There were multiple chunk plays where guys are just naked open with nobody around him. Some of that has to do with miscues on defense, but a lot of that has to do with Mike McDaniel, his offensive play style, his coaching, what he brought over from the 49ers. Guys were open. Tua can make those throws in his sleep. We already know he could do that. And then to quickly talk about Baltimore, because I know you brought up Lamar as well. It's 2 years in a row with Baltimore we're seeing the same thing. I think offensively, just like last year, Lamar has to carry. there is nobody on this team rushing the ball that could do damn near anything. Week 1, the leading rusher was Kenyon Drake with 31 carries. Week 2, Lamar led the way, 120 yards. Justice Hill was second with 16 yards. We know this is a run-first offense, and when you don't have a running back who could run the ball, who could be efficient, now given J.K. Dobbins he's on the shelf, he's coming back soon.
He's on the way.
When defenses really just have to worry about Lamar Jackson and makes things difficult in the fourth quarter when you're trying to run out the ball and you have guys that just aren't explosive. You saw Justice Hill had a big run. If he cut up the middle, he would have scored a touchdown. Instead, he goes to the outside, ends up being just a chunk play instead of that touchdown. And then defensively, coming into this year, we were expecting Baltimore to have a top 5 secondary in the league. We thought the additions of Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, you get Humphrey back, Peters, all of these guys, we're expecting Baltimore's defense to be a huge step up. Last year, they were worse than the league against the pass. And this week, against Miami, we saw a lot of the same things with, while they still have these guys, they were blowing coverages. Tua has 470 fucking yards, 6 touchdowns. So this might be more than just an injury thing last year or a talent issue. Baltimore's defense, 2 years in a row now, and they can't get a pass rush. They have 4 sacks through 2 games. They've been struggling defensively for the last 2 years. Last year, we wrote off to injuries, but it's coming over into 2022 as well. But hats off to Tua. His ceiling definitely rises for me, without a doubt. I'm not ready to put him in the Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray conversation just yet because, like you guys said, you have to prove it because we do have 2 years of Tua not looking the best. But now that he does look healthy with these weapons in McDaniel's system, there's no reason why you should think he can't take that step up. And if you're a Dolphins fan, there's really no team that Miami's going to go up against where you should be like, shit, we have no chance. And that's all you could ask for.
I spoke a lot about Miami, but real quick about the Ravens. Minor League gave Lamar shit for not being able to put more points up. Let me give him his credit. He went down the field and got his team in position to kick a field goal. They were up 3. He trusted the defense there. Defense let him down. Lamar had 40 seconds. No, I'm sorry. He had way less than that. I apologize. Lamar had an opportunity, but it was a Hail Mary play. Nothing you could do. But Lamar said to his defense, listen, I'm trusting you guys. I gave you guys the lead. Hold it down. And they failed him. So I'm gonna ease off going 100% on Lamar for blowing this one. This isn't on Lamar. Lamar had an all-world game. This is on the defense for sure.
It's not on Lamar at all. And that's why I kind of get annoyed with people trying to blame losses on quarterbacks all the time.
I'm with you.
Lamar had an MVP level performance.
He was great.
He was amazing.
He was all world.
The Ravens, just talking about their offense, although they historically have been known as run first team, this team is passing more than ever. But as the game progressed, they were going into more 3 wide receiver sets instead of going with what's been succeeding for them, which has been 21 personnel, having 2 tight ends on the field.
You're right.
Lamar did what he could do. I thought the offense was fine outside of the running game. They can't run the ball. Outside of Lamar, they can't run the ball. You mentioned you thought Tua was the most impressive guy. It's hard to rank them, but if I'm doing it, Mike McDaniel to me is already one of the top play callers in the NFL offensively.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's incredibly impressive.
I'm looking at what he's doing with Tua, and I imagine a world where he's with a better quarterback. Not to shit on Tua and what he's having in his better day and his great day, but Mike McDaniel is already amongst one of the better offensive play callers. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, you can't forget about them racking up yak, and then Tyreek Hill beating defenders over the top, beat Marcus Peters, and then Jalen Armour-Davis. He thought that a safety was going to have him covered there. I don't blame it on him. This is why it's important to be objective about these type of things. Because I know Tua had a great performance. The Ravens traveled 6,131 yards on pass plays throughout the game. That's a credit to Mike McDaniel and scheming up to, from the first quarter to the fourth, get those defenders gassed. And Mac McDonald, who's the defense coordinator for the Ravens, I thought did a horrific job.
No doubt.
He did a horrible job. For one, you're sending blitzes when you're up 2 scores. The Dolphins have burners in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill who one-on-one will beat you over the top. Yet he's sending blitzes because they can't generate pressure without sending blitzes. But now you give the opportunity for a big play to happen when you're up multiple scores, when the clock is working to your advantage. Okay, Tua, beat me 5 yards at a time. Do that. Go on a long 6-7 minute drive. The Dolphins put up 21 points in what?
In a blink of an eye.
In 8 plays? That's on him. And yes, Tua made high-level throws. But against the Bills, or against a team that's going to play more cover 2 shell, that they're going to let you get that underneath stuff, I don't think the Ravens blow that lead in that situation. And to me, yes, Tua was spectacular, but you're right. The Ravens defense, it is time to start squinting and looking at, they might not be that great. Because outside of Marlon Humphrey, when he was off the field, they were horrendous. Yep. Marlon Humphrey was in and out the field due to injury. Marcus Peters is coming back from an injury. He's always been a gambler. And now that he doesn't have that same burst and speed, he loses most of those gambles. And Jalen Armour-Davis is a rookie. And this is a tough scheme to grasp, to understand your assignments. The play to Tyreek Hill on the left sideline. Miscommunication. Busted coverage. It's as simple as that.
For sure.
This is why I think that Mac McDonald put his players in a bad position to succeed. And yes, the comeback is amazing. But also looking at the Ravens saying they did a lot of things wrong that allowed that to happen.
And you also just see how defenses are going to play Miami differently going forward. After this game, all the defensive coordinators were in those meetings room heading up to the week. You think Baltimore would have known about Tyreek and Jalen Waddle? They made it seem like they had no clue who the fuck they were.
And how fast they were.
And how open these guys were getting in the chunk plays. So going forward, the defensive coverage, I think, will differ because just like we were talking about before the show, how the Bengals seen a lot more cover too, taking those big plays away. Wouldn't surprise me to see the same thing with Miami.
One thing I'll say about that is it seemed as if Miami was very meticulous when they wanted to take their shot. They weren't going for the home run play throughout the entirety of the game. It was that last quarter that they really decided we got to take some shots. Time's not running in our favor. Let's let it fly. They were playing the underneath. They were running drags. They were running plays where they were trying to take what the zone was giving them. Quite simple as that. But it got to a point where, hey, it's time for us to let it go. And that's exactly what they did.
So y'all blaming the coach more than the players?
I'm blaming the coach. Yeah, Baltimore? Absolutely. For Baltimore, absolutely. Absolutely.
28-7.
I mean, for me personally, it just comes down to the personnel. Like, I'm with you. Yes, you got to look at the coaching and give them some blame too. But ultimately, the players are the ones that go out there and have to execute.
Let's look at the 2 scores that they had in the fourth quarter, like 2 of the 4. One of them was Mac McDonald sent an overload blitz to Tua's left side, which allowed Tua, for one, you're now having Tyreek Hill one-on-one running right past Marcus Peters.
Mistake.
Tua slides to his right, makes a throw to Tua, makes a throw to Tyreek, touchdown. The other one, it's a cover 3, or I believe, I don't know what exactly it might be, a cover 4, whatever. Jalen Armour-Davis is expecting safety help. So he's playing his zone. The safety messed up that coverage.
For sure.
Yeah. So we're talking about 2 plays where the defensive coordinator, one of them, he doesn't have his players in the right position to succeed.
One of the plays, Waddle just made an amazing touchdown catch, and he just completely
the game winner.
Yeah, he
the
just
game winner,
completely mossed him.
I mean, yeah, I understand that.
That was a
great
perfect pass.
Yeah, that was just a great
I understand
pass
that,
by
but
Tua.
once
Another thing that needs credit too. Talk about clutch. Both Tua touchdowns to Tyreek Hill were on 3rd down.
Yep.
That Gesicki touchdown on 3rd and 13.
That one was crazy.
That might have been the pass of the day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I can put that one, like, or the Waddle one on the coach, because
there was multiple
It's just
plays.
amazing plays executed by the
I understand what
offense.
you're saying, but the touchdown to Gesicki, it's a 3-man
They
rush.
dropped 9. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, they dropped 9 players.
That was
into
ridiculous.
Coverage. If you're dropping 9 players into coverage,
No one should be open.
no one should
Absolutely.
be
But
open.
Gesicki, I don't even think he was really open.
That
was
was
just
a perfect
That was a
pass.
He was
dime.
open. He was open.
No, he was
He was
open.
That was a tough
He was
ass
pretty
catch,
wide
bro.
open.
It was there's 3 guys in that
It
vicinity.
was a soft spot in the zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Tua just fit a perfect ball
That
there.
was a tough pass.
And I still think the safety could have made a better play on it. Like, Gesicki's up in the air for a while. He's kind of just looking at him.
Nah, he should have laid the boom on
Same
Gesicki.
thing with
Safety
Marcus
fault.
Peters on the first deep touchdown of Tyreek. On the TV, it looked like Peters and Tyreek were right next to each other, and Peters kind of just watched him catch it and then tried to swat it out.
When you talk about when he slightly like
The first long touchdown.
I just want people to understand that if people are going to call that an underthrow, listen, I understand. You can call it whatever you want. That ball was in the air for 57 yards.
He had to do it like that.
57 yards that ball was in the air
Peters
for.
got to get
Look,
his head
I
around
think-
there.
I
Because he
think-
could have made a much better play on
I
it.
think saying this pretty simply, everybody that's taking his performance and saying, oh, but they were wide open. Oh, but those passes were underthrown. I mean, listen, Tua had a great performance. It's as simple as that. And I think anybody trying to undermine his performance, they're just trying to keep on the narrative that they're right about Tua.
And you and I can have our differences, but that alone, you and I can have dialogue. Because I can't stand listening to the people trying to say that, oh, well, he has Tyreek, he has Waddle, he has unbelievable weapons. These guys are wide open. He should be hitting these throws. That's you going that extra mile, being arrogant, being ignorant, and refusing to admit you were wrong.
And this is notes for all teams, Chicago especially. Look what happens when you support your young quarterback. Look what happens when you have a coach to get along with, an offensive line, the receivers. It elevates them. It takes them into a different ceiling with the bullshit he had the first couple of years. So all Chicago fans who've been giving us shit all offseason because they said, our secondary needed help. That's why we took these guys. No, you go and you fix the offense first. Get Justin Fields confidence. I'm trying to make this a Bears topic, but it shows with Tua when you put those incredible weapons around him like A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts, the different level your offense can get to.
And that's why when Zach Wilson comes back, Jets are going to a different level, baby. Take flight.
Take flight.
We got some Boom Fantasy props for you, some over-unders and some matchups. You already know how this goes. Joe is going to give us some lines. We are going to decide if we're going to pick the over, under, and also pick the player in the matchup. Now, I've had some people. Oh, you don't?
I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow. What a. Okay.
And that's the one thing he asked for, man.
We only have matchups up for the Thursday game.
My goodness.
What an undersell.
Right.
And the matchup for the Thursday, I don't blame him for not giving us one. This Steelers-Brown game.
Hey,
I've had people message me and they've
like Chicago
asked me for advice on what overs and unders they should take. And
you guys been killing it.
Yeah, my guy. I'm trying to get his name because I actually.
I won't lie. We've been turning up.
You guys been killing it.
We have been eating.
You guys have taken their picks. Make some bread on Boom Fantasy.
Whoever has to do with getting New Jersey allowed to be able to use the app, please.
Talk to the gaming
so
commission.
My guy,
please, gaming commission, get us access.
My guy El Chivo was like, "Yo, what do you think about this Bills parlay that I'm about to put in? Josh Allen over on the yards, Stephon Diggs over on the yards, and under on Devin Singletary rushing yards." He put in the bets, $10, won $100. He told me, "Yo, shout out Pick a Side, shout out to Boom Fantasy." It's really a shame that I can give people these great advices, then when I try to put it into fruition, I lose my bets.
No. What killed me was you had a parlay for every single game. Did you hit one?
No, I hit two.
Okay, thank God.
I actually made my money back, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Because I had, with the Patriots game, I had Damian Harris anytime touchdown score and the under on the points in that Pittsburgh and New England game. And on the Jets, I had Joe Flacco over 220 yards, Garrett Wilson anytime touchdown score, the Jets to cover the spread, and I believe Nick Chubb the over on the yards. That was the 4 bets, and I hit it too.
Also, if you guys didn't know, we're doing a 2K23 giveaway with Boom Fantasy. So if you sign up with our link, deposit $10 or more, you'll automatically get entered into the 2K giveaway. We'll be announcing that later in the month. Moving on to the over-unders for this week, we're going to be looking at the Cardinals and Rams game. So the first line, Matt Stafford, 278.5 passing yards.
I'm going to take the over.
Had a bounce-back game against
How many yards was he at
against
Atlanta?
Atlanta. Did he have 300?
I don't know.
I'm going to take the under on this, and I'm taking the under because Arizona's defense came to play versus the Raiders.
272.
Their pass rush was getting home on Derek Carr, and I think they did a great job covering Devontae Adams.
Stafford
I think that you look at the Cardinals defense. I think they'll do just enough to make sure that Stafford doesn't go over those yards. I think these are two NFC West division rivals. They know each other. They know their play style. Because of that, I'm going the under on his yards.
And Arizona's home?
That's a good question.
What a way to steal that game. I was watching that game too.
Arizona is home.
In the desert?
Yeah, no, it's tough. You know what? I think I'm going to go over.
Moving on to his teammate, Cooper Kupp, who's been having a fantastic season to start off his year. 105.5 receiving yards.
I feel like anytime you take an under on Coop, you look wrong. So
no funny.
I'm going to just take the over just because he gets targeted a lot. He's going to get a lot of receptions. He's going to rack up the yards. I'll take the over.
I wanted to ensure we did this one because of how egregious 105 is. I'm taking the over. That's how great Cooper Kupp is.
I'm going to take the over.
And then lastly, Kyler Murray, who looked shaky in that game, came back and won against the Raiders. 270.5 passing yards.
I'm going the under on that.
He really don't got shit out there.
I think he'll get 270 total yards or more. But I'm not. The passing yards only.
I think I had like 240 passing, so I'll take the under.
I'm gonna go over.
He's been resilient. He hasn't been great. He's been resilient. So
sounds good. That was over under presented by Boom Fantasy. Use the link in our bio description wherever you're listening.
That's a 3-leg parlay right there.
That's 3-leg. Yeah.
That's a 3-legger. So pick which one you want to go with, Drew, Riv, or mine. We should keep track of that. We should keep track of our bets and what we pick in the over under and see who has the best record.
All of us have a winning record.
You guys been killing.
We all have a winning record. Yeah. We've been amazing.
Missed on the. You guys missed on the Saquon one. I know. Oh, you took.
No, I took the under.
You took the under. Yeah, that was the.
No, you changed. You changed and took the over.
But then he stuck with the under because you did the Chubb and Saquon debate.
But you never said it was over at first.
I didn't?
No, you didn't.
My mind did say over.
I know you put your son's life on it.
People in the comments section were mad at me when you're the one that swore on your son's life.
Because I really thought that I said over, but I took under.
Sometimes you gotta trust me, man.
Yo, what the fuck?
What are you talking about?
Oh my god!
What happened?
Why was this so loud?
What happened?
Come on, bro.
You know I know they heard that, bro.
What are you talking about?
You muted your mic.
And I still heard it, man.
Yeah, that was nuts.
What are you talking about?
That was
what you
crazy.
hearing?
That fart was nasty work.
God damn.
It smells like Dookie, man.
Riv,
get your hands off me.
What?
Stop it, bro.
You're a weirdo.
You're getting me going. Take it off.
Hey,
Let's go.
On to the next topic. Trey Lance got injured in the first quarter. It's an ankle injury. He's out for the season. The Niners still managed to beat the Seahawks 27-7, something the Broncos couldn't do. Now, does Jimmy G put the 49ers in a better position to win than Trey Lance? And also, what do you think about Trey Lance moving forward? I mean, this is somebody that 2020 didn't play football for an entire year because of COVID. 2021, he sat virtually the entire year. And now this year, he's injured for the entire year. So that's 3 years of not playing football. So what's your outlook on Lance? I know you're the Lance guy, Joe, so I'll let you speak on it first.
First off, sucks for Trey Lance, man. I'm really heartbroken for him. He seems like he's in good spirits. He tweeted it out. He seems like a very spiritual guy.
Saying how went well.
Yeah, the comeback is going to be worth all the adversity he's going through. To speak about Trey, though, I mean, I feel terrible for him. He was given the franchise keys this season. Week 1, he plays in a monsoon against the Bears, a game everyone's expecting him to win. They don't look good. He loses the game. He's getting all this shit, all this criticism the entire week. He could finally shut people up week 2, and then the first quarter he goes out, breaks his ankle. So it sucks because he didn't even get a chance to respond to the critics. It sucks because we didn't get a chance to see him play 2 consecutive games in a row at any point in his career. And coming into the season, I was a bit concerned since he hadn't played football in 2 years. That was already on my mind. And now that we're going on a third year, especially an ankle injury to a big guy who a lot of his game is about mobility, being able to get out of the pocket, make guys miss, it is concerning for his long-term future. But I am hopeful with modern medicine, especially being on the West Coast. I got some of the best doctors. I'm sure San Francisco is going to put him in best position to be able to recover. But moving on to the question at hand, does Jimmy G put the Niners in a better situation? Nobody's going to know because we don't know what Trey Lance is. We don't know if Trey Lance was going to go and open up this offense and take them to one of the best offenses in the league, or we didn't know if he was going to just flat out suck for the whole season and they win 6 or 7 games. Now, me, as a Trey Lance truther, as someone who I thought can open up this offense more, have some more big plays, and make this just completely different offense than Jimmy G, I think it would have been better with Trey Lance, especially with the type of plays Kyle Shanahan calls for him, in terms of running the ball, read options, RPOs, everything that they had set up for him. I thought the offense would be better and more explosive with Jimmy G. But we know what Jimmy G is going to do. He's going to come in, give you around 250 yards a game, complete 67% of his passes. He's going to miss some throws you're expecting him to make. And every once in a while, he'll make a couple throws. We're like, oh, you know what? He's not a bad quarterback. We saw it last year. The second half of the year, he was fantastic. Then in the playoffs, he was fucking terrible. So for the 49ers.
He was also hurt.
He was banged up, for sure.
Disclaimer.
He was banged up. For the 49ers, I think the biggest problem is that you still don't have an answer at quarterback, right? Either two things could happen, right? Or 3 things, really. But the most terrifying thing is if Jimmy G just did what he did last year, where he had some stretches where he was really good, the playoffs, he sucks, but you made it to the fucking conference championship. He's not a scrub. You can't just walk away, and he's a free agent after this year, remember, too. So if another team garners interest, you're going to have to pay Jimmy G to re-sign him, and you still have Trey Lance there. So I think the worst situation for the Niners is they play well enough to get into the playoffs, win 1 or 2 playoff games, and you're in the same situation. Hopefully, I shouldn't say hopefully it's a Trey Lance truther, but if you want your answer at quarterback, you either hope that Jimmy G either misses the playoffs, they go out round 1, or they go and win the Super Bowl. Because if those two things happen, then you have a much more clear answer of who's going to be your quarterback in 2023. But if you're San Francisco, it's a hard decision to make because I want to see Trey Lance in this offense. You traded multiple first and second round picks to move up to number 3 overall for him to be the franchise quarterback. And now you're stuck again with Jimmy G, who they're going to win games. They're going to make the playoffs most likely. But we know Kyle Shanahan saw Garoppolo make plays. We saw them go to the Super Bowl, and he still said, I want a different guy at quarterback. So it's unfortunate for Trey Lance. I hope he's able to get back. They're expecting a full recovery for him to be back for 2023. But for right now, the 49ers quarterback system or quarterback controversy is still real.
You want to go, Riv?
Oh, yeah, sure. For me, I just feel like when you're the FO, you're Kyle Shanahan, you've made it be very known this offseason that Trey Lance is your guy. Trey Lance is going to be the quarterback. So I feel like regardless of what Jimmy G does, in my opinion, this year, whether they go to the Super Bowl, whether they go to the NFC Championship, Trey Lance should still be your guy. You've made it very known. The only thing that stopped him from being your guy is he got hurt. So I think he should still, because he didn't lose his job, so I think he should still come back next year and be the quarterback. As for Jimmy G being the quarterback for the Niners, you saw the energy looked a little different. You saw the guys feel comfortable. This is their guy that they've been playing with for a couple of years now. So you saw the energy go a little different. The team looked a little better. You know, the Bears game, weather was ridiculous, so the team wasn't that great. Against the Seahawks, a bad opponent, which most teams should beat. The Niners did their business. They handled it. Now they go week 3. I think with Jimmy G, their ceiling goes pretty much where it was before, maybe a little bit better with Jimmy G because he's comfortable in the system. He's played with them. Trey Lance was an unknown with Jimmy G. You know, with this team, they're a conference championship team. They can make the conference championship team. I mean, they can make the conference championship, possibly make the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, regardless of how he plays, you know, because the defense is solid and the offense could give you what it can give you, even with the Jimmy G's deficiencies. I do think that they're going to still make the playoffs regardless. I think the Niners are just too good with the Rams. They don't look great. Even against the Falcons, that was a win. They still didn't look good. And then the week before when the Bills stomped them, they didn't look good. Arizona, they're going to be up and down all year. K1 can get you wins like that.
Yeah.
We don't know how many he's going to be able to get you. That schedule is still tough. So realistically, if we're thinking about it, it's the Niners' division to lose, honestly. They have Jimmy G. They have Kyle Shanahan. They have the team. The consistency is back. The quarterback is back. I think this does suck for Trey Lance because we wanted to see him play. You know, his guy, even Justin Fields is going to get a chance to play. It may not be a great situation, but he's going to get a chance to play. All his guys, Mac Jones, even though his situation sucks, he's going to get a chance to play. For Trey Lance, it sucks because he doesn't get the opportunity to show that potential. But with the Niners, the fans, they shouldn't feel bad about it. They're still going to be able to compete. They're still going to be able to make a run because you know Jimmy G, like you said, is going to give you exactly what you know he's going to give you, and it's going to lead to wins.
I just want to say first off, I hate this topic because I hate the idea that we have Trey Lance, who obviously has a lot of hype and a lot of potential on his name, and it's a topic where we see this guy break his ankle, and now we're talking about Jimmy G and how is he going to best suit the Niners as opposed to this guy who just got hurt. Like that, this is bittersweet for me. Let me not say bittersweet. This is just hard for me to grasp, I should say. But just to answer the question very honestly, I feel like this limits their floor. You mentioned ceiling. I feel like this limits their floor for me. I think that with Jimmy G, you understand what your floor is. You're going to make the playoffs. You're going to win games, but it's not going to be blowout games. It's not going to be that the quarterback's going over the top and winning you these ball games. It's going to be game management at its highest level, and it's going to be based off the defense being as dominant as it was last season, the main reason why I went to the NFC Championship last year. And it's going to be based off whether, one, Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, because that's the reason why he was not nearly as good as he was in the regular season. And two, which Garoppolo are we going to get? Are we going to get the one we saw in the playoffs, which was hurt? Because a lot of people seem to believe that the injury didn't have anything to do with it. Or are we going to see the Jimmy Garoppolo that we saw in the second half last season? I feel I'm very comfortable lying in the middle where Jimmy G has shown to have success in this San Francisco team, and at the minimum, you can expect Jimmy Garoppolo, like Joel said, to throw for 240, 250 yards, to not put the team in a position to lose games. I just think that you look at the Niners as a whole, and Jimmy G's the safer play. As for Trey Lance, this is horrible. This is not anything you wanted to see, whether you had a Niners agenda, whether you were anti-Trey Lance. You never root for injury. This is absolutely the dead last thing that I wanted to see happen to a player of his stature. I'm praying for a speedy recovery. And I think that with Trey Lance, they would have still been a playoff team regardless. So this really doesn't change much for me, other than the fact that you look at Jimmy G, you see his previous success, and that's what can allow you to move on and think the Niners are a little bit more safe.
They just blew out the Seahawks.
Dominant team.
Seattle.
I know, but you said they can't. They're not going to blow teams out. They just blew a team out.
Seattle's 1-1.
Yeah,
we're talking about dominant, really good teams.
Hey, you know me.
You're right.
Full.
You're right. You know.
I know.
I mean,
Denver couldn't do.
The same record as the Ravens. Gotta respect them.
Listen, a lot of slander's been coming Denver's way.
No, you guys suck.
Second
They're
in the
1-1
division.
too.
Hey, no, you guys are shit.
Second in the division.
It's week 2.
No, you're dog
Week
shit.
3 now.
Okay.
No, for real. Like
They're cooked.
No, you guys are cooked, bro.
Okay.
Like,
no, I'm glad you have this opinion.
No, like the Texans win didn't move me.
And I
It
just
didn't
sent
move me either.
I'm
I
good.
just
Good.
sent,
You should have higher expectations. You should be ashamed
do.
that y'all won.
I am.
You should honestly feel like you're 0-2 right now.
I just sent
don't.
I just sent Riv some
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
some Broncos anti-agenda.
Stepped on your foot.
Send him some articles.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Pretty cool. I think this is devastating for Trey Lance, but it is worrisome going forward that he hasn't played much football. We talk about Jordan Love all the time and how he hasn't played. Trey Lance hasn't played, and I think that's concerning. I do disagree with something you said, and before I get into it, I'll just say this. Michael Silver of the San Francisco Chronicle was quoted, something several players and coaches enunciated privately in the wake of Sunday's game. The 49ers are a better team right now with Garoppolo at quarterback than they were with Lance.
It's just so ugly to say.
We just don't know if that's true.
No, and forget about that. It's just an ugly statement to make. He just broke his ankle. You're not even going to give the guy 24 hours? I mean,
but these are several players. But
yeah, these players are terrible.
Even without you saying that, Drew, and even, yes, it's in the wake of the game. This has been a constant feeling all offseason and in the summer that the Niners players have thought Jimmy Garoppolo gives them a better chance to win. They like Jimmy Garoppolo more in that locker room. That's not a guess. That's a fact. Liking him more, I think, is more of a fact because, like Riv said, Garoppolo has won with them. They have bonded. Trey Lance is coming in new. It's a situation is difficult.
He's young.
That's why I wasn't a huge advocate of them keeping Jimmy G because the locker room becomes divided. But now you see why they kept him. It's an insurance policy. And more so, I think Trey Lance's style of play is more susceptible to injury. And how Kyle Shanahan has to call the game for Lance. This is where you and I differ. I believe the playbook opens up more with Jimmy Garoppolo in the offense. With Trey Lance, can he make more high-level throws? Yes. On a consistent basis, no. Is he a runner? Does he give you that athletic juice in the offense? Yes. But as of right now, Trey Lance, he's not accurate. Jimmy Garoppolo is accurate. Kyle Shanahan can call more drop-back passing plays and can call more passing concepts with Jimmy Garoppolo in the game. There is a reason why with Trey Lance, a lot of the stuff was running concepts, was design runs for Trey Lance. But even early in the Seattle game, there was at least, I think, 2-3 design runs already for Trey Lance. But that's how you have to play him right now because he's raw in other areas. Now, Trey Lance, I'll just say this. I think they beat Seattle anyway with them. I think the Niners would have been a playoff team with Lance anyway. But I do think Jimmy Garoppolo gives them a better chance this year to win. This is a roster that's elite. The NFC is not elite. You look at the NFC, the top teams right now, I look at the Eagles, I look at the Bucs. The Bucs have question marks, specifically with injury. And the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, the jury is still out. And Nick Sirianni, can he outcoach Kyle Shanahan in a playoff game? That is still to be determined. The Niners have a path to go to the Super Bowl. And I believe because Jimmy Garoppolo right now is a better pocket passer than Trey Lance, he gives them a higher floor. The floor, what Jimmy G is going to be. The ceiling with Trey Lance, yes, it's there. And yes, it would have been nice to see it come into fruition. But we don't know if that ceiling would have been this year, would have been next year. Reports have said that executives around the league believe Trey Lance is a year away from being a year away. And now he's hurt. I think it's going to stunt his development. I still trust in Kyle. I still think Trey Lance has a great work ethic, so we'll see how good he becomes. But ultimately, the offseason decision to bring back Jimmy G just saved the Niners season.
I think the biggest issue Trey Lance has run into and everything you're saying is he hasn't played. We don't know what the floor is. We don't know what the ceiling is because he's played 2 games his rookie year. He had some flashes. He had some things he had to improve on. And then week 1 against the Bears, you really can't take anything away from it. So, while, yes, I do agree the floor has been heightened, you could also make the same argument if this is a 49ers team who early on in the season is more reliant on the run and doesn't have Jimmy G, who we know misses throws, who throws interceptions at time where he has to make a play, especially in the fourth quarter when teams know you have to pass. The floor on paper, sure, is higher, but without Trey Lance being able to play, without him being able to develop, it's a very short-sighted mindset because for this season, sure, the floor might be higher, but then you're going to have the same floor and the same ceiling for the next however many years until you get a different quarterback or unless Trey Lance comes back in 2023 and they give him the keys once again, which I agree with you, Rib. I think you have to. I don't think there's much of another choice unless they're going to go out and trade for a veteran like Lamar has been speculated for the last month. If Lamar becomes available, the Niners go and do that and trade Jimmy G to someone
Lamar
else.
Lamar said he's not taking the
franchise tag.
He's not taking that.
So that's really the only situation I see where they wouldn't. I do think you have to give him time to develop because you're right. If he doesn't play football for 3 years, it's really hard to go out there and just be accurate and hit guys. Like, you have to get into the rhythm. He has to play consistently, practice, be in those team meetings, be prepared mentally and physically for each game to really show his development. Another year off is terrible because, yeah, you're right. Like, not the COVID year, and then he sat, and now it's another year. So for a guy who is raw, who has all the talent, the arm talent, it's unfortunate because that's what he needs.
The shade and sharp of the NFL. That's pretty good comp, Riv.
It's looking like it. Hasn't played, has all the potential.
Minimum
all the
Trey
tools.
Lance played in college. But
I understand. I understand Trey
Lance.
Lance just got hurt, so this question may sound a bit
His
cruel.
college was high school.
Oh, you're about to go even deeper? Jesus Christ.
But do you think now,
Damn.
like injury aside, like let's just act like Trey Lance did not get hurt, right? Do you believe that
He
Kyle
went to the NFC Championship?
I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Do you believe that Kyle Shanahan,
he's
John
in bad
Lynch
shape.
right now are regretting drafting Trey Lance over a Mac Jones or a Justin Fields? But let's just act like he didn't get hurt.
I think Fields maybe.
But that's the whole reason we're asking this question.
No, I'm asking this question just because, do you after seeing Trey Lance wasn't as ready as they thought he would be or develop as fast that they thought he could develop?
To be fair, Fields didn't look ready when he first started playing, and
Fields still at times doesn't look ready.
his roster is also stinky.
It is, for sure.
Mac Jones was under Bill Belichick, so it was a little different. He probably looked the most ready.
I feel like Mac Jones would have thrived in San Fran. I thought they were going to draft
with Mac Jones.
How does
you get a
the
limited
ceiling
change?
change?
It doesn't.
Jimmy G and
I think
Mac
he's better
Jones.
than Jimmy G.
But does the
His
ceiling change? Not much.
Yeah, slightly.
The Niners
What?
drafted.
I think Jimmy G is at his best like top 20-ish quarterback. I think Mac Jones is top 15,
Jimmy G
top
had
15.
a stretch at the end of the year last year where he was great.
I feel like the Niners drafted Lance because of the boom potential.
Of course,
I don't think
yeah.
Mac Jones, as good as Mac Jones is, his ceiling is very limited.
Yeah, but you're also you now have a quarterback on a rookie deal who's better than Garoppolo. You don't have to pay Garoppolo.
Who's better
And
than
now-
Garoppolo?
Mac Jones.
How you figure?
I just think he's a better quarterback.
You think so?
Yeah.
Tomato.
I do think he is slightly better than Jimmy G.
I don't think the result
but-
changes.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think he doesn't drastically change your upside like if Trey Lance hits.
Honestly, I think if they probably get a little worse because Mac still is relatively young. He was a rookie last year, so this will be his second year. Jimmy G, he has the chemistry with these guys. Bringing in a new young guy still would have looked bad for them. Not bad, but it still would have been hard to adjust with the Niners because Jimmy G has been in that system. He understands that system. He understands Debo's spots, Kittle's spots. Like, he just understands that. So any QB, the Lance question is crazy. Any QB though, I just think any rookie QB would have been tough regardless.
Would Mac Jones have started last year?
Hell no.
I think there was a serious debate he could have.
He's not.
He
I know Fields wasn't starting last year.
Coming into the season out of the draft, Mac Jones was NFL ready day one.
Yeah, but they said that Trey wasn't starting at all last season. From day one, they said that.
Because he was raw. He wasn't ready.
Mac Jones, it's not that it's a similar situation because I understand your point, but
The New England playbook is harder to pick up.
but it wasn't even a lock that Mac Jones was going to start for New England.
He had to beat out Cam.
And he beat him out
Cam-
like
And I'm-
easily.
Credit to Mac Jones for
You think
that,
he was going to
but
beat
like,
out Jimmy in Jimmy's own system?
I think San Francisco is easier to run than New England's.
Hypothetical.
Mac Jones had to learn a lot of Josh McDaniels terminology. We're seeing Derek Carr right now struggle with it right now. Josh McDaniels' system is very complicated. There's a lot of checks.
Daniel Carr?
Derek Carr.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of checks within that system. Mac Jones was able to come in as a rookie and learn the offense fairly quick.
I'm not trying to knock Mac Jones and his ability to become the starter in New England and thrive. That's not what I'm doing.
San Fran.
No, I'm talking about in New England. I'm saying I'm not knocking him and what he did last season. No way. But Jimmy G had at least somewhat decent resume with San Fran, and by somewhat decent, I mean that's a Super Bowl appearance we're talking about. That it wasn't immediate that he was going to come in and get kicked out because Mahomes had a year. We saw Alex Smith play while they had one of the greatest we've ever seen in Patrick Mahomes come take the field, and they let him sit the entire year.
Jimmy had a good year last year.
Also,
Jimmy was going to be in a similar situation with Mac
Playoffs.
Jones.
Also, if the Niners,
He's not that guy.
if the Niners were
Jimmy G in
going
the playoffs.
the Mac Jones route, they didn't have to trade up to 3.
They did
That's
trade
why.
up a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it's been reported that
That's 'cause
Shanahan wanted to go Mac Jones, but all of the scrutiny from the media to go up to 3 to select Mac Jones was too
didn't they
much
get
for them
shit
to
for
do.
not taking Fields anyways? Didn't the Fields media just
Can you imagine
Kind of.
allowing social media to impact your NFL franchise decision?
It is pretty crazy.
That's what Nathaniel Hackett is doing right now.
How?
What?
What does that have to do with that?
We'll talk about it later. But he
No,
is letting
the thing he
franchise-
sent me is fucking nuts, bro. I can't believe he sent me that shit.
Okay, we're talking about the NFL draft. You're talking about him talking to the
No,
media.
he might cook you
Like
later. It might get bad. Like the shit he
Wait,
sent
what do you
me,
mean?
It's a long
shit that he's
he
saying to
sent
the
it you?
media.
Nah.
Or
You're
it's
saying
bad.
that he's allowing it to get to him, and that's why he's saying the things that he's
like
saying.
if you read it, you'll
Yeah,
think
he is.
Russell's like bottom 20.
Wilson, you're saying?
Yeah,
It's a good thing that I don't give a flying fuck.
I get it, but it's
That's what I'm
just
saying.
it's
Week to
It
week
wasn't
league.
just an
If they go
opinion
out-
article. It was
no, this is like
facts.
Like,
It was facts.
It's facts. It's
And
nothing but
now
facts,
and now
facts.
you understand why I was lower on Denver going into the year.
I mean, I didn't have
you
y'all making the playoffs either. So I think
2
he did.
weeks.
I didn't. I'm the only
If
one.
they
that-
go in and beat San Francisco next week, we're probably having a different
think I'm the
conversation.
It's
only
not
one that-
happening
table.
with Jimmy G, baby.
Dehls, did you have Denver making the playoffs?
Yes.
I'm the only one that didn't have y'all making the playoffs.
Because you know
Good
what
for
Jimmy
you,
G
man.
has that Russell
I don't know
Wilson
hating
doesn't
shit.
has
Nah, it's all right.
playoff wins in the
When you're
last
wrong, you're
couple
gonna
of
be the only
seasons,
one.
baby.
You know me. I
Russell Wilson don't
I ain't
have
mad
that.
at it.
Carried.
I said Russell. What was Russell Wilson? What happened with Legion of
stop
Boom? He was
Ru-
carried too.
Russell
does the Legion of
Russell
Boom
Wilson
hate
had
him so
40
much?
touchdowns 2 years
Nah, the
ago.
Legion of Boom hates.
Why do they hate him?
Russell's
Even
guts.
Doug Baldwin be fake throwing in a couple subliminals. What's
Throwing
wrong
mad
with him?
shots at him.
He's a man of God.
They're jealous.
I don't know. I
Richard
don't know what
Sherman-
they're jealous of.
What are they jealous about? They all played.
I think they got mad that it became a Russell Wilson team.
he's a QB.
I know. That's why I'm saying like
Fuck.
they got mad that it became Russell Wilson's team, not the Legion of Boom team. But
Yeah, it's not
look
like none of
around.
you are fucking Ed Reed or Ray Lewis. Like,
Listen, Sherman's
Nah, Richard Sherman's a
got
Hall
it.
of Famer.
Sherman's got it.
First
I get
ballot.
it, but he still ain't Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. Like it's certain dudes. I
He's
get
one
it.
of the top cornerbacks ever played.
I understand, but once again, he still ain't Ed Reed, Ray Lewis.
Bro,
like,
that
when he,
defense
when he
was,
didn't make
yeah.
the NFL 75, that was disrespect.
Was
The
it?
NFL 100, I apologize.
oh, like the best.
When he
100
didn't
players
make
in the NFL?
the best corners list, I was stunned.
Who was on the corner list? Who would you took him
Revis,
off?
I mean, I don't know. Some of the old school guys.
I don't-
I'm
yeah, I
not
don't
You can't take
know.
the. You can't take the old.
You
school
can't
guys
take
off.
out Night
You're not
Train Lane.
taking Neon,
Absolutely not.
Dion, Revis, Night Train.
Well, they had Champ Bailey up there. They're already. You're not
Maybe
taking
a
those guys
Champ Bailey.
over Sherman. You know.
Yeah.
Sauce.
I mean, his era.
Another topic I
Versus
think people
Sauce.
are waiting for us to talk about was the Colts. What's wrong with the Indianapolis Colts? They got shut out 24-0. This is my team. This is the team I had an agenda on.
Your what?
So I'll speak on them first. I want the first words on the Indy Colts, all right?
Let's do it.
Now, on last week's episode, I did tell you guys that they struggle in Jacksonville.
You did.
This is beyond struggle.
I would have not bet on the Colts don't trust them. They don't win in Jacksonville.
But he goes and picks Indianapolis.
You have to.
You didn't have to. If you were really that
Well,
confident.
when I bet, I
lose.
picked on the Jack spread for sure. And I want some money.
Good job.
It's a shame that on the show, your livelihood couldn't stand on that.
The Jags have won 8 in a row against the Colts in Jacksonville.
Impressive.
It's embarrassing.
Dating back to 2003, the Colts have played 361 games and have been shut out 3 times, all by the Jaguars. It's something about Jacksonville. When the Colts go on the road there, they don't play well. Watching this game, my instant reaction after watching it, this was worse than a Wentz loss. This was significantly worse.
Well, which Wentz loss?
Last year.
Week 18.
Week 18, yeah.
Had the Colts faced the Jaguars week 18, Matt Ryan would be out of town right now. Frank Reich would be fired. Chris Ballard would be fired. This was that embarrassing of a performance. Now, it is important to note, Darius Leonard didn't play. Michael Pittman Jr. didn't play. I even throw Alec Pierce in there.
You have to.
But this is just more, this is more than an issue of your best players not playing. The offensive coaching, I thought, was abysmal. Frank Reich was abysmal. Jonathan Taylor had 5 carries for 5 yards in the first half. The Colts don't have their best receiver in Michael Pittman. Their starters are Ashton Doolin, Paris Campbell.
Your guy.
And I can't even name the other guys. Densman, Patman. I really can't.
A lot of your guys.
And JT gets 5 carries for 5 yards in the first half. A lot of the drives were stalled by either the Jags stuffing the run, sacks, and then giving up extreme pressure, and penalties that just set them back. The red zone offense was also abysmal later in the game. The defensive coaching. The Jags had 17 more minutes time of possession. They both had 11 drives. The Colts had 9 first downs on the day in total. Gus Bradley, and this is something I may have overlooked in the offseason. Gus Bradley, their defensive coordinator, has been with 3 different teams in the last 3 years, the Colts being the third. Each year, it's been a bottom 20 defense. Gus Bradley is still living off the coattails of his Legion of Boom days, but he's been a bad defensive coach. Jonathan Taylor's 9 carries on the day were the fewest since 2020.
Embarrassing.
54 rushing yards was the lowest since 2019. Matt Ryan was sacked 5 times, 10 quarterback hits, and threw 3 interceptions for the first time in his career. This was Matt's worst performance.
It's almost like 2022 is not 2016. Crazy how that works.
And, I know that you're going to say that, and you can say that all you want. But when watching the game, if you come away from it thinking, Matt Ryan was a problem, I really can't help you. Matt Ryan had his worst performance. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, he did.
It was dog shit.
But the problem is more than just Matt Ryan. And I don't think Matt Ryan is the biggest problem in Indy.
No.
I think that he's still a good quarterback. Obviously, this week didn't show it. But week 1, 350-plus yards, a touchdown, 1 INT. If Rodrigo Blankenship makes a field goal, the Colts have a win. He was about to lead a game-winning drive in a fourth-quarter comeback. Week 1. Week 2, it fell apart. But Matt Ryan isn't any more washed than Phillip Rivers was in 2020. They're both capable quarterbacks. The difference is that Colts team had a better supporting cast around Rivers, and right now it seems like the Colts are deteriorating. The wide receivers outside of Pittman is the worst unit in the NFL.
We knew this.
The offensive line, Matt Pryor and Brashard Raymond have been interchanging, and they've both been equally bad. They both allow a significant amount of pressure. The offensive line is probably the most disappointing unit so far in football. They are the highest paid unit, and they are horrific. They are bad. Last year, they were bad in pass block. They were bad in pass pro, too. This year, they're not even a good run blocking team. Secondary, Stephon Gilmore was supposed to be a good pickup. He's shown flashes, but I saw him get beat by Evan Ingram multiple times.
Problem.
And the other outside corner, Brandon Faison, he's not very good. But the biggest problem with the Colts is coaching as of right now. This used to be a Colts staff that arguably had the best coaches in the NFL. You had Frank Reich as a head coach, coaching staff in the NFL. Guess who their OC was? Nick Sirianni. The guy who's with Philly. In his first year, went to the playoffs. In his second year, Jalen Hurts looks like a legit star quarterback so far.
All knows no.
The Eagles are off to a tremendous start. Their offense is what? By a landslide.
Number 1 yards per
Number
game.
1. That's Nick Sirianni. In 2020, he designed the plays for the Colts. Frank Reich called them. He left. He brought Jonathan Gannon with him, who was a secondary coach in Indy. He's a DC for the Eagles, and he gave Minnesota hell with his man coverage looks on Monday Night Football. Those are 2 great coaches that left that were part of your coaching staff. Who else? Matt Eberflus, head coach for the Chicago Bears. When Matt Eberflus came to Indy was one of the worst defenses in the league. He had them in the top 10 consistently every year where he was there. He got the best out of his players. And you can say, although the offense has been disappointing in Chicago, they don't have much talent. The defense, with the limited talent, has been getting after it.
Decent, for sure.
So Frank Reich is the only guy left in a coaching staff that used to be the best. They don't have that same coaching staff anymore. I think that's a huge downgrade. And he's not good in September. He's 5-11 in September. In 2018, with Andrew Luck, he started off 1-5. In 2020, with Carson Wentz, started out 0-3. His best 2 starts were with Jacoby Brissett and with Phillip Rivers 3-2 and 3-1.
That was 2020. Carson Wentz.
That was Phillip Rivers.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
Frank Reich is not good in September. The Colts get off to slow starts, and the start of their season is tricky because you had Houston week 1, and they're not good week 1. You had at Jacksonville week 2, and they have a losing streak in Jacksonville. You have KC up next. This is a tough schedule. And then they have the Titans in week 4, week 5, and they're 1-4 in the last 5 matches with the Titans.
So they suck in division.
So this is
that division.
They don't suck in division. It's just Houston week 1.
Sorry, week 1 they suck.
Not good.
They suck against Jacksonville. They suck against Tennessee,
which is the division.
It's a tricky part to their season.
It's not tricky. It's Houston and Jacksonville,
the start of their season.
Hey man, the Broncos
was
beat
very
Texans.
tricky. I know y'all been shitting on me, right?
Chris Ballard,
your team.
Chris Ballard failed to address needs in the offseason. And the Colts have not drafted a quarterback within the top 3 rounds since Andrew Luck retired. Some of that has been they haven't had a first-round pick. But every year they're changing quarterbacks. They're changing from project quarterback to project quarterback.
Bridges.
Phillip Rivers is with them for 1 year, retires. Next year is Carson Wentz. They revived his career, I guess, somewhat because after he left Philly, he was looked at as one of the worst quarterbacks. At least in Indianapolis, he revived his reputation.
To a degree.
And now Matt Ryan, who I think is still a good quarterback. But Matt Ryan is a quarterback that he has to be, at this stage in his career, in a near perfect situation. And listen, I know what you're about to say.
Are they still your dark horse?
And listen, I know what you're about to say.
Okay, ignore my question.
But be honest.
Oh no, it's an I would
be honest and answer these questions.
All of us?
Or just one question. Yeah, all of you.
All right, here. Let's do it.
Did I ever say?
Here we go.
Every time, man.
No. It's not that. Let me finish.
I want him to finish.
Let me finish. This offseason, I was under the assumption Matt Ryan was going to a situation that was a near perfect situation. I know the receivers are a problem.
We didn't think this.
But
we didn't think
other
it was a
than
perfect situation.
that, but Jonathan Taylor not even rushing for 100 yards.
They don't give him the ball.
The run game. He was getting stuffed.
He had 5 carries in the first half.
And all those runs
and then
were
it was
stuffed.
fucking 20-0.
He could change that.
Bro, Jonathan Taylor, man. All it takes is one.
the thing is that they gave Taylor the ball on early downs.
Get him in the passing game. He's
And
the
then-
best weapon.
I know, but they gave him the ball on
Michael
early downs.
Pittman's out of the game. You don't have Alec Pierce, the highest wide receiver you drafted this season. This past offseason, excuse me.
And Taylor, one
You
catch?
want to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor however you
fuck
can.
else?
And
Get
this
the ball
this
to?
one, I'll get to
Nobody.
that.
Naeem Hines.
The Colts had 3 opportunities in the red zone, I believe, or 2. It was one of those. Jonathan Taylor, I think, got 2 carries total in the red zone.
Embarrassing. They did the same shit week 1.
That's why, to me, I look at the Colts and I'm like, this is more than just a Matt Ryan thing. I mean, it's a coaching thing. It's a roster flaw. Did I overlook how much holes the roster had? Yes. But I never came into the season saying that Matt Ryan is going to, he can elevate. I think he's better than Carson Wentz. There's no doubt.
What the fuck? What
You're losing
the fuck?
me.
Listen.
I'm loving this. Keep it going.
Listen,
I'm
listen,
loving this.
listen.
I'm loving this.
Matt
I'm loving
Ryan is still a good quarterback.
Loving it.
I think he's a top 15 quarterback.
15 is the absolute max, and I don't even think he's 15.
But when I've been talking about the
Give me
Colts,
Jalen Hurts. Give
Yeah.
me Tua. It's not even a
agreed.
conversation.
when I've been talking about the Colts, I've been saying that Matt Ryan's in a situation where the team around him is going to complement his skill set.
Give me Carson Wentz.
Therefore, he's going to play well. But if the roster is not around him,
Oh God.
I'm looking at the Colts these past 2 weeks,
I need to go.
and I'm thinking,
I just want to ask.
is this the Atlanta Falcons? I'm thinking that.
Hey, can I just ask a
Yeah,
quick
Atlanta
question?
Falcons, who have they played significantly better
Hey,
than the
question.
Indianapolis Colts so far.
You can answer this too.
All right.
And I thought Kyle Pitts was going to be this breakout guy, right?
Yeah, he's
So
also.
So much better with Mariota than Ryan, right?
Hey, 2 weeks in,
Hey,
he hasn't been
Drake
good either.
London,
Lund's been
dude, the
eating.
superstar.
If you
He passes more to Zacchaeus.
have a
Sick.
team,
They got Kyle Pitts blocking on some dumb shit.
very weird.
Bad. Yeah.
If you have a team and you believe they're gonna win the division, and you have him as a dark horse that can
Playoff
possibly win a playoff game, do you not think that the quarterback can elevate their play?
Oh, for sure.
Yes. I'm not. Listen, you're taking it the wrong way.
Just asking.
You're taking it the wrong
How
way.
are we supposed to take
I understand how you guys are taking it, and that's not what I mean.
Um,
I mean that
Take it, but take it light.
Take a light.
Matt
out
Ryan in
Burrow,
Atlanta, that's a poor roster, right? I thought Matt Ryan was a good quarterback in Atlanta, but obviously the roster has so much deficiencies that I don't expect him to carry a roster. What I meant is that at this stage in his career, Matt Ryan can't carry.
hell no.
He
We said
can't-
this. We knew this.
I never said he was going to carry, though.
You said he was significantly better than Wentz.
Yes, I did.
That's
But I
insane.
never-
You
I
said
never
he
said-
was
Take.
the reason.
I never said he was
You
going
said
to carry.
he-
Sounds like the
Oh
same
my God.
situation Wentz
No.
was in
You're,
last year.
you're moving the goalposts, bro. It doesn't
I
matter
never
what
said
you
Matt Ryan's
said.
gonna carry.
It doesn't matter
I
what
didn't
you
say that
said.
once.
You
You
were so
said- I didn't say
fucking
that
high on the
once.
Colts. They suck.
It's pretty easy to say.
It's 2 weeks.
It's pretty easy to say.
They
You-
scored 0 points against
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
not scoring a point is
Like,
crazy.
sure, it's 2 weeks. 0 points against Jacksonville is legitimately worrisome.
The main reason why you were so high on the Colts this offseason was because of Matt Ryan.
and they had a great
That's
roster.
the only.
It sounds like the same.
We talked about this.
It sounds like the same roster
it's-
Wentz was in.
It's funny because how clear things become after a couple weeks in the NFL. Because the entire offseason, we sat here, wherever you were on the pod, but we sat here, Drew, and said, they have Michael Pittman. The biggest weakness was this wide receiver, too. If Michael Pittman goes out for any extended period of time, it becomes the worst weapon room in the league with or without Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman misses week 2. We see what this offense
They did
is
not
without
score 8
him.
points.
They are terrible. This is an offense that is one of the worst in the league without him because Matt Ryan, while he's an average quarterback, if things around him are not perfect,
I
he's
wouldn't
not
say-
going to be able to be great.
I wouldn't say perfect.
It has to be damn near perfect.
That's a fucking stretch.
No.
With Michael Pittman only, which is even with Michael Pittman, it's not a perfect situation. He threw for 350 plus
They
and
tied
almost
with
had
the
a fourth quarter
Texans.
comeback.
They went to
so
overtime.
let's stop acting like Matt Ryan can't play well if the situation's not perfect. He played well in Atlanta, and the situation
They
was not
tied
perfect.
with Houston and lost to Jacksonville. This is a team. I'm not just because it's more than Matt
and Denver
Ryan. You're
almost
right.
lost to Houston, and you have to make the playoffs.
But they have Russell Wilson.
I'm-
They have 2 wide receivers.
No, I know, but
they
you're-
have 2 running backs.
I'm not comparing that.
They got multiple
I'm
tight
saying
ends,
the
too.
fact that you're saying
offensive line's
you're
good.
saying the Colts
Offensive line's
the Colts tied with Houston. The Texans have a great fucking defense this year.
and they just went and beat Houston.
Barely.
They won.
We won.
It's
They
a,
didn't
it's
tie.
a win or
They
lose
didn't
game.
tie.
So
It's a win or lose
don't act
sport,
like
bro.
Houston is just this
They didn't score.
Garbage team.
If you think this is
they play hard.
You think this is a team that could go to the playoffs, win games.
Their defense is for real.
You shouldn't have 0 points on Jacksonville.
I agree.
Now,
but I just don't like the sly you took at Houston. Like they're playing hard football right now.
Joel, I just want to say this really quick. You spoke a lot. Let's hear what he has to say.
Thank you. Because I agree. It's not just on Matt Ryan. The wide receiver room out there was the worst in the league. But Joel, did me and Drew not tell you the entire offseason they didn't solve wide receiver 2? You're high on Alec Pierce. I get it.
Paris
He's already
Campbell.
injured.
He was out.
He was already injured. And week 1, he dropped a touchdown too. Paris Campbell, your guy, who should have been the number 1 wide receiver last week, had 0 catches, had 0 receiving yards. He didn't get anything going. Jonathan Taylor, the play calling was a mess. And Matt Ryan, you do not pin this all on him. I understand. He had 3 interceptions. The first one was a fucking duck that was just landed right into the DB's hand. The second one was tipped. I'll give you that. The third one, he was pressured. It was a complete overthrow and his interception. Matt Ryan did not help his case. The offensive weapons are not there. We give, Fields slack and these other teams who don't have the weapons. So I'm not going to put it all on Matt Ryan. But our issue coming into the season was they just have Pittman and JT, of course. But if something happens to Pittman or if he gets taken out of the game, the offense is stagnant. There's nothing you can do. And this is why I worry about the Colts, because Matt Ryan looked old at times. The weapons weren't good. He looked old. His arm did not look great, which is what I said coming into this season. They completed 20% of their third downs. They had 49 plays. The bottom last year was Seattle, who ran 56. They're not even running enough plays to score points. They had 4.5 yards per play. This is not an explosive offense unless JT is able to go and make big plays or if Pittman gets one-on-one coverage. If teams are able to just bracket Pittman and stop JT, this is game over. And defensively, I know we're high on Trevor Lawrence. You can't allow 83% completion percentage. You can't have 0 sacks. I know the offensive line has improved. You got to be able to get some pressure. So this Colts team is a team that I think defensively, especially against Jacksonville, we expect it to be better. I think offensively, it's going to have to be a lot of dink and dunk. Maybe you get some, down the field shots to Michael Pittman, but overall, Matt Ryan's not going to be able to consistently make those plays if he's going to keep getting pressure because his offensive line has really looked bad. It's not all on Matt Ryan. I get it. But you got to go and look what fucking Carson Wentz is doing in Washington too. Because right now he's being, through 2 weeks, not overreacting, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Second in yards, second highest completion percentage, the most 20-plus yard plays, the second most 40-plus yard plays, a passer rating over 100. You shit on him the entire offseason about how bad he was, why he was the problem they lost. He goes to Washington, who has a plethora of weapons, and he's playing some of the best football. 2 weeks, I'll give it to you, in his career. Now, you can't do Matt Ryan, who 2 weeks had one good game, one game where he looked like shit. This is a team that has to win through JT. It's a team that has to be able to pass protect from Matt Ryan. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that offensively, and their next 3 games are Chiefs, Titans, at Denver. That's a tough stretch to start your first 5 games when you're ready 0-1-1. It's going to be hard to bounce back from that, given their division is bad. So you might be able to sneak in the playoffs with 8 or 9 wins. Right now,
7.
Right now, like Jacksonville. Right now, if I had to pick, Jacksonville looks like the best team in the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence looked great. We'll get into him a little bit later. But if you're the Colts, you have to be worried. It was an embarrassing loss.
I apologize that I didn't think Michael Pittman was going to get hurt. I apologize. I didn't know.
But the lack of wide receiver depth is scary.
I will say this.
That coming into the season. I will say this. They have no wide receiver too.
That's not even like, I understand the receivers are a big problem. My problem on Sunday was they just looked unprepared. That's my biggest problem was with the coaching. Like, I understand the receivers, the talent is not there. You don't run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. You're getting penalized. You're turning 3rd and 4 situations into 3rd and 9. You're putting Matt Ryan in a tougher position. It's an undisciplined football team right now.
This is Frank Reich.
It's just so much.
This is Frank Reich, who you said are one of the best coaches in the league last week. And I said in the regular season, sure, he showed us some things.
He's definitely one of the better offensive play callers.
He's shown us some things in the regular season. He has 1 playoff win. It was with Andrew Luck at quarterback.
So
if you can't win in the regular season, if he starts off 0-3 or whatever with the fucking tie, the seat's going to get hot.
I don't want to hear that from you. Let's add context. That conversation was comparing Hackett and Frank Reich. It's not a fucking comparison.
You still called him one of the best coaches in the league. Regardless if we're comparing Hackett or not, still one of the best in the league.
One of the better offensive play callers.
Scored 0 points on Jackson.
That whole conversation was about Hackett versus Frank Reich.
0 points.
It was, but regardless,
And
the statement alone, you said is Frank Reich one of the best coaches in the league.
Hackett cannot even compare to Frank Reich's resume, bro. As a play caller.
He already got more wins this year than him.
He scored more.
Well, one.
Sing.
Nathaniel Hackett literally did nothing in Green Bay. He just let Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur handle everything.
That is indeed
He did
true.
nothing there. He did
Up
nothing.
to this point, Frank Reich has been
Nothing.
taking advantage of
Frank
a very
Reich-
weak division, made the playoffs 2 of his
Riff.
years, has one playoff win with Andrew
What
Luck, and
does-
has not
what
had a
does-
playoff win since.
Okay, I get it. Listen, has he? He doesn't have the greatest resume. I'm not saying he's a top 5
You
coach.
said he's one of the best coaches in the league last year.
I
Did
think
he not say that?
Bro, I think
Am I
he's a top 10 coach, but I'll say he's more close to he's not 10. He's not 10.
So
But
he's
listen,
a top 10 coach, but would you say that he's not on the hot seat?
he is on a hot seat. I never
right.
said he
All right,
wasn't. But I'm just saying, I'm adding context to what you said. That conversation was about Frank Reich and Hackett.
But the
Hackett
statement
can't
alone
fucking
is
light
okay.
a candle to Frank
That's
Reich.
fine.
Hey,
It's fine.
Who
Yo.
who was your OC in 2017 when you guys won a Super Bowl?
It
Frank
was
Reich.
Frank Reich.
Okay, he has a chip. Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have shit.
Him and Wentz.
So let's stop.
Being an OC compared to head coach is very different, man.
Okay, and
Wentz-
Nathaniel Hackett didn't do shit as an OC.
Wentz almost won MVP.
Why are you
Everyone
saying
who's
he
the
didn't
head
do
coach
shit?
was
I'm
a
not-
Because
great
Matt
coordinator at some
LaFleur
point.
called the plays, and he designed the offense.
Only thing Hackett did was shit in practice. To be honest with you. That's the only thing he did.
Don't turn this into a fucking Hackett thing.
I'm
You
not
know-
we're
saying
back
it's
on-
like,
we're back
I'm
on
just
Frank.
adding,
We're back on
I'm just
Frank.
adding,
We're-
I'm adding
we're back on Frank.
context
No,
to
but
what last
I
week's
understand,
dialogue was.
but
No,
you
but
said
he-
the statement.
Yeah,
Regardless if
that's-
it's Hackett or not, you said the
And
statement
listen.
that he's one of the best coaches in the league.
Listen, I know. Coming to the season, did I think he was a top 10 coach? Yes. Is he on the hot seat? Yes. I believe he's on a hot seat. This team looks like an undisciplined football team. Right now, yes, he's on the hot seat. Right now, he doesn't look like a good coach. That being said, what he's done in Indy for the past couple of years, it's not like he hasn't done nothing. He's beat, like last year with Carson Wentz, he beat a Kansas City Chiefs team. They blew out a Buffalo Bills team. So let's not act like Frank Reich is just this horrible coach. He has a
I'm not saying
resume
he's horrible.
and has a
Choke it.
bunch of impressive wins in his
then
back
lost in
pocket.
Jacksonville.
This season,
And then lost in Jacksonville to go to the playoffs.
Yes, it's a horrible moment.
They lost
But
2 games in
Yeah,
a row
so
back
like
to
the
back.
Bro,
KC
it's
shit's
a-
cool,
it's a
but
horrible
when you
moment.
had to
Higher
win, he
chance.
No
folded.
doubt,
Let
no
me hear him.
doubt,
Let me hear him.
no doubt. I'm not defending Frank Reich, and I don't know why you're taking that as I am. I'm just saying.
It sounded like you were defending
I'm just
him right
saying.
there.
I'm just saying.
Talking about his resume.
Frank Reich, these past 2 weeks, has been one of the worst coaching jobs that I've seen from him. That doesn't diminish what he's done. Because before this season, yes, I had him as a top 10 coach. And so did a lot of other great football minds. This isn't just a me thing.
Not saying it is.
Frank Reich has been a good coach in Indianapolis. Right now, is he bad? Yes, but he's been a good coach.
But you didn't look at the weaknesses of the Colts this entire offseason. And now when it's coming to fruition, me and Drew are sitting here saying, hey, we told you this months ago. We told you getting Matt Ryan, sure, is a slight upgrade on paper. But him and Wentz, I mean, I don't know if it's this massive upgrade that takes you from a borderline playoff team to winning multiple playoff games, especially in the AFC.
I understand
now
that.
it's come to
Their,
fruition.
their
We knew
biggest,
this.
What's
their
the
biggest
difference?
thing was that they had a chance at the division this year. That
okay,
was their biggest
yeah.
thing.
What's the difference between what you're telling me now about how you've been preaching about the Colts being overrated? And yes, as of right now, you're completely right on that.
Take him out victory lap.
What
as
is
you did
the
last week
what
with
is the
fucking Gabe
difference?
Davidson.
What is the difference between that and what I said about the Broncos week 1 and that not being an overreaction?
We have a W.
They are both overreactions.
We have a win.
And as of right now, the
Against
Denver
one of the
Broncos is like
teams that you guys tied with.
a top 5 poorly coached team in football.
One team has Russell Wilson. One team has Matt Ryan.
Russell Wilson hasn't done shit in the playoffs the last 5 years. Hasn't done anything.
Can we get to Can the Colts get to the playoffs first?
They got there. They got there before the Broncos.
I'm saying this year, like they look bad.
The Colts, if you compare Russell Wilson and the Colts, they've been to the playoffs at the same time, 2020.
I'm not comparing.
They both went to the
I'm saying
playoffs.
this year. I'm not saying who made the playoffs 3 years ago.
We don't know if the Broncos didn't make the playoffs, bro.
I have more faith in Russell. I'll put more faith in Russell Wilson and that offense, especially defensively. You guys have been showing out too. The
Hell
defensive
yeah,
line
defensive line's been fired.
Good.
than this team.
Look, I understand that, but I'm saying it is still early in the season.
It is.
The Colts,
It is.
I'm not saying you're
Are they
wrong
going to
in
get a
what
wide
you're
receiver
saying.
too?
I'm not saying you're wrong in what you're saying. The Colts had problems I overlooked. Wide receiver.
Massive.
I thought Paris Campbell was going to be better.
It's a wide receiver league, man.
Was I emotional about Paris Campbell? Did I overrate him? Yes, I thought he'd be better.
I can't stand him.
That's
bro.
that's
I can't.
that what that's the truth. That's the truth.
He's admitting he's wrong here.
I know.
I didn't.
I'm taking this.
I'm taking this. I didn't think Michael Pittman would be out week 2. Sorry, I don't account for injuries because when Michael Pittman's in the offense, they're gonna put up points.
I don't like that. I don't like that statement only because you're the first to say when a player is injury prone that we knew this guy was
not injury prone.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying I like to keep the same energy. You never predict or like to predict a player's injury. It's just one of those things you can't control.
Exactly. And I didn't know Pittman was going to get injured.
I don't like you using it to defend yourself right now because more often than not, you're on the other side of that fence.
When? What
do you mean when?
Name an example. When?
That's so messed up for you to do to me right now, but you know it's a fact.
It's not a fact. And if it is...
Riv, please, you know I'm not lying.
And if it is a fact, it's because the player that you're naming me has a history of injury.
There you go.
Sounds like Paris Campbell. Sounds like Paris Campbell.
Tough.
I understand.
Okay. That's why when we said, when you're saying, oh, break out Paris Campbell, I'm like, bro.
And listen.
He doesn't stay on the field.
Bro, and listen, you're right. If Paris Campbell got hurt, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. It's Pittman, though. I started him. I had a Benjamin fantasy.
Listen, I understand.
I lost.
But that was also a late scratch, so just really quick, because I've really gotten no words in. But it's been fun to listen to you guys. Amazing. It was a late scratch by Michael Pittman. So for the coaches to adjust very quickly like that, it was a tough task. The one issue is you scored 0 points, and you barely gave the rock to one of the best players in the NFL. That's the issue right there.
You had 3
I agree.
interceptions.
Listen, I think JT should have got the ball more. The Colts also dropped 2 interceptions that were right in their hands. They didn't capitalize.
And you know what? I feel like this is a perfect segue because we talked a lot about the Colts and not enough about Trevor Lawrence. We want to have this discussion about Trevor Lawrence and the development we've seen thus far. Trevor Lawrence had a really good game, but I'm not overreacting to that performance because there were times that the defense could have capitalized and simply did not. The one play that I will say that I need to give a little bit more credit to Lawrence was the one where he's rolling to his opposite side, throws an absolute dime piece to Agnew, and it just goes right through his hands. Other than that, I didn't see anything overly impressive from him in terms of throwing in tight windows, really dominating the game with his arm. He just made smart play after smart play. And that's something I can give credit for, absolutely.
Listen, I disagree wholeheartedly. And this is cool. We'll segue to Trevor Lawrence. Just lastly, it's a long season. I'm not totally out on my Colts stock. Am I more concerned am I less hyped than I would have been?
What's your panic level, 0 to 10?
It's at like a 6.
Okay. Oh,
it's like at a 6.
That's kind of significant.
It's like at a 6.
If it was at a 1
that is significant.
This is going to segue to my Trevor Lawrence thing. I disagree. Trevor Lawrence in the first 2 weeks is flash special. In week 2,
he's flashed, sure.
In week 2, that pass to Agnew, I know what you're talking about. Agnew should have caught it. But there were multiple times where Trevor Lawrence rolled out to his left and made throws on the move.
For sure.
And I'm like, wow.
But they're wide open.
Trevor Lawrence is somebody that in the offseason, I was pushing this agenda of that. This guy, his pocket presence was amongst one of the best in the NFL last season. And now he has a head coach in Doug Peterson, say what you want about him in his tenure with Philadelphia, he extends drives. They were amongst the league leaders in the NFL every year in Philadelphia in yards per drive. So they have long drives, and that was what Jacksonville was having the entire game. Trevor Lawrence, to me, has been special. 25 for 30, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know he had those 2 picks that were dropped, but I don't care because he makes so many other throws that impress me.
You're right.
And we're talking about a Jaguars offense that it's not like Miami that has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. It's not like the Bengals that have weapons all over. The offensive line is pretty good. It's an above average group. I told you guys Christian Kirk was going to go crazy this year.
He did.
I was told here that Kyler made him. Christian Kirk is one of the better man separators in the NFL, and how Doug Peterson is using him. For one, he's the centerpiece in the offense. They're moving him around in the slot on the outside, getting him matchups against linebackers. He's winning those matches fairly easily. And Evan Ingram, they're taking advantage of his skill set. Trevor Lawrence and his connection with Kirk and Ingram has been really good so far. And after watching the 2 games from Jacksonville, you're right. Like, if I were to bet on a team right now to win the division, it would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look at the team, let's just compare the Jaguars to the AFC South. They have the best quarterback in the division. They have the best offensive line in the division. They have the best offensive weapons. Although the offensive weapons are overpaid, it's better than Tennessee's. It's better than Indy's because we just saw Michael Pittman go out and they have the worst receiver room in football, and they're better than the Texans. So the Jags have the best quarterback.
I would take the healthy
offensive
Colts.
line. They have the best quarterback, offensive line, offensive weapons all around, and all the defenses are around the same. But the Jaguars' run defense is as legit as it can be.
They're amazing.
And one of the pickups in the offseason was Falaronza Fadakazi, who's one of the best run stoppers on the Jets. He's now there. The Jaguars have 2 legit edge presences in Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, who's been really good so far. The Jaguars, I look at them, and they have the most complete roster in the division right now. And they have the best quarterback, which is the most important thing, too.
Only thing I'll disagree with what you just said was the weapons room. I just think when healthy, I'm going Colts. Michael Pittman's better than every receiver on the Jaguars, and Jonathan Taylor is definitely better than Etienne and James Robinson. Shout out to James Robinson, who's been very impressive in these first 2 games, coming off a torn Achilles.
I understand what you're saying, but like,
I had a lot to say.
I know what you're saying,
man.
but
Come on,
Michael
man.
Pittman and JT, or Kirk, Marvin Jones, Etienne, Robinson, and Evan Ingram.
Yeah, Michael Pittman and JT. So to talk about Trevor Lawrence, yes, absolutely. He's definitely right now the best quarterback in this division. I'm just not looking at this game and saying this is the game that showed me that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy. He had some extremely impressive plays where.
So you don't think he's the guy?
No, I do.
Okay.
I'm just saying this isn't the game that I'm going to look at and think, yes, this is the reason why. He had some really good moments, but it wasn't like he was absolutely flawless.
He's not the reason why what?
No,
They win the division?
This game isn't the reason why I look at Trevor Lawrence and say he's going to be the Trevor Lawrence we're all expecting him to be. I'm not looking at a game against the Colts who have been absolutely atrocious and saying that. I can see he showed flashes of why we have so much faith in Trevor Lawrence here, but this wasn't a perfectly seamless game for him. He made some errors, for sure. But the inability of the Colts to score points didn't put him in a position where he was panicked, he was pressed. He played a great game, absolutely, but I'm not going to say that this is the game where I'm going to say everything changed for me in my perspective on Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be an amazing quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in this league eventually. But this isn't a game I'm looking at and really heightening that thought process.
So what game was it? Or has there been a game like that?
It's just the little things we've seen from Trevor Lawrence game to game, early this season, absolutely, that show me Trevor Lawrence has flashes. Get him a couple more weapons, and then we'll really start to talk. Because then this team will be one that you can't sleep on. 24-0 is no small feat, absolutely not, especially in division, especially to a Colts team that has as much hype as it does. The Colts look terrible, and they didn't have their number one option out the wide receiver and Michael Pittman. It's just, for me, this isn't one of those that I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence and saying, this is the one. He played very well, absolutely. But there were a couple of moments that Colts could have capitalized, and maybe the game's different. But you know what? If your grandmother had balls, should be your grandfather. So you can't look at it like that. Great game by Trevor, but let's look on to week 3.
Honestly, the Colts had their opportunities.
Absolutely.
They didn't capitalize.
Yeah,
They didn't.
In the red zone.
Yeah.
Multiple times. The interceptions could have helped, yeah, but like even with those interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. Colts had a plethora of opportunities. They said, no thanks.
Like, for example, Carson Wentz, you have said, is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
That was him, but I'm gonna second on it.
Oh, you're going to second on
They're
it.
2 weeks, facts.
Through 2 weeks. Carson
Third on it?
Wentz,
Tough.
how many interceptions did he throw week 1 and week 2?
2.
It's been multiple.
I think he had 1 week 2,
Yes.
but it was a tip.
I think it's 3 total.
3 total,
three
but
total.
one was a tip. If you want to say it's an interception, but I'm not really knocking him for that one. The first week he had 2.
It's not a stretch to say Trevor Lawrence has been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Has he been playing better than Carson Wentz?
Yes.
I disagree.
He hasn't been playing better than Hurts.
He played better than him versus Washington.
No, he did not.
Trevor Lawrence.
in the second half?
Trevor Lawrence had multiple touchdowns dropped.
I mean, he did.
Carson Wentz had 4 touchdowns, though.
Yeah, but
Carson Wentz-
Trevor Lawrence
Carson Wentz came back.
And he
Carson
led the
Wentz
comeback.
has been really
He
good.
cost him the
he
game and
came
came
back.
back.
And against the Lions, they looked down and out, and
He
he
just started bugging.
made it close.
A lot of weapons there.
It's not. Listen, I'm not trying to use Carson Wentz to knock Trevor.
No, I'm saying
let's just respect Carson Wentz and what he's done.
No, Carson Wentz, like you said, you guys have seconded. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks.
Hell yeah.
Although I disagree, maybe the stats may show it. I don't think he's been playing one of the best quarterbacks.
He just beat your guy, Trevor Lawrence, though.
I think Trevor Lawrence has been playing better than Carson Wentz.
In which way, though?
I don't like just because the stats aren't there,
That's why I'm asking you which way.
Pocket presence, the big time throws he's making. I think Trevor Lawrence has made more high level throws.
Lawrence has made the most big time throws in the league.
I think Trevor Lawrence has had a lot of big time throws dropped. Those big time throws don't account for the drops.
Sucks to suck.
Like, there are 10 quarterbacks I can name that have been playing better than Carson Wentz this year.
Do the same thing for Lawrence too, though.
Isn't Carson Wentz number 2 in total yards?
Yeah, he is. And passing yards, yeah.
I mean, let's just throw some respect on him. It's not the list.
Passing
Joe Flacco's number 3.
It's
So yes,
crazy.
that list is
Him,
not
Allen,
100% sound.
Mahomes, I think,
But let's just put some
Tua.
respect on Carson Wentz and what he's done.
If Carson Wentz was doing this in his second season, you'd say he's flashing special or he's special.
Thing is,
Trevor Lawrence is doing something similar to what Carson Wentz is doing right now in the second season.
People held Carson Wentz on God tier when he was on the Eagles.
It was.
The Eagles decided to keep him over someone that won a Super Bowl for them
He was better.
because of how great Carson Wentz was. I mean, people looked at Carson Wentz back in the day as the premier cream of the crop quarterback.
He was.
We can't say that that's not true. Of course, Trevor Lawrence came in a higher touted prospect. I think that, yes, inevitably Trevor Lawrence will be.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
No,
Wentz,
he
he was.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm saying Wentz was like top 4.
My pro con for Trevor Lawrence was Carson Wentz at his peak. That was my pro con for Trevor Lawrence.
That's low ball on Lawrence. I feel.
Okay, so
At his peak is MVP.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm understanding.
I'm just saying, Carson Wentz, you guys have thought has been playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I'm not saying you guys are wrong in that statement.
Okay.
I might disagree, but I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that Trevor Lawrence has been playing at a pretty similar level, in my opinion.
He has been.
Which
He has been playing well.
Which means that if, at least in my mind, if I think he's playing just as well as Carson Wentz, and you guys think he's been playing at one of the best levels at quarterback and in football, then Trevor Lawrence has been special in these first 2 games.
I don't think anyone's shitting on Trevor Lawrence.
No, but Drew said that none of these performances he's looking at and saying that like moves him.
I guess because he's comparing. I think in his mind he's comparing it to Tua and Hurts' week 2 performances.
Not
because I don't know how you can say like Trevor Lawrence had these mistakes. He had like those dropped, but Carson Wentz has had multiple mistakes in each game.
No, that's not. Let me try and better summarize what I mean. There's been moments in these first 2 weeks that Trevor Lawrence has showed you this is who we all thought Trevor Lawrence would be. I want to see it in one game in totality. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen this season, but it wasn't against the Colts.
I thought he had some really nice throws.
He did,
especially
absolutely.
off-platform, cross-body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was missing those deep wow throws that we saw from Tua. We saw from Jalen Hurts last night as
I mean,
well.
they weren't as open as.
No, for sure. The Agnew
Come
one,
on
the Agnew one
now.
could have
What do you
changed
mean?
anything.
That's
Why
a
are you
fact.
saying that, though? We just
Bro,
had this
did he
whole
had a
conversation
broken
about not
coverage? Like,
having...
The Agnew,
on,
the
bro.
Agnew
threw a
one could have been
ball
the
to-
play. The Agnew one could have been that play.
Is that Lawrence to Agnew play? Like, look, I don't want to. I mean, fuck it. Let's just compare that
why
throw
we
if
doing
it
that?
was made versus the throws through to Tyreek Hill on both deep throws.
Sure.
Both of those were
But we just
high
sat
level
here,
of difficulty.
Didn't we just sit here and say that we're not going to talk
Yeah,
about
I'm not
the
comparing
openness of the wide receivers? Didn't I just give you praise for not doing that?
I didn't diminish.
Do you want me
Tua
to
for
go
the
back on
openness.
that? Like,
I didn't diminish Tua for the openness of those throws. He made a great throw. Trevor Lawrence didn't have anything that was as open
Jamal
as that all day.
Agnew was open as sin.
Bro,
It was a bit overthrown.
He was covered.
Agnew was pretty open.
He had a step on a guy,
He was,
but it's not
open.
like the steps that Tyreek Hill had.
It's
No, of
Tyreek
course.
Hill.
I mean, those are
compared to Agnew.
fucking. I mean, especially the
I
second.
mean, we're
Tyreek
talking
touchdown
about
was insane
Trevor
open.
Lawrence right now. These weapons,
It's
before
mid.
the fucking
It's mid.
season,
It's
we've
mid.
said they were a bottom 5 unit in football.
That's facts.
And he's putting great
He's up-
numbers
yes,
with that.
For
he is.
sure.
He's definitely
For sure.
elevating the weapons around him.
Absolutely.
Like,
But
I think even with those freaking mistakes, bro, Trevor Lawrence has already, to me, in the Washington and Indy game, shown 2 games, full body of works where I'm like,
He's
this
made
guy's
really-
special.
yes. I
This
agree.
guy's special.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Even with the mistakes.
I feel like we're just having I don't know where the disconnect's coming from. Because, yes, I've seen it in both games for sure. But
the
You just
disconnect
need
is
to see
coming
him more, it
from.
seems.
I just need to see it in one game as a whole. That's all.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought he
that's
was.
all I'm
I thought he was
asking for.
pretty damn good.
yeah,
against
I
the
thought
Colts.
as a whole in the
He
game he
pretty
was
damn
special.
good. He
That's
was.
where we're
Had
different.
special moments.
25 for 30, 83%
No, for sure.
completion.
But then the 2 interceptions change everything. But again, it's knives and butts.
You're right.
I can't act like that.
I'm excited next year. Like, I'm hoping Jacksonville can get him a wide receiver 1. Like, that has to be their number 1. Like, he's been really good.
No,
Don't get me
he's
wrong.
been phenomenal.
He's been really good. But they need to go get a Stephon Diggs, Tyreek, that type of number one receiver, so we could really see Trevor Lawrence step into the type of guy we think he could be.
So 2 questions before we move on. In or out, the Jacksonville Jaguars will win the AFC South.
I'm a salmon.
No passion.
Will win?
I'm a salmon.
You said will win?
Will win.
This seems like an overreaction
I'm
as
not there.
hell.
I'm close. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to say that. But, hey, they look the best so far in a weak division.
Tennessee looks like hot garbage. The Texans look okay. They've had some tough competition. The Colts just got smoked by 24, no points put up. I want to lean in. And you know what? I'm going to go in.
I am leaning more in. Fuck it. If we're all going in, I'll go in.
I said it earlier. I think they have the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
They have the best offensive line. They have the best weapons all around in totality. And I think their defense, you can make an argument, is the best in the division.
It's solid. It's really good.
And I don't want to give up on the Colts so fast.
I agree.
But if I am, it's for the Jaguars because I think Trevor Lawrence has
they're easily the team you look at next. And I don't want to because I've said Pittman being out is massive. It's huge loss for the Colts.
One of the better receivers.
So I've said it before. I just want to make myself very clear that I did not pin this loss solely on Matt Ryan. The offensive weapons he have were terrible on Sunday. So I'm not completely out on the Colts yet, but this was my worry about them being one of the best teams in the AFC just because the lack of depth and, special talent on the outside.
And now next question. If you're taking one quarterback for the next 10 years, is it Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence?
Next 10 years, a good question. Joe Burrow did go to a Super Bowl with a mediocre.
Give me Trevor Lawrence.
Wow. Okay.
Why is that, Riv?
I feel like he's the better arm talent. He has the size. He's Josh Allen-like in terms of just how tall he is. I feel like his pocket presence will be better. He has the better arm. And you see what he's doing with less talent. I think with Joe Burrow, he was great his rookie year, and then he got Jamar Chase, and we've talked about it before. When you get a number one, it elevates your game. But Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, who's you can call him a glorified number one, but he's probably one of the best number twos in the game. And the Joe Mixon. I think when you have that type of talent, sometimes it can
gloss over
the deficiencies you have as a quarterback. With Trevor Lawrence, as of right now, there is no deficiencies. I mean, you were nitpicking a little bit. He's been amazing. His pocket presence has been incredible. He's been accurate. He's been on point. He's been doing things with limited talent. So when you have somebody like that, I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't pick him, because even talking about Josh Allen, when he didn't have talent, they turned into a playoff team. That was an offense that wasn't good. He was throwing to fucking John Brown and Cole Beasley, playoff team. So I just think, looking at Trevor Lawrence, he can possibly win. If he wins this division, I don't see how you wouldn't take him, but right now I'm taking him.
Pocket presence definitely has improved from last year. Last year it seemed like he was evading the pocket a little bit too quickly. This year he's trusting his offensive line and really moving when he needs to and making really strong throws, like you said, off platform. Some very impressive throws. Over the next 10 years, it's tough. You look at that Bengals team, and it looks like it's set up for success. They're 0-2.
We're just saying quarterback, I think.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Because, listen, let's be honest.
Let's say they have the same situation.
Yeah.
I'll take Trevor.
You're talking raw physical attributes. Trev clears him and everything. I don't know if there's anything Joe Burrow does physically that's better than Trevor Lawrence.
Maybe mobility, but even then.
I think
Trevor's more mobile.
Clears.
Trevor clears.
I mean, let's just look at last season. This guy, Joe Burrow, was running all over the field. Not mobile in the sense like a Lamar or Josh Allen, but his ability to scramble in and out of the pocket.
The thing about it is that Joe Burrow, you know that he has these limited attributes.
Top 5.
Which means that Joe Burrow has to be
top 5. Remember, he said Joe Burrow's top 5.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
And he's Tom Brady. He's the next Tom Brady.
I have no problem
You're taking
with that.
Burrow, Trev?
It's really close.
So then where's Trevor?
This is what I'm saying. Joe Burrow, his arm strength is not he doesn't have as big of an arm as Trevor Lawrence. Joe Burrow has to read defenses at a near perfect level to make up for the fact of all those things he lacks in terms of physical attributes. Trevor Lawrence, with those physical attributes, great coaching, great supporting cast, and he can read defense at a high level, he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
So who are you taking?
It's tough. I love Burrow. I love Trevor too.
Top 5.
I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence.
It's just that I can't get mad at that answer because
would you guys have said this at the start of the season?
Yes.
No way.
I don't think you would have. You had Burrow as the fifth best quarterback in the league.
Bro, for this season, no. But we're talking about the next 10 years.
But Burrow's already at 5 for you.
I think Trevor Lawrence can be he can be there too.
In year 2, he took one of the worst franchises in NFL history to Super Bowl.
That's why I don't want to discredit Burrow. Burrow did something amazing.
I'm not saying you're discrediting him.
There's a few guys I'd take over Burrow. To be honest with you.
I agree.
I would take, if we're talking about,
to me.
if fuck 10 years, if we're talking about right now, I'll take Trevor Lawrence in front of a couple top 10 guys.
But I'm shocked to hear you say this.
Russell
Stafford.
Wilson, I'll take Trevor Lawrence over. I'll take him
about
over Matthew Stafford.
He's saying this year he would still
No,
take
not
Russell.
this year.
No,
Going
he's
forward.
Name me
bad.
just young guys. Fuck the old heads. The young guys.
The only people I wouldn't take over Trevor Lawrence right now, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen,
Lamar.
Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson.
Kyler?
I'll take him over Kyler.
Okay, you take him over Deshaun too?
If
Or
I'm
you wait and see?
getting the 2020 Deshaun,
So we'll wait and see
no.
on that one. We'll wait and see on
But
that
if
one.
he hasn't played in a
Zach.
while. Nah, I can't give up on my guy Zach. You know, I'm a Zach guy. Okay. I'm not gonna give up on him.
And Burrow, you would take over him over Burrow.
Yeah, I think it's a toss up between him and Burrow. I think it's a toss up. But there are very few guys I take over Trevor Lawrence like going forward. I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna be that special.
Trevor Lawrence is a savage.
He's special, man.
Just to say before the season, to say that like you say,
because I
to
don't
say
think we
that
would have.
before
I
the
wouldn't have said
season
it.
that you would say that, I find it hard to believe. Hey, I mean, listen, you say what you want and you believe what you believe. I'm not saying that this is what you mean, but this is how I perceive it. As someone who is as high as you were on Joe Burrow prior to this season, it's hard for me to sit here and believe that you would take
the amount
Trevor
of
Lawrence.
shit you gave me for being low on the Bengals, for being lower on Joe Burrow, for you to come beginning of the season. I mean, we'll never know. It's a hypothetical, but I just like seeing things come full circle, man. Take that victory lap through 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't say it if I don't think Trevor Lawrence's potential is that high.
Yeah, of course.
And all offseason, I've been saying that I think Trevor Lawrence is going to go crazy this year. Like, I've been saying that now with Doug Peterson and how he looked in year 1. I think he's bound for it. I'm just talking about moving forward. I think Trevor Lawrence is that good. Next topic, Nathaniel Hackett and the Broncos. Another embarrassing performance by them, although they won. Is Nathaniel Hackett already proving to be one of the worst coaches in the NFL? Now, this one is for you, Drew.
This one's tough because we just have not looked anywhere near of where I would want us to
Take
to
your
be.
bias hat off.
No, it's completely off. I'm being completely transparent. This is nowhere near what I was expecting from us. I was expecting 2 wins. I was expecting 2 comfortable wins against Seattle, who I just think is still one of the worst teams in the league, and the Texans, who are also one of the worst teams in the National Football League as well. This was a tough one. As offensively, we were stagnant. We really couldn't get anything going. First drive, we looked okay, but really once we get to the red zone, it's just a completely different story. Courtland Sutton scored an early touchdown, but then he couldn't get his left foot down, so that was overturned. Tried the same play again, didn't end up working. We just really get into the red zone, and we can't do anything. The woes that really concern me are in the second half, where it's 3rd and short. Instead of giving the ball to Javonte, are you guys getting weird?
He is.
I don't know
He
what he's
always
talking about.
is.
Yeah, Riv started taking a page out of Joel's book earlier this show. That being said, 3rd and short, instead of giving the ball to Javonte Williams, who's just one of the more brute, dominant running backs in the league, you give it to one of our tight ends who has rushed, they said that he rushed 1 time prior to that in his NFL career. Doesn't get it. 4th down, instead of they don't know what to do. They don't know if they want to bring out the field goal unit or not. Ends up costing them, giving them a delay of game penalty. Now they're not going for a field goal. Now they're punting it. So they cost themselves 3 points. This game was just extremely sloppily managed. We don't have timeouts with 7 minutes left in the game. And, of course, Nathaniel Hackett, being a rookie coach, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. I gave him some slack for that game against Seattle. I didn't hate the decision. I didn't love it. Personally, I would have given the ball to Russ. Of course. I mean, you paid him $250 million. You want to give the ball to Russell Wilson. But McManus isn't a bum. I understand that thought process. I didn't agree with it. I understand it. This one is borderline inexcusable. A lot went wrong. The offense looked like shit. Russell Wilson's interception, I'm not really thinking too much about it. The middle linebacker just absolutely, I think Christian Kirksey was the one that just stripped it from Courtland Sutton, made a great play on the ball. I'm not overreacting to the offense. as much as I'm not overreacting to Nathaniel Hackett and his inability to be proactive when it comes to time management in terms of calling plays to come to the goal line because we've been extremely inefficient. Russell Wilson's going to be completely fine. I do trust that. But as of right now, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing from Nathaniel Hackett. And definitely, he's on the hot seat for me.
32 points in the first 2 games.
Door grand slam.
Tough.
16 points a game amongst one of the worst in the NFL. The Broncos are the only team since 2000, 22 years, with at least 5 goal-to-go situations and 0 touchdowns scored on them.
It sucks, man.
That's how bad the red zone play calling has been. Versus the Texans, I mean, the mistakes, the errors. I mean, I saw it against the Seattle game, in the Seahawks game. You know, the game where you guys told me, Nathaniel Hackett wasn't that bad. He was actually really good. He was great.
He wasn't that bad. He was bad against
versus the Texans. On 3rd and inches, he handed it off to Andrew Beck, your tight end.
Yeah, poor decision.
Instead of Javonte, 4th and 2.
This is what I just said.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to repeat it. 4th and 2, he leaves the offense on the field. The clock goes down. You lose yards, and you have to punt it. Ironically, it was a 59-yard attempt. That penalty put it to a 64-yard attempt. Something Hackett was comfortable taking on 4th and 5. What happened here? Maybe, indecision.
Or experience.
He had to burn a timeout because you didn't have a punt returner on the field.
That was also embarrassing.
The Broncos had 0 timeouts left with 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. It's so embarrassing. You had fans shouting out the play clock to make sure Nathaniel Hackett, who's an NFL head coach, knew. Nathaniel Hackett so far, horrible clock management skills, horrible in the red zone, and constant indecision. He's a terrible decision maker. It's almost like Adam Gase. I don't even know if Adam Gase would make as bad decisions as Nathaniel Hackett's making right now.
Throw some respect. It's only been
Adam
2
Gase,
games.
with the Dolphins, at least in his first season, made the playoffs. I mean, Adam Gase, at least he has something.
He had talent on that roster.
At least he has. Oh, this roster doesn't have talent?
I'm not saying he doesn't have talent. I'm just saying
I was told they had talent all offseason.
They do.
I was told they had overwhelming talent.
We do have talent.
They were going to win the AFC West type of talent.
Still can.
And his terrible decision-making is why I've hated his press conferences. I really do. It just seems like he has no backbone. You kick the field goal on 4th and 5 versus Seattle. After that game, you're asked about it. It was the right decision. Russell Wilson, it was the right decision. The next day, Nathaniel Hackett's like, you know what? Probably should have went for it. After everybody bashed him in the media, he changed his mind. And then, after the game versus Houston, he's asked about the fans booing him. And he's like, shit, I would have booed myself too. This sounds like a goofball. Let's be honest.
You're out on that comment?
Yes, I'm out on it.
What's wrong with taking accountability in your eyes?
What should he have said? I should be better?
Yes.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
To say that.
You have to.
Can I ask you a question? Is that not essentially what he's saying?
No.
He's saying, I would have booed me too.
Is essentially saying,
I've
been garbage. I need to be better. How it's that simple.
No,
simple.
It's like
it's the way you
condescending
say
in a sense.
How?
It's a bit condescending. He could have easily just said, "I've got to be." I mean, it's like.
But that's exactly what he's saying.
My problem is this: if you're an NFL head coach,
I feel like he's being sarcastic.
If you're an NFL head coach, there is little room for indecision.
I agree. And
especially in the media, to portray yourself like this so early as somebody who at every corner, at every step is succumbing to public perception is alarming because he's actively caring about what people think. He's not all the way focused on what's happening in the locker room. You know what? If he wants to say that comment behind the doors, I don't really care. But to the media, I would have much rather him just say, we have to be better. There's no doubt, but the fans, they have to, we're going to prove to them that this football team that they can believe in. He is not instilling any hope in me. I read the Broncos comment sections on his press conferences. They hate the guy. It's only 2 weeks. They hate Hackett. They already hate him.
I don't love him either.
Last week, I was like, I don't think he'll last 2 years. He might not last a season.
I'm going to be honest.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
He's been bad.
And I go back to it. What were his credentials? He has none. OC for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. He didn't design the offense. He didn't call the plays. He was a mascot. He was a mascot.
Practice.
He was over there giving Aaron Rodgers high fives. Like, yeah, great job, Aaron. Great job. What else did he really do?
Hey.
What else did he really do? I'm just,
He was in practice running some, calling some plays.
But I was told this new coaching staff, it's fine. First time head coach, OCDC, special teams, it's fine. Number one, AFC West, it's cool. There's no doubt. This roster's that stacked. Russell Wilson, who doesn't even pass to the middle of the field, he'll be fine. It is what it is.
Let's not pretend like the offense wasn't fine in the past game against Seattle.
I guess it was okay.
It was.
Jerry Jeudy gets hurt, the game completely changes.
I guess I thought you had so much depth on wide receiver you could handle.
Tim
that.
Patrick tears his ACL.
Hamler was out week 2.
Hamler's out also. It's just Sutton. I mean, we did have depth. I mean, that's just how quick it can go. It's the NFL, right?
Man.
Petty ass statement right there. Come on, man. You're better than that.
Broncos, man, you guys are in trouble.
I'll tell you what, I'm not happy. I'm not sitting here being blinded by my love for the Broncos. I can be honest. He coached this game horribly. It's just God's honest truth.
Russell Wilson completed under 50% of his passes.
He struggled, but we came back and we won this game. That's my main takeaway. It was a shitty game the entire way through, excuse me. I wanted us to win this game. Never look back. Move on to San Fran. We won the game. It was ugly, but we did it. We scored on our last 2 drives. That's it.
That's a primetime game against San Fran.
I'm excited. Sunday night.
Tough.
That's a primetime game.
I'm
and Nathaniel Hackett's second primetime game.
Well, Russell usually
what can
does
go
well
wrong?
against the Niners. So.
I'm not. Listen, my panic level has definitely rose since week 1 because I agree. We sat here after the Monday night game and said, listen, the offense looked fine. They just, in the red zone, they had 2 fumbles at the 1 yard line. It's unlikely that happens again. Well, week 2 comes around and we still see the same red zone woes. We see some issues on special teams. I think you tweeted out they didn't have any timeouts with like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And sometimes they still can't get the playoff, right? So this stuff is definitely concerning. But the biggest takeaway I have from week 2 was this time around, Russell Wilson didn't look great. Right, completing less than 50% of his passes. The offense kind of looked broke at times.
He had one real weapon.
Jeudy does go down, but then you have to look. Hamler played week 1, and I don't know what happened in week 1. He didn't practice at all. He's out week 2. We already know Tim Patrick is down. Alberto hasn't taken that step yet that we're expecting. Andrew Beck was your best tight end week 1. They have the running back duo for sure, but Patrick going down, we didn't overlook it. But it is another wide receiver away from being a similar situation to the Colts where you lost Tim Patrick, and now if Jeudy or Son, who have both had injury history, Son was just the ACL. Jeudy has had some more like minor things that have lingered. It is concerning. And that is my biggest issue right now with the Broncos. I think if Jeudy and Sutton are both healthy, I still have faith in this offense. I still have faith in Russell Wilson and what they're able to do, the big playability they have with both of those guys. Jeudy being more of the speedster, while Sutton could be more of that 50-50 guy down the field. We saw week 1. Russ took those chances with Sutton, not as much week 2. Because if you do look at it, I have your actually next guys up for wide receiver. That's my voice cracked. This past week, Sutton was targeted 11 times. The next highest was Javonte at 4. Tyree Cleveland had 3 targets behind him. Andrew Beck right now is probably your best tight end. So if Jeudy is out for an extended period of time, I think he is day-to-day. Same thing with Pat Surtain. They both are day-to-day, so I'm hopeful they'll be back and ready for San Francisco. But if I have to be fair to the Colts, I'd be fair to the Broncos. If one of those receivers goes down, I have faith that Russell Wilson can mask things more than Matt Ryan can.
But he wasn't able to.
But you have to, yeah.
And we won.
Sure. You ended up winning.
Where's your boys' W?
You ended up winning, but it was against,
They don't have 2 losses. One of them was tied.
Embarrassing.
Oh, 1-1.
It was against a team we're expecting to, you should take care of business.
Let's look at some positives really quick. Defensive line has been really, really good.
Against the Texans and Seahawks.
No.
5 sacks from Chubb, Jones, and Randy Gregory.
Against the Seahawks and Texans.
That's fine.
San Fran's a legit test.
You play your schedule, man. San Francisco left a ton of pressures against the Bears week 1.
Fuck that.
No, let's hear what you have to say. You've been anticipated with this Broncos conversation. You've been super quiet.
No, we're not going to give your defense and call them elite.
Been great.
No, you played the Texans, you played the Seahawks. It hasn't been great. The teams you played just suck. They
Colts
haven't
gave
been
up 20
good.
points to the Texans.
Seattle was
the Colts,
we
gave up no
the Colts
touchdowns.
are a different case. We know their situation. They're not as good as y'all. We know that. That's just a legit fact. I think we all can agree.
Us three now.
Well, yeah, fair. Well, their division is just garbage. That's why we had them winning the division, for being realistic.
For sure.
For you guys, all three of you had Denver making the playoffs, which means you all think they were as good as you thought they were. They have not looked like that. I thought you had mistakes or you had holes in the offseason. I did. But now 2 weeks in, you have more holes than I thought. Your coach has no leadership ability. He has no accountability ability. His clock management sucks.
He does have accountability.
He has no creativity on offense. He has not been good. He does not know what he's doing out there. He's just out there. He's just out there doing what I probably can do. Just fuck up the game. He's literally just out there fucking up the game. Like, yo, I'm gonna put out this roster and I'm just gonna fuck up as much as I can and see if we can still win the game. That's what he did against the Texans. You still won the game because you are good. Russell Wilson, he was dog shit. You can say Jerry Jeudy went out. He was missing passes. He didn't see the middle of the field. He's missing on 5 to 7 yard passes. He just wasn't good. He was missing dink and dunk passes.
Are you hitting the middle of the field with name those weapons again?
Doesn't
It was Tyree Cleveland. I don't have the rest.
I hear you, but he was missing passes all game. And Javonte Williams, you've been hyping him up to be the next. I think you said you would take him. Like, you wouldn't take like 5 running backs. One of you said you wouldn't take. He hasn't been great. He hasn't shown me.
Week one, he was amazing.
He was good.
He was fantastic.
No. He was great.
No. He was good week one.
11 catches. Didn't he have 11 catches?
He fucking fumbled. He fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Oh my
He
God.
fumbled. When you fumble, your game goes down.
On a play that was audible,
you have
and the offensive line did not hear him.
I think this is one thing me and Joel did said. You have no superstar on the offensive end. As great, Jerry Jeudy.
Russell Wilson's a superstar.
Has he played like one?
He played like a superstar.
He played
game
really
one.
good week one.
Bro,
Has he played like one?
So many mistakes week one that weren't capitalized on.
Has he played like one?
He didn't score in the red zone.
Has he played like one?
He had two
Look at the
interceptions
drops.
dropped.
How many drops by the
Russell
receiver,
Wilson had
though?
two interceptions
Superstars
dropped in him.
that's
How about the
played
touchdowns that were
so
dropped by his
far.
receivers?
Mahomes.
There was
He's
two.
been amazing for 2 weeks. Mahomes.
Yes,
Let's look at
yes.
Russell Wilson's top 10. We thought coming in, right?
Adam said-
Mahomes has been great. He's played the Chargers and the Cardinals. Josh Allen has been great. He's played the Titans and the Rams. Justin Herbert has been great. He's played the Chiefs and the Raiders. Like, even Trevor Lawrence, he's been great. Like, what do we do? Russell Wilson has not been great for 2 consistent weeks against 2 of what we thought were going to be the worst teams in the NFL, the Texans and the Seahawks. We're going to get on Burrow ass a little bit later, but he going to get it too. He's not off the hook either. He's been dog shit too.
The Steelers' defense and the Cowboys' defense is better than what Russell Wilson's faced, though, to be fair.
You just told me that the Texans' defense is solid, though.
It is, but the Steelers one and the Dallas Cowboys one is better.
It's too many excuses for Denver, man. It's way too many excuses.
I'm not making excuses for us. I'm being completely honest.
It's not an excuse. It's just faith in Russell. It's faith what I've seen the last years.
But he wasn't, he was so not Russell against the Texans. And it's like going in, I know the numbers may look great, but if you really go sit there and watch, he just wasn't, he didn't look like
against
Russell.
Texans, he did not look good at all.
On our go-ahead drive, he was 4 for 4. Capped it off with a tutty.
You shouldn't be in a fucking go-ahead drive against the Texans, bro.
Sometimes games look ugly.
Games look ugly because of your quarterback and your coach.
Bills lose to the Jags last year. We had the number 1 pick overall. Like, some shit just happens.
What?
It happens.
Are you the Colts last year?
What are we talking about?
You're a significantly better team than the Colts.
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about
you're
sometimes
trying to put your
good
team
teams go
in
against
these other
bad
situations
teams,
with these teams.
and you don't play as well as you think.
Yeah, your quarterback didn't play well. Your coach is like.
There we go. This is where I can agree with you here.
He's a rookie, but my God, like what the fuck?
It's been bad.
It's like he's not even making rookie mistakes. He's making high school mistakes, like middle school, high school, college mistakes. I don't even think like a college coach makes these type. How do you not have any more timeouts left with 7 minutes in the fourth quarter? How does that even make sense? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't.
Like I don't like in Denver. Like you said, this is a tough division. We keep saying this. We keep repeating this. This is a tough division.
And say it,
you have the Chiefs.
Place.
You have the Chargers. You're tied for second place. You're not solely in second place. You're tied for second place. It's 1-1, and the Chargers lost to the Chiefs. Relax. They didn't lose to the Seahawks. The Chargers lost to the Chiefs because they fucked up in the fourth quarter. You lost to the Seahawks. It's a different game. If you play the Chargers,
at Seattle, they had a lot on the line.
week one, right? We gave Nathaniel Hackett the benefit of that. At least a lot of people.
He got worse.
Oh, it's so loud. Give him. That's why he made these mistakes. He goes at home, and the fans are.
He got fucking worse.
I don't think
he
we said
got
the
worse.
noise issue. It was the fourth down issue that we had the biggest problem with.
Hey, listen.
He got worse.
I'm sitting here. I'm taking on Nathaniel Hackett slander.
Thankfully, NFL got to play again on Sunday. They go out, beat the 49ers, things change.
Y'all going to shut the hell up.
If they go out and beat the Niners, shit changes.
What?
Let me ask you. No. Let me ask you. So you're picking the Niners 100%.
I did not. I don't have you making the playoffs. So yes, you will lose that game.
Okay.
You will undoubtedly lose that game. Like there isn't a fear in my heart that you will lose that game. Jimmy G is playing. Shout out to Jimmy G. You're gonna lose that
Max
game.
is saying that.
You're
Jimmy
going
G's
to
playing.
winner.
So the Niners are gonna win the ball game.
Jimmy G smoked the Seahawks.
Okay, and
You did not. I fear.
okay, so what?
I fear you did not do that.
Jimmy
You
G
lost.
is
Jimmy
33 and 14
smoked
as a starter.
The Seahawks, like they whipped their
Respect him.
ass. Like it is what it is.
Oh my god!
Like you're
Come on, bro.
you know,
14.
I'm not giving you that tap.
I'm sorry, bro.
He's
It's
better
just,
than Russ.
at least
Winning some
at least
quarterbacks,
Miami. Shout out to Miami.
Man, get out of here.
just
Not
made
gonna
it
dab
one.
me?
Nah,
At least Miami's doing well because Denver.
you're barely
Yeah,
a
yeah,
part
good.
of Fin Fam, man.
What do
It's
you
good
mean?
that Drew has multiple teams. You know,
I don't.
He can
You do.
You have Miami and
Yeah,
I'm,
Miami
I'm a
and-
Broncos fan.
and you're a
I'm
Miami
to a
fan.
stan. Shout out to Fin
and you're
Fam.
a Giants fan too.
No, I'm not.
You're rooting for
It's,
the
okay,
it's
Giants.
Giants
Miami
fan.
and Denver.
So
that's fine.
agendas automatically become your team.
We've made
Kinda
that pretty
is
clear on the
that
show.
way, yeah.
We've made that pretty
It
clear on
kind
the
of
show.
is. Listen, you're not. It's Tua and the Dolphins.
Come on,
If the Dolphins go 0-17, I don't want to hear shit about
I have
Tua.
10
If
agendas.
Tua's off the Dolphins, I go wherever Tua goes.
I understand, but you have
That's
to
an
root for the
agenda,
player and
but
the
you're
team.
still a fan.
Yeah, I do.
I have
do
12
rock with
agendas in the NBA.
Dolphins.
Let's come on, but that's because
You have to,
I do.
which I respect 100%.
Shout out to Pops.
your Miami thing is like my OKC thing. Wherever the SGA goes, I go on with them. You know,
Same
I
about
respect
Lamar. Or the
And you
Broncos.
root for the Saints.
What are we talking about?
Now I'm playing.
it. You are,
I actually hate the Saints. I only think that they're good. And honestly,
the good thing about this though is Nathaniel Hackett has been just as bad as Frank Wright. So both of your agendas stink
Yeah,
like
I don't
shit.
know. I think he's getting worse. Honestly,
He didn't give his best player the ball.
at the minimum,
And he didn't
Nathaniel
score.
Hackett has scored points every game.
I guess.
And he didn't give his best player the ball. That's terrible.
Colts start off slow. We'll see. We'll see.
I just
I have to say, here.
Wentz
Do you
got
have,
so much.
do you have more faith in the Broncos or the Colts
The Colts because the division sucks. That's
in a vacuum?
like if they both had the same
Yeah, like say
Obviously-
they're both fighting for the last wild card spot. Jacksonville.
Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, but because of the situation, I can't do that because NFL is a lot different, and because their division isn't that good, and their situation is a little different. Where they have to go out, they have not played their division yet. They have to play the Chiefs twice, the Raiders twice, and then the Chargers twice.
Scary.
That's 6 games.
Scary.
The best they'll do is 3-3. That's the best. So and they can go 2-4. They're not going to beat the Chiefs one time this year, and I'm standing on that. They're not beating the Chiefs one time
I can't
this
disagree
year.
with you right
and then
now.
the
I
Chargers
can't. I
could
can't.
be a sweep. The best they can do is tie with the Raiders. Like they'll go 1-1 with the Raiders, and the Raiders ain't been good either. And that's the team I had being well. They haven't been good either. Yeah. The difference is they're not losing to the fucking Texans, and they're not losing to the Seahawks. They're losing to the
Raiders?
Chargers, and they blew a lead to the Cardinals.
They
So
blew it against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Blew it.
They didn't lose to the worst team in the league.
You're right.
The team he said wasn't going to win a game. This is why this
know.
makes it a lot worse.
I know.
He said
gave
they
them
weren't
one.
going to win a game.
I gave them one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave them one.
That's what I said.
But you were like,
just sucks that they
you
beat
didn't
us.
want to give them the one. You were like,
Yeah.
You just did it.
It's how-
Like
it's
you
how-
didn't really want to give them the
Well, I
one.
gave them the one, and it sucks that it was against us.
16-game losing
And
streak
honestly,
here on out.
Geno Smith has not even been the
Sorry from
problem
the
in
Jaguars.
Seattle. It's really Geno Smith has played fairly well.
No, Seattle just lacks
Honestly.
talent.
Yeah, but he's played fairly well.
And that's the problem with y'all. Y'all don't like talent. Y'all like discipline.
Well, yes, we had a ridiculous amount of penalties both week 1 and week 2. We lead the league in penalties.
25
Yeah.
through 2 weeks.
You lead the
That's
league in
insane.
idiotic plays too.
It's not wrong.
You like.
It's easy to beat up on us right now, but you know it's a long season.
Let's ride though. Let's ride. Right?
Yes, sir.
You guys have nice jerseys.
Let's go.
Sure.
Yeah,
This
for
is
sure.
actually pretty.
Almost
fucking
looks like a Broncos jersey.
does. The colors are there.
Orange, yeah, for sure.
Good
Let's
thing about it
ride.
is Russell will
Broncos
age
nation.
fine. So I
Yeah,
think
no
I
shit.
think he'll age fine. Just,
I don't
you
know. You know,
like
declining
there's something in
mobility. Can't see the middle
They
of the
just
field.
need either Judy or Javonte to pop, and hopefully it's sooner
And they
rather
both showed
than later.
in week 1. They were both fantastic.
Fantastic and strong for Judy. He dropped some passes, but he was
He
great.
did, but
was
he
great.
made the
was
big
great.
60-yard
Yeah.
touchdown play.
I'll give him great. He was great. He was great. Semantics. I'll give him great.
Ranking the top 3 coaches on the hot seat. I'll go first. I think there's only 4 coaches on the hot seat right now.
I'm interested that you came up before, but let's hear it.
Number 1 is Matt Rule. I think it's pretty easily.
That's
He's
easy.
his fucking ass is on fire right now.
Sucks.
He has not had a winning record. The Panthers offense looks horrible. Ben McAdoo as a play caller, I mean, he's completely garbage right now.
He's been a terrible coach.
Yeah, I mean, he cannot generate any offense. I actually feel bad for that offense and those weapons in Baker. Number 2 is Frank Reich. I think ending the season last year with an embarrassing loss, now having a similar loss, if not even more embarrassing this year, starting out winless in the first 2 games against teams that you should beat is a concern. Frank Reich is definitely on a hot seat, and if the Colts don't make the playoffs this year, I think Jim Irsay is cleaning house. And number 3, I debated between Cliff Kingsbury and Arthur Smith.
Really?
But I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury.
They just extended him.
Because of K1.
You know, Kyler Murray just went crazy.
They just extended him, though.
Like
Well, I get it, but who should be on the hot seat?
Okay.
Cliff Kingsbury. Every
This is
season,
who is on the hot seat.
every season towards the end of the season,
K1
he
just
always
different.
folds. And there's a legitimate question if he's holding Arizona back. Did Arizona extend him? Yeah, but that's Steve Keim is an idiot, and he's not a good GM. So because of that, I think that he's putting his blind faith in the coach. I think he is.
I mean, he's made decent enough moves that last year they were a playoff team.
The roster isn't great, though.
Oh, it's not great.
Like, they've had multiple years to rebuild, and
I mean, it
They
was
haven't
really
put it-
good, and then they got hurt last season.
What else?
can you do?
What?
still, the secondary didn't really. It was
Steve
like a J.J.
Keim
Watt-led defense.
drafted Josh Rosen.
And Kyler.
Yeah,
Kyler
Kyler
was
fell
no-
into his lap.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer.
It's number 1 pick.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no brainer.
But
It wasn't,
also-
it wasn't a no-brainer.
It wasn't
because
because you just took Rosen,
Yeah.
number 7 the year before.
Rosen
People were-
stinks.
10.
People were bashing him for it. But it's the
Steve
right
Wilkes got fired his first year as Arizona's head coach when Steve Keim literally built that horrible of a roster.
It's a bad roster.
You know what I'm saying? So Steve Keim is not built a great roster. Even with Kyler on a rookie quarterback deal, he's not built a great roster. So that's why I think Cliff Kingsbury should be on a hot seat. Steve Keim should be on a hot seat.
Arthur Smith on the hot seat?
Won 7 games last year.
Shit, I would kill for him to be my head coach right now.
Arthur Smith,
They
I
were
think.
competitive with the Rams.
Arthur Smith, I only say he's on a hot seat because Kyle Pitts is not being used.
Yeah, it's
That's really it.
because.
Oh, I'm glad
But the
it's weird.
Falcons have been competitive these past
I was
years.
gonna
His
say the
rookie year,
offense-
he was used a ton
Facts.
out wide, and now he's blocking. I don't
Guess
know.
Well,
they're
it's
trying
because
to
the
get him to
offensive
be
line's
versatile?
but they're trying to protect Mariota
Yeah,
any
but
which way they can.
You don't draft
Kyle-
Kyle Pitts number 4 overall to block.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm just saying.
I'll say this. I'm not mad that Kyle Pitts is blocking because why I praise Gronkowski for being as great as he is because not only is he an elite blocker,
big fucking
he's
dude.
also an elite receiving weapon as well. So I'm not
Yo,
overly
but you don't think
upset
that's
of it.
like different because him and Kyle are built like physically built a little different?
Exactly. That's exactly why I'm giving credit. So like where we can, I want to see a combination of the two. Where,
But I don't
yes, we
think
can have him
what I'm saying
block,
is like I don't think
but get in
Pitts
some
like
work.
body wise is like built to long like
I mean,
block wise and long.
Is he 6'6"?
But he's not like, you know what I'm saying? He's
Nah,
still a
nah,
little
he is.
thin.
Nah,
is
nah,
what I'm
he's
saying.
thick.
I don't think
So
he
who
like
are your coaches on a hot seat?
for me, number 1, Nathaniel Hackett. Early. I think he's one of the guys that has to be on the hot seat, especially
Not wrong.
with the first 2 like it's different.
No, I'm not tapping you.
I don't want to doubt. I just want to pound.
Hey, wow. He just wants to pound.
It's all right. Just let it slide. Let it slide.
Let it slide.
I like
Nathaniel Hackett, just because of the simple fact that if this would have been looked at a lot different if you lost to the Chiefs or the Chargers or the Bills week 1 or 2, but losing to 2 of the worst teams in the league, losing
We
in
won.
Seattle.
They
I
won
mean, I'm
week
sorry,
2.
that's a fucking loss. Whatever, losing to the Seattle Seahawks and then
You're such a
barely
fucking
beating,
critic,
and
apparently.
then barely beating the Texans.
You got me cursing on this show today,
And then,
man. I'm
I'm
pissed
glad
at
you're
you.
cursing. I like the new year.
No,
it's
no,
better.
it's
and then the way
ugly.
he's just been managing the game, the way he's been not leading his team, not being the head of the shark, I feel like he has to be up there for me personally. Because that's just, and honestly, it's bad. I mean, get better. That's all I can
All right, so
really
you're
tell
just
you.
gonna say Nathaniel Hackett and that's it.
No, number
Okay.
2, Frank Reich, easily. Not using your best player for the past 2 weeks is insane. Your play calling hasn't been good. Not putting Matt Ryan in a position to succeed. I think for me, mainly, he didn't make the playoffs last year. And a lot of that you can blame on Carson Wentz, but I thought the play calling last year was still a bit not okay. And Carson Wentz gets a lot of slack for last year, but a lot of the problems that they have right now, they had the problems last year. It's just Carson Wentz was also playing bad. So I think that's why he gets most of the slack from me. And number 3 is Matt Rule. You know, I think Carolina as a roster should be better than what they actually are. You know, Baker Mayfield hasn't been great, but I thought against the Giants he was really, really fucking good. But
You think so?
Was it the Giants? It was. It might not have been. It was one of those games where I thought
Giants,
he was,
he was bad.
Which one?
He wasn't good either.
Honestly, he wasn't good
He has
either.
not
I
been
thought
good
he was
at
really
all.
good. In the
Who?
fourth quarter, he went like
Baker.
9 for 10 and had like 125 yards.
It's
No,
probably against
against
the Browns.
the Browns, he was solid.
Thank you. It was
Yeah,
against
the
Browns. He was
solid.
He was
Not
he was
great,
good.
though.
No, in the fourth
Okay,
quarter.
great. Semantics. He was good.
No, in the fourth quarter, he was solid.
He didn't. I don't think he missed a pass in the fourth quarter. He went fucking amazing. But a roster that talented shouldn't be this bad. So I think those are my three for right now.
All right, so I'm just gonna be a parrot at this point. Yes, Matt Rule is number one for me. The Panthers look like dog shit. The offense looks very bad. McCaffrey at least had a solid performance this past weekend against the Giants, like I expected. But the rest of this offense just looks super stagnant. We need to see DJ Moore involved in the offense a little bit more. Yes, he had a touchdown, but I want to see more volume go his way. And I want to see McCaffrey work in the pass game a little bit more. It seems as if they're just relying super heavily on his rushing ability. Let's get him going in the pass. Obviously, he's the best of the best when it comes to receiving in the backfield. Number 2, Frank Reich. Pro Football Talk had the Colts as dead last worst team in the league. I thought that was egregious, but it just speaks to how people are viewing the Colts right now. And it's just only because of Frank Reich and his inability to draw up offense right now. Rev said it, not feeding Jonathan Taylor this past weekend, against the Texans is inexcusable. Only 15 touches for the best running back in football makes no sense to me. And he averaged 5 a carry. It's not like he was inefficient. He was great. He was Jonathan Taylor. Just give him the rock. Let him 5 a carry, Joel. Come on.
In the second half, that he got more carries.
Because he got work finally. In first half, only 5 carries. It's inexcusable.
You gotta feed him regardless.
No, I'm saying
he got
in
31
the
carries week 1.
In the first half,
keep going.
He wasn't getting anything. He wasn't.
So what? You keep getting him
Matt Ryan.
going.
4 touches.
This is what I'm going to use to combat that point.
Neither was Matt Ryan.
The Colts didn't generate anything in the run game in the first half, and then on third down, they didn't convert any third downs. It's a reason why they only had 9 first downs on the game. So the Colts weren't on the field much in the first half. In the second half,
at all.
In the second half, JT got most of his yards on plays that, on like
inside
zone
use him in the passing game. If the run isn't going, use him in the pass. Screens.
But I do agree they should have used him more.
Do you have a third, Drew? Did you go through yours?
I really didn't want to have a third because these are the only 2 that I look at and really think they're on the hot seat.
Nathaniel Hackett?
If you're going to force my hand to say someone's on the hot seat, yes, I'll say Nathaniel Hackett. No, Robert Saleh just won a game that he shouldn't have. I give him his respect.
Okay, I was going to
Nathaniel Hackett has just looked like he doesn't know what he's doing, unfortunately.
You've been hypercritical
of
Robert Saleh.
No, I haven't.
I'm playing.
What sucks about this, honestly, is that I only show love and respect to the Jets. I really do. For you to be on Tua's meat religiously hurts.
Who are you out on? Like, who's like your, like, you know how I am, or I guess we were with Tua, or I was with the Colts. Like, who's like your?
I know because it doesn't seem like I'm out on anyone.
Like I know you hate Mahomes.
You're optimistic,
but
I'm gonna be honest,
probably
bro.
The Chiefs.
There is I'm gonna be honest. There is no reason for you to hate the Jets. That's like beating a dead horse.
I know.
I'm gonna
There's
be
no
honest.
reason for you to hate the Broncos.
No, I haven't. I said they weren't going to be good in the offseason.
See, but there you go. That's what I'm saying. There's no reason for you to hate the Broncos, but you find a way somehow.
No, you've been hyping up all offseason has been annoying to me.
They're my favorite
that's why
team.
I've hated them.
So there you go.
Yeah, you told me they were going to win the division.
You hype up Zach Wilson.
You told me they were going to win the division. You don't have to believe in Zach Wilson. I don't care.
I don't want to do that to you because it's rude.
Do what?
It's not what friends do.
You believe in, like, you're my boy. That doesn't mean I have to think Tua's a top 5 quarterback.
I know. That's why
you don't have to.
It hurt a little extra that you weren't on the right side of history.
That has nothing to do with our friendship.
No, absolutely not. But I look at you differently.
I don't agree with you on
I look at you differently.
No, I'm just messing.
Hating a team that has been shit.
Let me really think about this. Is there
like the Chiefs are? I know the one team.
It's just that I don't like.
They kick your ass.
Yes, exactly. I'm bitter. I'm bitter when it comes to the Chiefs. Has nothing to do.
Well,
with
that's a division.
You have to separate being bitter from like your actual football.
That's what I'm trying to. I'm really trying.
Nah, that's a division. That's different. In this division, like I hate the Cowboys.
Like
I hate
Baker
the Giants.
Mayfield, I've been very adamant that I don't think that he's a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. He's not good in my opinion. I've said that. I've been on. So if there's one, I would say it's Baker. But it's really hard to gauge at this point in time. Like I'm not out on Trey Lance. Justin Fields in a horrible situation. 99% of the world's out on Daniel Jones. He's 2-0. No one thought that he'd be 2-0. I like Daniel Jones. I think that he's a lot better than what people give him credit for. I guess Ryan Tannehill is one of those guys that I don't think is great. I've been pretty adamant on that as well. Tua is my biggest guy that I've stood on that people were down and out on.
What about Hurts? Are you out on Hurts?
Well, Hurts was actually one that I was critical of because I wanted to see his passing
ability. You were like
ability.
in the middle ground.
You can ask him.
Yeah, I know.
Last night, I was impressed. Some of the throws he was making, just scrambling to his left, hitting on the sideline. Yes, these guys are open, but that doesn't matter to me. You hit a pass, you hit a pass. That was impressive.
I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
I'm a hater.
That's
too.
okay.
You're a Hurts
I hate
hater.
the Jets.
Not a Hurts hater. What you talking
I
about?
can't.
Oh,
like,
what are you saying?
No, I'm saying I'm just like
Oh, a hater in
I'm
general.
a hater in
Yeah.
general.
Oh, well, you've
No,
been out on Hurts.
I hate on
You don't
certain
hate
teams
Hurts,
and
but you've been
players.
out on him.
I hate the
I
Jets.
haven't been out on
I hate
him.
the
You
Broncos.
said he's not a franchise guy.
Why?
What do you mean why? I don't want to see
Is
you
he?
He's
happy.
a leader.
But
We
why?
don't know that
What do you
yet.
mean?
He's a guy.
I literally
He's
had to
got
make the
that it
playoffs
factor.
last year.
How you figure? Seeing you happy
I said he was
is
going to be a
seeing
top
me
18
fail.
quarterback
Well, see me
last year.
upset.
But you don't have to be upset.
No, I hate the Jets. I hate the Broncos.
But I'm saying you could be on the right side of history and think the Broncos are going to be good.
Because if the Broncos win, that means my team didn't win, which means I'm sad. So I have to hate your team. I hate their team.
No,
your
I
team.
am a hater.
Hate it all.
I
You guys are both
especially
haters.
But
When
you
we
No,
talk-
I am a generational hater.
But my point
I'm
is,
generational with
but
it.
but you root for the Bills, even though that means that the Bills win, then your team is not winning.
But
So
that's his
it's
my
just
team.
a counteractive
No,
point
because
there.
the Broncos are
we
my
talk
team.
we talk about the when we
Minnesota's
talk
one
about
of
the
those teams
NBA,
as
I
well.
hate the
Wins,
Bulls, I hate the
so I win.
Celtics.
Because we
We
kick
talk
your
about
ass.
the Bulls. When we talk about the NBA, I hate the Bulls. I hate the Celtics.
Oh, because we're just
we're
and I
better.
hate the Hawks.
We're just better.
Well, for me,
I hate the Celtics, but I hate the fans
Hawks,
more
but
than the
actually
team.
I love Trey
You
Young
guys
as a
are
player.
dumb. I hate the Knicks because you're embarrassing New York. Like I just hate the shit out of the Knicks and you. I can't watch the. You can't win. I can't. The Knicks have to
See,
lose.
for-
five
You know
for
what's the
me.
thing? You know, like you probably hate the Knicks for multiple reasons, but definitely me pushing.
Yes.
Judge hitting 60.
He had 60. That's fucking nuts.
But me being as overreactive to the Knicks and pumping them up has made you hate the Knicks.
You've made me put it at a different.
And
scope.
that what I've been with the Knicks is what Drew has been with the Broncos this offseason.
That makes sense. That's a good.
Or killed it.
See, for me to still root for the teams you root for,
You don't root for the Knicks.
speak some. Do I root against them? And that's wrong. I've been the one that's
You said
defended.
Jalen Brunson wasn't a
I
star.
defended R.J. Barrett
He isn't.
Fucking not.
before you did. I'm the one that called R.J. Star J.
Little midget Magic is not a star.
Oh my god, that's insane.
No,
Fine.
he's
No,
not.
he's
that
definitely
guy.
not a star. I mean, calling him a midget's rude.
And we all hate the Lakers collectively. I love that.
Why?
I don't. I wouldn't say I hate the
You
Lakers.
have to.
I
At all.
know.
You literally have
But
to.
that's
they've been
called
They've
friendship.
been so bad that like.
It's funny to hate.
So
This is-
who are your top three coaches on the hot seat? Just real quick.
I have Rule and Frank. I think Matt Rule's the only one who's I think's gonna get fired this season. I don't think Frank Reich gets
you don't think
fired.
if Hackett doesn't make the playoffs, he gets fired?
End of the season. I'm saying in
Oh,
season.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
In season, I think Matt Rule's the only one as of right now to get fired. Frank Reich is on. It's warm. I don't know if it's hot yet, just because he has been in the playoffs. He's been a good regular season coach, and that's going to buy you time. But if you do struggle in the regular season, plus being a bad playoff coach, I don't want to call him bad, but not having success in the playoffs, that's going to warm up a seat. And lastly, a name you guys haven't said is Mike McCarthy. I know they just won against the Bengals. Very impressive win. But I still look at this Dallas team. If they don't make the playoffs, he's probably going to get fired. And I still don't think, even with this win, with that coming back in a couple weeks, I'm still not that high on Dallas
Jason
yet.
Garrett was the head coach for a long time.
Yeah,
Well
but
over-
he was
a
a
Jerry Jones
Cowboys guy. He was the Jerry Jones guy. He was on that staff
the-
forever. McCarthy's a new guy. He's not in
Jerry
Dallas.
Jones
Jones-
desperately wanted McCarthy, though.
He
I know, but
loves
when Sean Payne
Garrett.
becomes available next year,
whatever.
You think?
Jason.
yeah, we'll see what
All
happens.
right.
He loves
Sean
Jason
Payne,
Garrett.
if he's available,
Exactly.
could go to
Like,
Dallas.
Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett used to go to dinner.
Yeah.
That family, like
Jason
they-
Garrett's been on the Cowboys
They were
staff.
like-
Like he was
they were
a
like
forever
brothers.
Cowboy.
I'm actually devastated right now. Giancarlo Stanton just hit a walk-off grand slam.
Damn, y'all won.
Why are you devastated?
Because I'm not watching.
Okay.
Judge hit 60 to tie the game in this. I don't think
Oh,
it's
let's
a
just
tie.
to lose to the Astros.
You know what? You've been talking crazy.
I'm ready.
The Yankees are getting hot at the wrong time
We
for
just
you.
smoked out. We just smoked. We've been hot. We've been hot.
Okay, I'm not
We've
saying
been
you
them.
haven't. I'm just saying
But
we
it don't
have
matter.
gotten
We've
hot.
been them.
Braves don't lose.
We have 90 wins, bro. 91 now.
Good for y'all.
Stop hating.
I'm not hating.
You've been hot. We run
We've
the
been
AL.
hot.
We run the AL.
We'll see.
This week
And
in
there's
the
no cheating this year,
NFL,
so I don't want to hear nothing.
I'm excited.
this
for
has been a
I'm excited for
monster
this.
of an episode. The
Yeah,
fans are in
This
for
is
a
going to be a
treat.
long. What was
Yeah.
the first recording? Because we had to stop.
under
An
like an
hour
hour,
and
something,
15
something
minutes.
minutes.
No, but remember we had to
We're
stop.
gonna probably hit 3 hours and 30 minutes on this show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This week in the NFL for me is two. Odell Beckham has been in contact with the Giants front office at least once within the last few weeks, and there is mutual interest
60 is tough.
for him to return to the Giants. The Giants are 2-0 if they start off hot, and they add Odell to the team maybe a little bit after midseason. That's another receiver in that room. It could be. I think it's a pretty dope reunion. And my other one, Jameis Winston, 3 interceptions. Now
He has 4 fractured vertebrae. You're going to mention that in a negative light? You really make me sick.
I'm screaming, like internally.
I have been in the offseason. I was a huge Jameis supporter. for the last
Just
couple
the
of years.
offseason.
The last couple of years, I've been a huge Jameis supporter.
Since the show started.
But I will say this. I love Jameis as a person. I think he's a dope dude. He's funny. He makes me laugh every time I watch a video of him. What the fuck is going on? But I'm glad I jumped ship on the Saints before the season, right before.
My God, man, you really are just
because and you know what's funny to me? What makes me hold grudges more than anything when we do these shows is when I make an opinion about a team and the team's fans jump on me. I see a clip of me on Twitter. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, that. I jumped ship on the Saints. Everybody said, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, Jameis is going to prove you wrong. Jameis makes no mistakes. Oh, Jameis 5 touchdowns, 1 pick last year. Did you see that? And he cost the Saints the game against Tampa. 3 picks. Game. Yes, you're saying 4 vertebrae.
4 fractured vertebrae.
He played.
Oh, I'm going to use that down the line.
He played. I use that. You guys say that all the time for me.
Facts.
What?
Facts.
No,
what? Nothing. We good, bro.
Facts
we
what?
Good. Don't save that for down the road.
He's got me heated right now,
Save
man.
So
bro.
all I'm
Like
saying is
down
that
the
the
road.
Saints, I think they'll miss the playoffs. Their defense, absolutely. It's great.
He's just a
But
hypocrite.
Jameis, I
So turn
can't
up.
trust him.
All right, so James Harden. He played.
That does nothing for me, bro.
What are we doing? What are we doing? It does nothing for you.
You know the truth.
No, I do.
You know the truth.
I do know the truth.
You're doing that to troll me, not because you believe it.
not
So that's
trolling.
why I really don't
It's
care.
the same knowledge.
You got to use the same
Four
logic.
fractured,
You gotta use the same logic.
fractured vertebrae versus a hamstring, grade 2 hamstring.
4
What are we
fractured?
talking about?
4 fractured vertebrae, bro? Like, what the fuck?
Jameis said he could play through it.
Harden
So did
played
Harden.
through-
Harden
come on.
did it.
Got to keep the same energy.
4 fractured vertebrae.
It's crazy.
I don't
And
think
you
you
know what?
understand.
I wouldn't
this.
have played.
I don't think
I
you
wouldn't have played with
understand
2.
this.
And honestly,
wouldn't play at
I'll say,
all.
don't even mention Jameis and Harden in the same sentence. They're 2 different legacy paths. James Harden's going to go down as
franchise guy.
James Harden's going to go down as one of the greatest to
called
ever
Winston
play the
a franchise
goddamn
guy.
game. One of the greatest.
Ever
You
what?
understand that?
Ever
One of
what?
the greatest. He's a top 5 shooting guard of all time. Never mention them in the same
They
stratosphere.
both have the same amount of rings.
Never mention them.
Sorry, bro. Just keep the same
Jameis
energy.
hasn't made the playoffs as a lead quarterback.
You called him a franchise quarterback.
And I was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they can still make the playoffs. They lost to the Bucks. 3 picks.
I just said Jameis cost you games. And I was told
This is
he's
something we've been telling you
I
about.
was told he's uber safe in the comments when they reacted to my take. And now they saw
Listen,
it week 2.
I don't mind.
It only took 2 weeks.
You get new information, you could change your mind. It's just we're obviously going to bring it up when you were riding Jameis for years and years and years. Like, you could change your mind. That's cool. I'm going to change my mind. But it's just, you got to
I'm
take
not.
shit for it, too.
I'm just going to take my L in peace.
You're not, like, new information is not going to move you.
Fuck no.
Okay.
What's your this week in the NFL, Joe?
I have 2. First up, the Jets game. I know we're going to get a little bit into it later, but I'm just really excited for what this offense is going to look like once Zach Wilson is back on the field. We saw Joe Flacco have a fantastic game. He's top 3 in yards through 2 weeks of the season, back-to-back 300-plus yard games. And that was a game the Jets shouldn't have won. It was 17-30. What's the issue here, bro?
Sorry.
You're over here mocking me and shit.
Talk about Joe Flacco. It's funny. Joe
I know,
Flick.
but I'm saying this is why I'm excited for Zach, because if Joe Flacco can do this, I'm expecting Zach to have a good successful
Flick.
season. That was a game the Jets shouldn't have won. They were down 30-17 with under 2 minutes left. If Nick Chubb just didn't score a touchdown, we lose the game. We end up going back, winning the game. Are you going to talk about the Eagles?
What's about the Bears?
Okay, so I'll talk about the Eagles real quick. Statement win against Minnesota. An absolute statement win against a team that we were propping up last week, be one of the best teams in the NFC, a team that could possibly go to the NFC Championship team, a team that just beat the Packers, and they go out and manhandle them 24-7. Minnesota looked lost on offense. Kirk Cousins looked terrible, and Jalen Hurts looked phenomenal. He completed 80% of his passes, over 300 total yards, 3 total touchdowns, an interception that wasn't even his fault. He made a lot of high-level throws while also making a lot of easy throws as well. So overall, I thought Hurts took a big step last night.
Okay, so I'll quickly talk about the Vikings. Offensive line was shit. Philly defensive line just exposed them.
Slade was locked
Their
up.
secondary looked horrible. The first interception was Jetta's fault. The second one was not his fault. Kirk just completely underthrew him. I mean, like people, Slay played amazing defense on Jettas, but if you really watch every possession he was guarding him, Kirk underthrew him a few times. The miscommunication wasn't there. But shout out to the defense. They really set out and put out different motions, and they really fucked Jetta's and Kirk Cousins' chemistry up. So Vikings, me and Dehls were talking about it a little bit before. That offensive line could get exposed by elite defensive lines in the NFC. The Niners could expose them. The Eagles already exposed them. So it's some tough matchups out there for them. But they do have the statement win over Green Bay. So they're really one of the weirdest teams in the league. I still think they'll win a division. Just to piggyback to the Bears, what are the Bears doing? What is the coaching staff doing? I think Justin Fields is a great talent. I think he can be an elite quarterback, but he is literally on the opposite path of being that. In a system where his best receiver is a number 2 at this point in Darnell Mooney.
Mooney's done nothing.
Jair lined up with him last game.
And Cole Kmet is on pace for 0 receptions.
He doesn't
0
get
yards.
the ball. The attempts were 11. He doesn't even get he doesn't even get the opportunity to show himself. And I understand you don't want to put your quarterback in bad arrest, but goddamn, you just keep running the ball, He gets no rep. Him just out there running the ball is like him on the bench. You're not doing shit for him. He needs opportunities. Let him get some big plays. You're not going to win this year anyways. Let him go out there. Let him just play. Let him throw the ball. Let him get some few touches. He's out there with 11. That's not going to get him better in any form, any fashion. And then for the front office, you're not putting anything out there for him. Darnell Mooney was a great pick. Cole Kmet is a good player. Get them involved in the offense. David Montgomery is a good player. You have 3 solid guys to build off of. The defense looks solid. It has some good pieces. Jaquan Brisker is good. Roquan Smith, unfortunately, he probably will be gone after this year, but they did say they want to try to get a deal for him. He's been good. Jalen Johnson, he hasn't been great, but he's a promising young corner. You have pieces, but on the offensive end, you have to get guys out there. You have to go out and get weapons. Like you said, fix up your offensive line. Fix up your offense first, then worry about the defense. Help your quarterback. The quarterback is one of the most important positions in the league. You usually don't win without a great quarterback. You need to help him.
All right, well said, man. I appreciate the passion there. So my This Week in the NBA is going to be actually a perfect segue into our next topic. It's going to be about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, Amon-Ra has been absolutely all world to start this football season. I've been super high on Amon-Ra and his skill sets. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the 3rd player in NFL history to record 8+ catches in 8 straight games, joining only 2 other guys, Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown.
Makes sense.
2 future, well, unfortunately, AB probably
2
won't be
spam
a Hall of
artists.
Famer, but we're talking about 2 of the greatest to ever play the game. And spam artists,
Disrespectful.
I mean,
wait.
Jared Goff has been
Wait.
good.
Spam artists in the sermon, the quarterback just spams them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's
Because
elite.
They spam because they're fucking elite.
Exactly. So why'd you take it as a there's only a few spam artists in
Because
the
you
league.
made it sound like it's just because they get a lot of looks.
Oh,
That's
no.
why
It's
they
just
get it.
there's only a few guys you're going to spam in the league because they the best of the best.
Jared Goff,
Devontae Adams,
471 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 pick on
Goff
the year.
has looked really good.
Goff looks solid. And that's, listen, I'm
Tay?
not going to say I didn't expect this.
Jettis.
However,
You've been
That's the
flip-flopping
best.
on Goff multiple times.
I didn't say Goff
At
is all
first you
world.
said
I
he's
said he's
good.
solid.
He's a bridge quarterback.
and then you called him shit and ass.
No, when did I call him shit and ass? I called him shit
You
and ass.
said that a couple times.
Goff
Like,
is a bridge
he's
quarterback.
whatever. He's like,
What are we doing here?
I feel like you haven't really taken a stance.
No, exactly.
Sometimes you say he's good, sometimes you say he's bad.
He is.
Pick a side.
I've never said good. Good, strong. He's solid.
Goff, you can't pick a side. One day he is good. One day
I
he is
said he's
indeed
solid.
bad.
I'm picking a side. He's solid. I've said that.
Where is he? Like top 20?
No.
Goff?
Goff?
Is
Really?
he top 20 in your eyes?
It's like 33.
Some good quarterbacks.
I'd have Goff or Tannehill.
Tannehill's like top
That's
18.
rude to say to Tannehill, but right now, shit.
Goff or Winston.
Goff has more weapons. It's
Goff or
unfair.
Winston. That's where he around there.
I would go Winston before the season.
Okay. I think he's like 26.
It's a fun offense.
It's super
Very
fun. That's
and
but
once you
that's,
get Jameson back,
that
it
was
goes
my
on.
And
whole
I think-
appeal.
I think what's even better about like the Lions' success, and I think just the Amon-Ra St. Brown thing, the Lions are a fun team, and I'm glad that all of us before the season, we had that agenda that the Lions is going to be fun. They're a good team.
Oh my God! You
and
really pounded
we're
him for
pushing
that.
it.
Of course.
He said we're pushing
I said
it.
they were going to have a good offense for sure.
This is definitely Drew's
We said
team.
Dan Campbell,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
I
Definitely
didn't say they were going to. I said they were going to be a
Thank you,
fun
Ron.
team.
Definitely Drew's team.
No,
What?
for sure. I said they were going to be a fun team.
You can't have the
I said they were going to be
Vikings
competitive.
and the Lions, bro. Like, come on.
I said they're going to be fun and competitive,
It
which
should-
is what they've
it
been.
should
They're
too.
1-1.
You ride with your guys, broski. You have the Niners. Let them get the
Niners,
I got so much going for me. I understand.
How long have I had
Well, Trey Lance
this
is there. You
agenda?
have them. So
Yes,
let him.
now it's the Eagles. I'm all in on the
All right,
Eagles.
so you have two. Let him keep his
I get it.
Lions.
I have
Did
He's
it-
got Miami and Denver.
Didn't last year
You got the Jets. You got the Eagles and the Niners when Lance plays.
But Lance, the season
You're
is
not a
over.
Niners guy no more. I'm a
not.
Niners guy. Jimmy G, baby.
I'm not a Niners
So
guy.
you're gone?
Yeah.
Huh?
You're gone?
You're not going. He's just taking a vacation.
Exactly, bro. Like I was high on the Niners because I thought Lance could
That's
be
3
great.
teams.
Well,
possibly
all I'll
4.
say is that there's one guy on this table that called the Lions last year the best, worst team I've ever seen.
You did
That's
say
me.
that.
That's
Good.
me.
He did say that.
I didn't disagree.
I thought it was the stupidest shit you've ever said.
It was a weird statement.
It
but
was. It just
you
sounds
weren't wrong.
crazy.
It was facts.
You weren't wrong.
It was facts.
That just sounds
I took
funny.
that into account in my
You know,
analysis this season.
I read a comment on YouTube. It was like, it was a comment. I think we got into the D'Lo debate, and this guy was like, he was like, Joel constantly says it's facts and it's anything.
I wasn't talking about that. I thought you were talking about the mid versus mid.
Right, it was hilarious.
Calling
The
DeJounte
comment that
mid
I
is
read.
clownish.
That was clownish.
DeJounte mid? You don't think he's mid?
I think D'Lo's mid.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely mid.
Well, you have a pretty
I'm excited for our next basketball episode because I want to talk about the ESPN's 100 to 26.
I don't.
But that list was bad.
What do we expect from them at this point? Good? I don't. They had Garland 46.
Yo, bro.
Fucking SGA had 48. There isn't 47 people on earth better than him.
Mobley was high.
What the fuck is wrong with these
people
dudes?
are very split on the D'Lo and DeJounte thing, though.
Weirdly. I wouldn't say split, actually.
You lost me.
There's more
No,
people.
no. There's not a split. Minnesota fans are running up in there saying D'Lo. Real people and other worldly fans are saying DeJounte Murray, the outsiders. But there's just a lot of Minnesota NPCs walking in there, and they think they're just gonna overcloud. Nah, I told y'all we got beef this year. It's up for every Minnesota segment. It's up, everything except for the Vikings. I like them; they're cool.
I can't believe Justin Fields had 11 attempts for 70 yards.
And he had 1 pick, so it looks really
in a
bad.
2022 offensive. In 2022 fucking.
The Bears
season.
have a 1995 offense,
Dude, it's so bad.
and it's ugly as hell.
Yeah, it's actually bad. They don't take any shots.
And I
with
feel bad
Justin
for Fields, but all these fucking Bears fans who were shitting us the whole offseason saying, you guys aren't going to be shit. Yeah,
Chicago are
here
the
we
most.
go.
They have one of the most passionate fans in the world.
They do. And after the week 1 win against the Niners, oh my God, they were in the
That was the
Discord
worst thing that
going,
happened to them.
bro. Because I told them, I was like, bro,
And
you
they're
got the win.
They're
but
okay with
in
their
a monsoon. That's how you're going to win in some fucking weird shit.
They're
You're not gonna
okay.
win a lot.
They're okay with their quarterback just running out there here.
11 attempts, bro. Like,
Run the ball.
I feel so bad for Fields.
this is funny as hell.
Let me just throw that shit up.
This is what I was searching for. It's from Creflon Don. Bro, there has to be an accountability system for as hard as Joel rides for his wrong opinions that are followed with "that's facts," while telling people their opinion, which are more accurate, aren't facts. And then he went on to spiel about D'Lo.
Jesus Christ.
was
Was it long
hilarious.
or not?
It was pretty long, so I'm not gonna read it.
As
So
soon
let's
as-
go on to Would You Rather.
I'm excited.
There's been a couple of episodes where we haven't had a Would You Rather on the show, but now we have it here. And it's 2 players, right? 2 players that have had breakout performances, and that's what the Would You Rather is about. Taking players that had a big-time game and comparing them against their counterparts. So the first one up, Would You Rather Tua Tagovailoa
Let's
audition?
go. Let's go.
You just fucked it up, dude. Asking for the
I bet.
charge, man. You know what I'm saying? Now
Run
I
it
gotta- now I
back
gotta
for the
start it
TikTok.
over.
Run it
Come
back for
on,
the
man.
TikTok.
Oh my goodness. This is Would You Rather Tua Tagovailoa edition.
Yes, sir.
First
Yes,
name
sir.
up Carson Wentz.
I would go Tua.
Tua.
Jalen Hurts.
Let me just say this, man. This really warms my heart. It warms my heart.
I had 2 above Wentz before the season started.
Wow. Jalen Hurts or Tua? Tua.
Hurts.
You know me. I'm going Hurts.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Still taking Derek
Right now,
Carr.
yeah.
Stand on it, Drew.
Derek Carr just looked poopy.
Be a man.
He's looked butt.
I know you want to take Tua,
Take
and you
Tua,
should
bro.
want to take Tua right now.
Bro, he's looked ass. I'm going Tua.
Ryan Tannehill.
Tua.
Tua.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor.
Trevor.
Easily. Give me that big body.
He's a big man.
That's a huge.
I want you to be involved in these.
Oh, you want me to be involved
Yeah,
in
for
this?
sure.
Okay. So I'm taking Tua over Wentz. I'm taking Hurts over Tua. Carr over Tua. Tua over Tannehill. And Lawrence over Tua.
This one's tough because if we're going off this season, no doubt about it, I think that Tua will have the better season than Trevor Lawrence.
Who's a better player?
Statistically, yeah.
Yeah, long term, it's got to be Trev. Trev has just all the attributes to be.
So you would rather Trevor?
Damn it. Oh, my God. I'm going Tua.
Dak Prescott.
Taking Dak.
I'm taking Dak pretty easily.
I'm taking Tua.
I think Tua and Dak can do about the same.
What's
Except
Derek
the
Carr
mobility.
and Dak? There's a
I
big
think they're
gap
on the
there?
same tier.
Yeah, me too.
I think Dak has shown he is a bit better than Derek Carr.
Agreed.
I don't think so.
He has.
I don't think so. I don't think Dak's that good. This could be me having an Eagles hat on, though, and being extremely biased.
Dak's
so I'm just going to...
Years
That's
ago,
pretty
you said
freaking good.
Wentz was better than Dak.
He was.
He was not.
Okay.
Years ago, he was.
This was
Dak has
debated
never
in
been close to an
2019.
MVP. Ever. Dak has never been close to an MVP. Never.
Carson Wentz in 2019 has not been on Dak's level.
Carson Wentz would...
I mean, the year after, Carson Wentz by himself brought that team to the playoffs.
2 years after. 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interception with a bunch of dog shit.
Nah, Carson was like that.
Dak has never. Mid-ass.
Dak and Tua is a good conversation. It is. Because I really don't think that there's that much of a drop-off in skill other than the mobility aspect of things because Dak is super mobile. I'm going Tua, though.
Joe Burrow.
I'm taking Joe Burrow.
I'm taking Joe Burrow, too.
I didn't have to hesitate. I was just waiting for you.
Yeah.
I'm still taking Burrow.
My knee was hurting. That's what it was.
Is it time now or is it time
Is
5
the
weeks from now?
time
8
now?
I say you say
man.
fuck it and say it now.
The time could be now.
Do it, bro.
They're
Stand on it.
amazing. They're really great. And the Bengals are dog shit right now.
You better do it now while you can.
I'm going Tua.
Kirk Cousins.
Tua.
That's close.
I'm going Kirk Cousins.
Kirk looked like
It's
garbage.
It is close.
I'd probably take Tua right now.
Jared Goff looked better than Kirk Cousins against the Eagles.
He's not a better quarterback. Who cares?
I'd take Kirk, but I don't feel good about it.
Mac Jones.
Tua.
Tua.
I close my eyes, step back, three-pointer, Tua.
You'll miss.
I would still go with Mac Jones. I think if they're in the same situation, Mac Jones is a better
I
quarterback.
think they're similar.
Jared Goff.
Tua.
Tua clears.
I think Tua is better. But Jared Goff is close.
What about Jordan Love?
Come on.
Jordan Love?
The guy that doesn't play?
I like Jordan Love's upside. I'm not going to lie. I still like Jordan. I love Jordan Love's
So you would
upside.
rather Jordan Love over Tua Tagovailoa?
Long term? Yeah.
That means he can play.
You're standing on that?
I like Jordan Love.
Yeah, make sure you clip that.
I'm not
means he can finally
giving up
play.
my Jordan Love stock yet.
Good, I'm glad. I'm glad that that's going to be clipped into our TikTok.
He's
John, make sure you
he's
do
a penny stock on
it.
Mojo.
If there's less than a penny, that would be Jordan.
$3.
It should be overseas.
Maybe.
Because overseas money a little less, like in Africa.
I defended Tua. Don't forget that.
Yeah, very minimally, to be honest with you, there were some names I would have
So how about
expected.
let's throw one last name
Jordan
out
Love
there.
with John.
Oh, yeah.
Let's throw one last name out there. Kyler Murray.
K1 fucking easily.
Kyler.
K1.
Don't
Kyler
even think
too.
about it.
What about Matthew Stafford?
Natty.
Right now?
Stafford still.
Stafford.
Stafford still for me too.
Even though he's been, yuck. Staff is a dog.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Tua. Zach Wilson hasn't even played for you to say Zach Wilson. Come on.
Hey. Zach tough, though. But
It's not about who's plays, about what I'd rather.
I would honestly rather Zach Wilson.
Would you rather Zach Wilson? Exactly. Like,
Bro,
bro.
I'd rather Zach Wilson.
I'd rather Zach Wilson. Now,
Joe makes me
he's just
sick, bro.
swaggier,
Zach,
bro.
no, my
Huh?
issue with Zach is it's been 2 years and he has 2 injuries. That's my issue. It's not the talent. Like
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he'll figure it
Oh,
out.
yeah.
It's 2 years and 2 injuries to a guy that he's not the biggest built. He's 6'2", but he's a little late. I know he got a little bigger in the offseason. You know my
what?
issue is his
Says
injuries.
the dude
You know
who
what?
finally just fixed his fucking hip.
I know, but
It's
Tua's
a
trending up in
broken
health.
hip.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna be honest.
Zach
Listen,
the pop. I like Zach.
I'm done.
I like
with
Zach's
you.
upside.
I'm
I
done
took
with
Zach.
you. I'm
You
done
didn't
with
want to
you.
do it.
I took
I'm
Zach.
done
You
with
did
you.
not want to do
The
it.
hesitancy
The
hesitancy
week
was
by
crazy.
week, show by show
The
on
Zach-
Zach Wilson.
He's been
The conversations
Zach-
we've had, the lack of belief you have in Zachary Wilson.
How?
I won't
It-
lie.
How's that?
It's been showing.
It is disappointing to me. You know what's funny? I'm concerned about Zach. He has his injuries. you weren't concerned about Trey Lance at all.
Trey Lance never got fucking hurt.
Yeah, but you weren't concerned about Trey Lance not playing for multiple years.
Trey Lance didn't get hurt.
All you said all offseason,
Trey Lance never got hurt.
MVP agenda. Trey Lance
never
he's
got
going to go to the
hurt.
Super Bowl.
Trey Lance never got
Trey
hurt.
Lance was on a significantly
Trey
better
Lance never got
team
hurt.
in a better situation.
That
Right
fucking
now,
analogy was dog shit. Trey Lance never got hurt.
It's not. It's a fact that you believe in Trey Lance more than Zach Wilson. I think you believe in Justin Fields more than Zach Wilson.
Because I believed in his situation.
You believe in Justin Fields more than Zach Wilson. That's a fact.
No, I believe in Zach more.
Okay, I think you're lying.
I believed in Trey Lance more because of his situation. If Zach was in that situation, I would take Zach.
Mike LaFleur, last year with Mike White and Joe Flacco, our offense was a top 15 offense. This year, Joe Flacco is top 3
and I love Zach. When Zach came back in, was the top 15.
Better than Zach Wilson?
He's not better, but that's what I'm saying. Our offense is competent. Our offense is competent. Yeah, they played better than him last year for sure. Our offense
and this year.
He hasn't played. Our offense is competent. We have the weapons. We have the surrounding parts to make Zach Wilson succeed. We aren't a dumpster fire. So when Zach Wilson comes back, he's going to light the world on fire.
I'm taking Zach over Tua.
And you're mad hesitant about it. And I'm not liking
I'm taking Zach over Tua.
Didn't sound convincing.
Oh, but I did it.
Barely.
I did it. But I did it. But I did it.
Yo, respect.
I did it.
Tua, are you serious?
I took Zach over Tua.
Come on, can we stop pretending like Tua's regular? He's not.
He had one game, bro.
He's not.
Honestly,
I'm taking Zach, but Zach is much more boomer bust.
No. That one game, I think I could stamp it, sign and seal it right now. Zach Wilson will never, ever have a game like that.
All right.
I mean, there's
a lot of quarterbacks.
I would say there's some of the best quarterbacks in NFL history who don't have that game.
I mean,
has Brady thrown for 460 and 6?
Well, Brady had 505 in the Super Bowl.
That's fair. Did he have 500?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Nick Foles threw for 6 touchdowns, bro.
Nick Foles was also an MVP candidate that year.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can have one great year.
Nick Foles in Philadelphia is a great quarterback.
I am not going to just look at Tua after week 2 game and say,
we should
this
stop
guy's in
being
this guy's in the top 10.
Who we got next? Amon-Ra St Brown?
Kirk Cousins has had multiple seasons of 100+ passer rating.
Amon-Ra St Brown.
One
He's
game,
not big time.
And one game, Tua hasn't even played in prime time.
I'm fucking taking Zach. I'm fucking doing it. I don't want to hear some shit. I'm fucking taking Zach.
I don't believe
I'm taking Zach.
I don't believe it either.
Amon-Ra St
Brown.
You're off him?
Yeah.
I'm taking Zach.
And the reason it's more than that. It's just the fact that
should that be a no-brainer?
Just you believed in Trey Lance more than Zach.
Let me ask you,
all these guys,
Tua or Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Oof. You said that very comfortably and very easily.
Because of the situation. Well, listen, if Trey Lance is healthy in himself, I don't know what this ankle does for him long term. I trust Trey Lance so much because of Shanahan and that offense around him to bring up the most skill set. If he was in Chicago, I wouldn't be saying this about Trey Lance.
Is Tua a top 15 quarterback right now in your eyes?
He's close. He's really close.
I'm getting turned on.
I feel like if Trey Lance was a Jet, you'd still say Trey Lance over Zach.
He has more physical prowess.
So if they was both in San Fran, who you taking, Zach or Trey Lance?
If they're both in San Fran.
You had to pick one to put in San Fran.
Zach in San Fran would be interesting.
Zach would be a top 10 quarterback
he'd be crazy.
right now in San Fran.
I do Zach isn't as raw as a passer of Trey, so I think for right now it'd probably be him. But I still think the upside of Trey is
get it. You love Trey.
best.
He likes Trey.
But the ankle
the
injury
statement you
scares
made
me.
on the first football episode, it's true.
What?
It's true.
I got type.
Joe has a type.
It really is true.
Yeah.
I like big athletic quarterbacks who have the arm talent, who can do it all.
We'll write it in your Tinder.
I'm a progressive thinker.
Nah, I'm taking Zach over Tua. Zach is just more boomer bust. That's what it is. If you want an in McDaniel's offense, I tweeted, I think Tua is fucking perfect because he has the accuracy, he has the ball placement, he gets the ball out quick, he's a good decision maker, while Zach can make more things happen in chaos, when things break down, when maybe he doesn't have the best situation around him. I think he has more arm talent at the end of the day.
Let me ask you about Tua's zip.
What about it?
How's it look?
His zip?
His zip.
It's fine.
I'm asking
you
because
the same
you said
zip that Jimmy G
that
has.
Tua does not have zip on his ball, does not have great arm strength. Do you still feel this way?
Yeah.
His arm is not in the upper echelon of the league.
Baker I said Tua, because remember the tweet. I said Tua can make those throws down the field. It's the throws where you have to be off platform across your body or from the right hash to the left sideline or the left hash to the right sideline.
You didn't see some dots zipped in there? This past
Baker
weekend,
has a stronger arm than Tua.
15, 20 yards down the field.
Tua's
not
just
as
more,
much.
Tua's more accurate.
Baker's garbage.
Tua had a lot more touch throws, made guys open, put it in perfect placement for them to catch it. I don't think he had as many.
That ball to Gesicki was a dive.
Like Trevor
Zip
Lawrence's
in there.
zip compared to Tua's is night and day.
All right.
What
You know
about
what I'm
Kyler
saying?
Murray's that 2-point conversion play? It almost got tipped by the defensive lineman.
K1 diff.
No, but that's like
Like I still
those
worry
are
about
different
Tua's
level
zip
of
on the
arm
ball.
strength.
Now that one to Gesicki though.
That's what I'm saying,
crazy.
bro.
Yeah, but that
I'm
ball, it
just
was
saying,
like a
bro.
high ball
It was
placement.
a dot and
It
it
was a
zipped
dot.
in.
I don't disagree.
It was
When
a
we talk about
great
zip, I look at what
performance
Trevor
by
just did.
Tua. Nobody's doubting that.
And I'm
But
fucking
to-
taking Zach. I'm just gonna say 1,000,000,000 times.
No one believes.
Nah.
We know Tua had a great performance.
Oh,
It's just about but with that great performance, it doesn't mean that people that were low on him are wrong now.
Oh,
It
no.
doesn't.
They're dead wrong.
He has to keep doing it, bro.
Because in a vacuum, I still don't know if like Tua just straight attributes, raw physical attributes, still isn't in the upper echelon. Before Mike
Not even
McDaniel's
close.
system,
It's over.
it's fucking
There's
great.
nothing
He's
else
perfect.
you can say.
He's fucking perfect
After
for the
a regular
system. What
season
can I
game.
say?
No, because people were saying that he's not a starting quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback. No, first off, it was he's not a franchise quarterback.
Facts.
And
That's
then
still that's still the jury's
hold
still
on,
out.
That is still
I'm not
TBD.
finished. People went as far as say he's not a starting quarterback.
That's
that
crazy,
Teddy
yeah.
Bridgewater
People are ridiculous.
would come in eventually and start. I could pull up the tweets. It was that same game.
People
nuts.
saying that
That
ridiculous.
same
It was you,
game.
wasn't it?
You
What?
tweeted that Sunday.
Oh no, I have all the screenshots.
It was you.
Oh no,
What?
no. The Droopies came in. They
That was
did
a
right. They
wild tweet,
screenshotted
bro.
every single one of his tweets. That game, it was amazing.
Amon-Ra
Oh,
St. Brown.
beautiful.
There you go. I'm
What would you rather? Let's go to the next one.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's
you
his
can't
name?
pronounce it.
Amon-Ra
His first
St.
name is
Brown.
Amon-Ra.
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 AM-RA. AMON, sorry.
When
Dash
you
R.
named him? It's cool. It's different.
Sun God.
All right, let's do this.
Facts.
Sun God. That's
Yeah.
like his.
Let's do this.
His dad?
Is that what Amon-Ra means?
I think so.
Yeah.
You keep cutting me off when I say let's do this.
I'm trying to
was
teach him
also-
about
Let's
Amon-Ra.
let's get to the goddamn.
Was
Would you
that
rather?
racially motivated?
It
Holy
sounded
shit.
like it.
Was that racially motivated?
What was?
Because he was talking also, but yet you only told me why am I talking?
Because whenever I was going, you went.
He was talking. Was that racially motivated?
Come on.
Joel's canceled.
Would you rather Amon-Ra St. Brown edition, first name up, Christian Kirk?
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra.
I'm going Amon-Ra. Brandon Cooks.
Amon-Ra.
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 I'm glad you guys are
Rashad
learning.
Bateman.
I'm glad you're learning.
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
What the fuck?
Bateman is fast.
That's close.
He doesn't have everything that Amon-Ra has.
Bateman
Man-
is close. It'd be Amon-Ra right now though.
I mean, if you thought about Bateman, you had to think about Cooks.
You
That's
said
fair.
Cooks is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He said Amon-Ra's better right now. You did say that.
he is.
Oof, you did
Cooks is
say
a Hall
that.
of Famer, you're saying.
Okay.
What?
But Cooks has fucking 7 years.
No. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I'm taking Amon-Ra too. Elijah Moore.
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
Elijah.
Like, what has Elijah shown you that he's better than Amon-Ra?
Let him do their
I will
thing,
say
bro.
this. I'm picking Amon-Ra, but I'll take Garrett Wilson over Amon-Ra.
But why?
I like
Why?
Elijah.
Garrett Wilson is
I'll take Drake
spectacular.
London.
And so is Amon-Ra.
I would take Drake.
I'll take
I know
Drake
he
London
is.
over Amon-Ra.
Tyler Lockett.
Amon-Ra.
I'm gonna be honest. I need more spicy names. These are too easy.
Yeah, right now it's Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra. Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle for sure.
Jalen Waddle. It's weird because if I give you spicy names, it's going to be obvious who we're going to pick.
Well, if
Jalen
you
Waddle
said
easy.
if you said T Higgins, I would go Amon-Ra.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry fucking easily.
Fuck.
Why'd you do it like
That
that?
shouldn't be a thought.
No, it is.
I'm actually
Not.
going Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I'm still going Terry, but
Scary.
with a lot of target competition, Terry hasn't
Scary
exactly stepped up to
Terry.
what we're
His
expecting.
name is Scary for a reason, man.
Damn it. This is tough. I think in totality, I lean Amon-Ra.
Hunter Renfrow.
The fuck do you mean in
Amon-Ra.
He
totality?
can do everything.
Okay.
Who? Hunter Renfrow?
Hunter
Not a
Renfrow.
question. Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
I'm going Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Amon-Ra.
That's close.
This is fucking nuts.
I'd still go DJ Moore, but Amon-Ra is in that conversation.
If we're putting them in the same situation, I think I'm going DJ Moore.
Amon-Ra scores touchdowns.
What about CeeDee Lamb?
Amon-Ra.
CeeDee Lamb easily. What are we
Amon-Ra.
doing? Yo, you're bugging.
I think you need to go and watch
No, I think you need to stop using 2 games.
He's been good since last year.
They both the guys we just named had better years than him last year.
For sure.
He was dropped halfway in the season.
He was a rookie last year.
Okay.
These guys are vets. I'm still going CeeDee Lamb, but Amon-Ra is good.
I'm not saying he's not good, but DJ Moore consistent. CeeDee Lamb.
Amon-Ra is proven to be a wide receiver 1. CeeDee Lamb, we got to see it.
How is he proven to be a wide receiver 1?
Look what he did last year as a wide receiver 1. Look at what he's done early in the season as a wide receiver 1.
It's been 2 games.
So what, though? I mean, it's the 2022 NFL season. We're going off what we've seen. Amon-Ra's been arguably a top 5 receiver statistically, but in the grand scheme of things, at the minimum, he's top 15. The minimum.
That's fair.
Michael Thomas.
MT.
I don't know. Right now it's close.
It isn't a clearing. I agree, but I'm showing respect.
Should you take Drake London?
I guess I'll go I'll go Michael Thomas.
You're a fucker.
I'm going Drake London.
I'm also going Drake London.
Drake London's a savage. He's a savage.
Bro, he didn't even have 1,000 yards last year.
I know.
He was 5 touchdowns. No, but he said he showed he was a number 1. And number 1.
Look at the last 4, 5, 6 games.
That doesn't make you a number 1, bro.
As a rookie.
And
he was the only one on the field. There was no Swift. There was no Hawkinson.
He didn't have more yards than Devonta Smith.
He was a 4th-round pick. Smith was first round.
And I'll tell you this.
He's putting the expectation as acting like he was a 4th round pick.
I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you this right now.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Amon-Ra was significantly better than Devonta Smith last year.
You're taking him over Devonta Smith long term?
I would.
Significantly?
I would.
I don't know about significantly.
Look at the last 7.
It doesn't make...
All right. I'm going from 7 games and 2 games now.
Well, so you're using 2 games. Even though Devonta just got bumped down to damn near a number 3.
He's been irrelevant.
Look who's in front of him.
No, he played well against him.
He had a good game.
He
had what, 50 yards, 60 yards?
60 plus.
Hurts has to feed AJ, bro. That's AJ Brown, bro. He's not going to be a number 1.
Devonta Smith led the team in receiving yesterday.
Jalen Waddle, right? You would think that because Tyreek Hill's in town, that
Jalen Waddle's on a different level than both of them.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Okay, no duh, but Devonta Smith was still a top 13, top 14 pick in the NFL draft. It's not like he's regular or he wasn't drafted to be regular.
I don't think he's regular, but you're making it seem like
Jalen Waddle's not regular. Devonta Smith's not supposed to be regular.
Jalen Waddle's on a different level.
Devonta Smith isn't regular.
He's a really good receiver.
No, I agree with that, but he's not getting the looks that he should be. Like, I'm comparing the situation of we saw Jalen Waddle have someone come into a situation who is better than Jalen Waddle, but Jalen Waddle's still eating because Jalen Waddle's a savage.
Amon-Ra's the centerpiece of the Lions offense.
Correct.
Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are the centerpiece of the Dolphins offense. It's both. The offense is ran through both of their skill sets.
Absolutely.
AJ Brown's the centerpiece of the Eagles offense.
Not to mention we run the ball.
Devonta Smith should be paired with that.
We run the ball a lot.
Should be. I think as the season goes on, the Eagles should become more pass heavy as they keep on trusting Hurts if he keeps having these performances.
AJ Brown is on a different level than Amon-Ra.
AJ Brown, yeah, he is.
He's on a different level than him.
I'm with you.
That's why I'm saying, like, if Amon-Ra was on his team,
he would be in the
same. He would get looks.
He would get the same that Devontae would get.
No, we would not.
Hollywood or
you act like Devontae wasn't getting open.
Amon-Ra. Hollywood is overrated.
You act like Devontae wasn't getting open though. He was getting open. Jalen Hurts just wasn't looking at him.
Here we go. I just want to really read the stats to you from week 13 on. 10 receptions, 12 targets, 86 yards, a touchdown. 8 receptions, 12 targets, 73 yards, no touchdown. 8 receptions, 11 targets, 90 yards, a touchdown. 9 receptions, 11 targets, 91 yards, a touchdown. 8 receptions, 11 targets, a touchdown, 111 yards. 8 receptions, 10 targets, 109 yards, and a touchdown. From week 13 to week 18, he was one of the best receivers in the game.
In the game? He had 100 yards like 3 times.
Dude, a 5-week sample size.
Dude, he had over 70 yards every single game from week 13 on. He had over 8 catches in every single game from week 13 on. He had a touchdown in every game but one.
Let's look at
Throw some respect on his name.
Right.
No, I think you're just pumping him too fast. Just a little too fast. That's all. You're calling him a certified number 1. And
he is.
I don't think he's earned that right yet.
Nah, he is.
I don't think he's earned that right
yet. He's the number 1 for sure.
He's the number 1.
No, he's number 1 certified number 1. He's the number 1 for Detroit, but I don't think he's a certified number 1.
Signed and sealed.
See, I think we're pushing him up too fast. Is he the number 1 for Detroit? Yeah, absolutely. But is he a certified number 1? I don't think he's there yet.
He's putting up insane numbers.
He was putting up insane numbers for a short span of a season.
So if he just came out to start the season,
if he consistently knocks this off, like he knocks this off for a year, I'll give you the title.
He was mediocre to start.
I'm not saying he's mediocre. There's a lot of elite receivers in the league. There's a lot of nice ass receivers.
Amon-Ra is becoming one of them.
Is he top 15?
Right now, yes.
Okay. Well, he finished top 15.
I just said at the bare minimum.
Top 15.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll see.
Christian Kirk could possibly have more yards than him this year.
He's not as talented as Amon-Ra.
Why?
He's not. Amon-Ra's a polished route runner. He's super fast. He's got
Christian
great
Kirk
hands.
is a polished route runner too.
I'm just taking Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra's a better route runner
open.
for sure. But Kirk is a really good route
And
runner.
Amon-Ra is doing this his rookie year and to start his second year with mediocre quarterback play with some weapon. With like Swift is on that team. Hawkinson's kind of got shifted out.
Who got mediocre play?
Talking about Jared Goff. He's been good, but compared to Trev.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I don't know, man. I just think I'd be pumping guys too fast.
Next segment, Mojo Report. We announced our Mojo partnership last episode.
Yes, sir.
And each football episode, we're going to have a Mojo Report. We're going to look at player stock prices. And rookie receivers right now are going crazy. So Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, and Treylon Burks, all of their stock prices went up 3%. Garrett Wilson, after his performance, it went up 17.5%. It was at $12. It's now at $14. Now, the question for you guys is, out of the 5 rookie wide receivers, I believe all of them were drafted in the first round, right? Okay. They were all drafted in the first round?
I'm sorry. I missed all the names, but
Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks. Was there anyone else drafted in the first round?
No.
Okay. So, out of all the 2022 wide receivers that were drafted, which one in the first round? Let me start it back. Out of all the 2022 wide receivers that were drafted in the first round, which one would you invest in? I'll start with you, Riv.
I would probably invest my stock in Drake London. I think he's probably one, if not the best, he's one of the best all-around receivers on there. I love his deep threat ability. I love his hands. I think he has the perfect size for a receiver. He's physical. He's strong. Give me Drake London. And he's handsome.
My answer is pretty easy. I'm going with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, there was a graphic with the first 2 games in their careers. He has more yards than Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Pushing that for real.
I'm not saying Garrett Wilson will be that, but Garrett Wilson, there was a reason why he was my wide receiver 1. And I think when Zach comes back, this offense is going to go nuclear.
For sure.
And Garrett Wilson, that's my guy, no doubt.
Zach's going to really put himself in that top 15 quarterback conversation, man. I'm excited.
I hate you.
You guys know who I'm going with. Treylon Burks. He was elite right away at Arkansas in college. He comes into the NFL. All this talk in the preseason. If Mojo was around in the preseason, you probably could have got him for free with all the talk and the beat reporters saying that he's on the 3rd team. He's playing in the 4th quarter of the preseason. Week 1, he got some snaps. Week 2, we saw more snaps, led the team in receptions and receiving yards. I think as the season goes on, he's just going to get better. I think he'll be the best wide receiver out of this class.
Garrett Wilson really impressed, but his price went up a decent amount since his last game against the Cleveland Browns. A guy that I'm looking at that hasn't even suited up yet, that I'm expecting, that I want to put my money into, that I'm expecting him to play extremely well, is Jameson Williams, Detroit Lions wide receiver. Right now, you're looking at him being $12.94, cheaper than Garrett Wilson, cheaper than Drake London. I want to be ahead of the curve. I understand that Jameson Williams has a specific skill set that only he has out of these rookie wide receivers. And the way that this Detroit Lions offense has been clicking, Jameson Williams is a guy that I look at and think, I want to get in early before it's too late. Like a Garrett Wilson who just popped off. Like Drake London who's been tweaking to start the season. I'm just trying to get ahead and beat the rest to the punch.
It is just one game, though. I think Garrett Wilson, if he gets to that upper echelon of receiver, he'll be over $20 by like next year. So $14 for $20, I'll take that investment. You know I got to go with my Jets guy.
But I'll tell you what, guys that are less than $20 that are still great wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown's less than $15. Michael Pittman's $15. Drake London costs more than Pittman, Amon-Ra, Terry McLaurin. That should not be. Drake London is gonna be a star, I agree, but Amon-Ra right now, there's no reason why he should cost less than Drake London.
Tua, after a 6-touchdown game, his price went up 5%. It's now at $33. It was at $31 pregame. Now, right now, this is Tua versus other quarterbacks. Tua's price is at $33. Daniel Jones at $33. It's higher than Tua's. Mariota at $33.63. It's higher than Tua. Jimmy Garoppolo at $33. It's higher than Tua's. I'm not counting in the sense right now because that's too much work. The question is, What do you want to do here in terms of these comparable quarterbacks, and what are we seeing from the others? Now, I'll just say this. I think Tua should be worth more than these quarterbacks because this stock price is also taking into account their future projection. So although Tua had a 6-touchdown game, Mojo is still projecting him to be around his caliber of quarterback. Now, I think Tua can maybe reach that Kirk Cousins level. He can be a top 15 quarterback. So I think right now for him to be grouped into these quarterbacks, his price will be much higher.
All you have to do is look at Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins costs $64. Tua, when you guys sat here and laughed at me, was $29.
Right.
It's gone up $4 since we last had this conversation. Now, if we think that now his new adjusted ceiling is Kirk Cousins, well, now you're looking at $30. That's the difference in why you have to jump on Tua and his price right now. And it's that simple to me.
What do you guys have to say about that?
Oh, I thought this was just for you. This is the Tua thing. I agree. I think he'll be better than Kirk Cousins. I think he'll be up in that echelon, top 12, top 13. I think the reason why his price didn't go up so much is because, like you said, they still don't believe he can get to that upper echelon. They think this was just I don't want to say a fluke game, but this is just one of those games where a quarterback can have where he just turns amazing, and then people probably look at it as Waddle and Tyreek Hill pretty much carried him. But they don't see what Drew sees. They don't see what, to a degree, we've all kind of come to this table and see, like, Tua could really be big time.
It's disrespectful he's the same price as Marcus Mariota, with all due respect. Jimmy G, I get, because they're going to be a team that wins, right? They're going to go to the playoffs, so they'll probably win a playoff game. Mariota and the Falcons right now, they're not going to the playoffs. I think we could safely say that. So I understand being the same price as Jimmy G, but he's younger. He's on a better offense. I think he has better skill positions with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So right now, if you're looking at Kirk Cousins at 64 and you could get Tua, who we think he could be at the same conversation by the end of the year, I mean, that seems like a pretty good investment to me.
And also, I got confirmation on what happens when players retire. So if you buy a player, let's say his price is at $50 and Mojo is projecting him to be at $70, if he retires, you get that $20 in difference in stock.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they retire, you cash out. That's basically how it works.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Now, on to the next topic. We're going to combine these two. Which 2-0 team are you most impressed with, and which 0-2 team are you most concerned about? Now, for me, I picked the team in the AFC and the NFC. The two teams that are 2-0 that I'm most impressed with, the Buffalo Bills, manhandled the Rams and the Titans. I think they're the best team in football right now. And then the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat the Lions. The concern was their defense. Then they were great defensively against the Vikings. Jalen Hurts showed out. I'm looking at the Eagles, and right now, I think they're the most complete team in the NFC.
You're not gonna name. You're just naming those two.
I'm just naming those two.
Okay, for me, we might have identical answers. For me, it's obviously the Buffalo Bills. I think everybody is probably gonna say that. I've been on this train for a minute. I thought they was gonna be the best team in the league. I kept telling you about Josh Allen. He's been fucking amazing. He's been incredible. So I think the Bills, the way they've dominated on defense, they've been elite. Von Miller has been setting the tone for them. The secondary has been great. And then offensively, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, probably the best, if not the best, one of the best quarterback receiver duo in the league. Stephon Diggs is making a statement. He's also, I feel like people haven't been talking about him as much, but he's been putting on the fucking show.
Best wide receiver in the game.
You can make that argument. He's been playing amazing back-to-back weeks. For me, of course, my Eagles on the other side against the Lions. That Lions win looks a lot better because they look impressive. Offensively, we got it going. Defensively, in week 2, we showed out. The defense came to play. The defensive line was amazing. The secondary was fucking incredible. Avonte Maddox making that interception was dope. He's been mid for the most part, but he played amazing that game. And I think the secondary just showed improvements. So those have been the best two teams in the league for me.
He's a cheat code to Madden. He has a 96 speed.
Fucking for real.
Avonte Maddox. Yeah.
So the obvious answer.
Speed is really all that matters in Madden. That's just
really
crazy.
That's been like that for years. So the obvious answer is the Buffalo Bills. They've been the most impressive team by far. They look dominant on both sides of the ball. The pass rushes look great. The secondaries look fantastic. The run stop has looked fantastic, where they held Derrick Henry to under 2 yards a carry. I believe it was 1.7 yards a carry off the top of my head. They've been dominant, absolutely. You mentioned the Eagles, another team that you got to look at, and you got to give credit where credit is due. The number one offense right now, they've been fantastic. But a team that I have to give credit where credit is due is the Miami Dolphins. Absolutely. Game 1 against New England, that was a win that I was expecting. But to come out with the W against the Ravens down 21, like we just went on a plethora of tangents earlier on in the show, you can't overlook a thing like that. The defense looked sloppy, but in the fourth quarter, they got it together. They put the offense in a position where all they had to do was their job, and the offense did exactly that. So, of course, you have to look at the Dolphins and think that they've been one of the most impressive 2-0 teams.
We've been saying it's Tua time.
You guys mentioned the Bills, so I won't say them. The Chiefs have also been fantastic start off the year. Dominated the Cardinals week 1. Maybe got a little lucky week 2 against the Chiefs. Some dropped interceptions, a pick 6 to win the game.
Chargers.
But hey, against the Chargers. But you get a division win against the Chargers. You'll take that. Don't think twice about it. The two other teams, though, the Dolphins and Eagles. I look at these teams very similar, that both had questions at quarterback. Both brought in star wide receivers to elevate this offense. And as of right now, both of these teams, specifically their offenses, have looked fantastic. I think if you're an Eagles fan, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you have to feel really good about your quarterback, about your coaching. I do feel a little bit better about the Eagles defense right now than Miami's. But Miami has a chance against Buffalo this week to make a statement.
To be fair,
What?
Eagles defense looked pretty poopy against the Lions.
It was just that fourth quarter.
No. It was the
Dolphins.
secondary. I mean, the defensive line.
Them clamping up the Vikings, just,
very impressive.
It takes away everything that happened versus Detroit, in my opinion.
Good point.
Defensive line.
Shout out to the Giants too for being 2-0. Shout out to them.
I mean, I think that we knew that, but to me, I wasn't going to mention them as the most impressive because their wins was against Tennessee, who right now looking like one of the worst teams. Let's be honest, they've looked like trash, and the Panthers, who might be the worst team in the NFL.
So 2-0 start, first time since 2016. So shout out to them. And the Buccaneers handling their kryptonite in the Saints.
Buccaneers been great. They've been pulling out some tough wins,
and the defense has been amazing.
Last week they didn't even have a lot of their receivers. Everybody was gone.
There are 5 teams that are 0-2 in the NFL right now: the Falcons, Panthers, Titans, Raiders, and Bengals. Now I don't know about you guys, but I think the Panthers and Falcons, it's expected. The Titans, we weren't high on this team. It's really between the Raiders and the Bengals in terms of which team you've been most disappointed in. And for me, I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, because this is a team that I thought the biggest question mark was going to be defensively. Right now, it's looking like offensively, that's their biggest question mark. Derek Carr has not played well up to this point in the first 2 weeks. And I attribute that to Josh McDaniels' system being difficult. There's a lot of checks at the line. Derek Carr has to master this offense. The offensive line is still bad. Derek Carr doesn't have much time in the pocket, but he's also made mistakes himself. And the defense, although it's been the best part of their team, I don't think it's that good. I think the defense is average. The Raiders blew a lead to the Cardinals. They were up 20-0. They blew that lead. I understand some of that was just Kyler being Kyler and being Houdini and making big-time plays.
Sack him for like 10 minutes.
But right now, I'm more concerned about the Raiders because they are in a division with the Chargers and the Chiefs. With the Bengals, we saw Baltimore just blow a lead. I don't trust Pittsburgh, and I don't trust Cleveland until Deshaun comes back. So the Bengals have some room for error. Where the Raiders, if they start off slow, there's no chance they can win the division or even make the playoffs in their division.
Yeah, for me, it's the Raiders because, one, I had them making the playoffs. I think I was the only one here. And, 2, like you said, it's that division. They have to be damn near perfect from here on out to secure a playoff spot. And I thought the biggest question mark for them would be the defense. I thought the offense was going to be one of the best groups in the league. Week 1, you saw spam alert. That's not a bad thing. It's just Devontae Adams, he's the best. He's one of the best receivers in the league. When you see him, you spam the shit out of him no matter what.
He did it week 1, not week 2, though.
Yeah, week 1, get it. But I thought the offense wasn't as good week 1. I thought week 1 they were a little slow. It took a little time to get it together. Hunter Renfrow was a fucking no-show. And then week 2, like you just said, they blew the lead. I mean, Arizona, they couldn't sack Kyler Murray when they needed to. They couldn't make plays in that fourth quarter. And then in OT, the game just got away from them. So I think for me, the Raiders have been the biggest disappointment for me because I thought this was a team that was going to come out firing, be one of the best teams in the division, and they've been probably one of the worst, just blowing leads and not being good.
Real quick, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you guys. Raiders were definitely on my list. They've been terrible on both the offensive and the defensive side of things. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, as in they have Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs. But I'm not ignoring that poor offensive line, and I'm not ignoring Derek Carr and his poor play right now. But I will give him a little bit of easing off the gas on fully saying that it's his fault because the offensive line's trash, and he's one of those that does need some time. But he has the weapons. He needs to start utilizing them and start getting points on the board and not being one of the worst production-wise teams offensively.
Stephen A. Smith had a great monologue about him the other day. First time I watched it, it was pretty awesome.
And what did he say specifically?
Just very passionate. When you going to step the hell up? You Derek fucking
Last
Carr.
year, he did step up. I mean, he was one of the league leader in yards, didn't have the touchdown production because he didn't really have touchdown guys. Darren Waller was out for,
you got Waller,
I think he missed
Renfrow.
7 games, 6 games last year. But now you have Tay. There's no excuse why you shouldn't be one of the more dominant offenses. And the defense has just been poor. And now Tennessee, 0-2 against the Giants and the Bills. The Bills, we can give you a little bit of slack for, but the Giants is inexcusable. They've been horrible offensively, horrible defensively, a bottom 6 team defensively. There's no excuse for this. And the lock was supposed to be Derrick Henry at the minimum. Last year, he masked a lot of their deficiencies on the offensive line where they're already terrible in pass pro, but their run blocking was not that great at all. But Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry. This season, we're seeing Derrick Henry get off to a rough start where week 1 he rushed for under 80 yards, and week 2 he didn't even rush for 2 yards a carry. He got into the end zone, but in the grand scheme of things, does that really matter when you don't even eclipse 2 yards a carry? Like, I understand how great the Bills are, but that's Derrick Henry. We're never expecting him to play this poor. Sorry for just spitting on your roof. But ultimately, these two teams have been embarrassing. I did. I just spit.
No, you didn't spit on me.
Oh, okay.
You were good. I would have told you. Like,
I saw it, so that's why I said something.
do it again. I mean, nah, don't do that.
Oh my God. I think the Raiders are too talented to be bad the whole year. I think eventually they'll be competitive, but I didn't have them as a playoff team. I thought they were the worst team in the AFC West. Tennessee, I'm concerned about. I think this is a lack of talent, truthfully. You know I'm high on Trey Lance, but outside of that, Robert Woods. Trey Lance was really good. Robert Woods has had some moments, but he's 30 coming off a torn ACL. Derrick Henry was someone coming into the season that I was a bit worried about. Before his injury last year, his efficiency wasn't there. He comes back from a foot injury. He's 28 years old. He's a big wide receiver, a lot of carries on his body. He hasn't been fantastic to start the season. But I think the Panthers might have the number 1 pick in the draft. Baker Mayfield has come in, and he's been fucking terrible. He's averaging
Bryce Young.
He's averaging less than 200 yards a game. He's at like 57% completion percentage. He has 5 fumbles through 2 weeks. 5 fucking fumbles through 2 weeks.
Daniel Jones would never.
Yeah. Baker's been bad. If I had to choose right now, like the Falcons been competitive, right? They almost beat the Saints, they lost it.
Man,
and then the Rams, the same thing. They almost came back in the 4th, but lost it.
When are we
but
doing
right now,
the
I'm worried
Daniel
about the
Jones
Panthers.
would you rather, man?
Why are you giggling?
I'm looking at this tweet of you quoting the Wolves announcement, and you're like, great guess. And somebody commented, I think to help your knowledge, I would hope you can watch more Wolves games. Maybe you can learn something about the team. And Rev responded, I have league passes.
Yeah, I just respond. You gotta just respond to shit like that. Just like that. I have league pass, bro.
I think the Bengals, the reason why I'm a bit concerned is because more teams are using cover 2 against them, a cover 2 shell, which they're taking away big time plays. And I think last year we saw Kansas City struggle with it. This year, Cincinnati struggling with it. And this is a team that should have improved their offensive line, but their offensive line this year hasn't looked very improved. So because of that, it's a bit concerning, but I feel like Joe Burrow and company are going to figure it out. And what they have over the Titans and the Raiders is that their defense is still lights out. Like, their defense is playing very, very good football. So that is a step in the right direction. Yes, it hasn't been against great offenses.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's been against terrible offenses, but what we've seen in the playoffs, what they've done to great teams, they've been able to limit them offensively. So that's why I believe in the Bengals. But there are 3 teams right now that are 0-2 that made the playoffs last season. The Titans, Raiders, and Bengals. Are all 3 of these teams missing the playoffs?
The Titans, yes. The Raiders are missing the playoffs. You still think the Raiders are missing?
I'm going to go on a limb and say the Raiders and Bengals will still make the playoffs.
You still think the Raiders make it?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
The Bengals still have a chance, but right now, if you're telling me, do I want to pick the Bengals or Miami, like, I'm starting with Miami.
Yeah, there's no way that I feel comfortable picking any of these teams right now to make the playoffs. Tennessee's look terrible.
I'm not even
Both offensively and defensively. The Raiders defensively look shitty, and their offensive line's not good by any means. Of course, they have the weapons, but you need time in the pocket to get the ball to them. The Bengals, the biggest question mark right now because they aren't supposed to be 0-2. Should have never lost to the Steelers. Should have never lost to the Cowboys without Dak Prescott. I want to say that I think they can make the playoffs because it's just hard to count a team with that much talent out. But it's not looking pretty. I'm going to say they do make the playoffs still, though.
The Titans and Raiders, I think, missed the playoffs. The Bengals last season lost 2 games in a row multiple times, and they made the playoffs. I think the Bengals are making the playoffs because Joe Burrow ultimately is a winner.
He is.
He's a winner.
It was Jimmy G.
He's not joking.
Oh,
Don't be disrespectful.
No, it's a fact.
So is Tua, right?
Not playoffs.
Hey, listen, he got one of them bad boys from college. You know
No cap.
So is Deshaun Watson.
Get out of here.
They're all winners. Cam Newton, Deshaun. Who else? Jalen Hurts. Isn't he a winner? He definitely got one.
Got benched.
But Jalen Hurts got benched for guess who?
Doesn't matter.
Guess who? Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he still got the ring. That's all that matters.
On to the last
And who's better
topic
now?
of the show. NFL
Tua.
Pick'em Week 3. Our Week 3 NFL picks. First game up, Steelers at Browns. Thursday Night Football.
I'm going Browns. Steelers' rush defense is not that great. And the Browns have Nick Chubb, who's dominant and been dominant.
Oh, Nick Chubb is dominant now.
I've never said he wasn't.
Okay. I'm going with because TJ Watt isn't playing. I don't think. Give me Nick Chubb.
Not the Browns. Nick
No,
Chubb.
give me Nick Chubb. He is
Good opinion, honestly.
one of the best running backs in the league.
He is.
He's a dog. And Cleveland, I feel like they're still going to get out the swing. Jacoby Brissett, he's all right. You know, he hasn't been, but he hasn't been. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm going with the Browns.
I'll go with the Steelers.
You just want to be,
Dude,
just want to be different.
You're so whack.
Bills at Dolphins. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
This was the hardest one of the week for
This
me
wasn't
by
hard
far.
for me at all.
Then say it.
I got the Bills, man.
If you can't beat the Bills at home,
They can't.
You're going 0-2. You know, and this is just there's no greater confidence that the Miami Dolphins are going to feel this season, maybe at all. I'm gonna go Miami, but this is gonna be one that I could be terribly
Is that
wrong
like
about.
objective? Like, are you being biased when you say? Because I'm 1,000% being biased.
Oh my god.
No, it smells like garbage.
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't say it's biased because last week I did feel that they would beat the Ravens. I didn't look great until it
Ravens
actually
aren't the
happened.
Bills.
You're 100% right there, which is why I do have an uneasiness.
And Josh Allen,
but they're home.
He owns the Dolphins.
The difference is they're home.
That's fair. It's gonna get loud in there.
I think that Tua needs one.
Nobody can
The
stop.
Bills
Diggs
are
right
the
now.
only team that have really eluded Tua this early in his career. I think this is the week.
I'm taking Buffalo, but Miami's got to feel good about it.
Hey,
Going into
hey,
it, you know?
MJ
They gotta feel
Tour
good.
is gonna keep going, baby.
Did you
Bengals
were you
at
talking about
Jets.
Tua when you said that?
Said about what?
About his MJ tour?
Oh fuck no.
Bengals.
Undoubtedly not.
Bengals at Jets.
Oh, this is I can't even say this is an easy win right now. I'll take the Bengals though.
The Bengals can start off with losses to Mitch, Cooper Rush, and Joe Flacco.
Yo, what's crazy side thing? The last time I was at a Jets game, Josh Allen, in fact, won the game and Darnold blew like a 15-point lead in the second half.
It was 16-point lead.
16. Yeah, I was on the field actually.
I'm taking Cincy.
Well, actually, we're going to be at this game. Didn't say that
Yes,
we were
sir.
going to be there, but we're going to be there this weekend. And that should be very fun to see the Bengals beat up on the Jets. But hopefully the Jets make it a good fight because obviously, you know, I'm here for you guys. That being said, Bengals should win this pretty easily.
With how the Bengals have looked, nobody's beating up on the Jets. The Bengals are lucky Zach Wilson isn't playing. But since it's Joe Flacco, I'll go with the Bengals. Raiders at Titans.
I'll take the Raiders. I think they've looked better out of these two teams.
Talk about the battle of the mids. I'm going to go. Are you taking your B-Real right now? Yeah. Tough. I'm going Raiders, but not confidently.
I'm going with the Titans. They're home. They need this win. Both teams are 0-2. They both need this win. But Titans are home. I'm going with them.
You look handsome, Dehls. Battle with the mids. Give me the Raiders. I feel like this is the win they got to get. This is the win they need to go perfect, like I said. And I think they'll get this one.
Saints at Panthers.
Saints. Undoubtedly.
Saints.
The defense would carry the win, regardless.
Saints should win this one.
I think the Saints should win this one. Jameis is dealing with an injury, but I think their defense does carry the day. Ravens at Patriots.
Baltimore.
Ravens shouldn't lose this game.
Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens. Lions at Vikings.
This one was difficult for me to pick.
Ooh. At Vikings?
Lions defense has been atrocious. I don't see how they stop Jettas. I don't see how they stop.
Vikings have to have a bounce back game. I'll take the Vikings. It'll be a good close game though.
I agree. I'll take the Vikings in a close one.
My heart really wants to take the Lions, but I can't, especially because it's at Minnesota. So I'm going Vikings.
They'll split though, I think.
No, for sure.
The Vikings need a bounce back game, and I think this is the game to do it. I have them winning. Eagles at Commanders.
Ooh, this is a good one for us. Road game, division game. Give me the Eagles. Carson Wentz might come out, revenge game, but we're going to dominate.
Taking Philly as well.
20-point blowout, by the way.
Damn, man. You know what? I'm going Commanders.
Eagles' offensive line has been great. That's not even what I want to say. What I want to say is that the Commanders' offensive line has been horrible. The Eagles' defensive front is really freaking good. I'm going with the Eagles in this one. I think Jalen Hurts puts on a show.
And our linebackers have been solid. Shout out to T.J. Edwards, man.
And Kazir White.
Talk, bro. We so complete.
I'm changing. Eagles aren't losing this one.
Chiefs at Colts.
Kansas City might 30 clip them.
Kansas City will indeed go in there and whip their ass. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, 100% Chiefs are winning.
I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Damn it, I wanted you to pick the Colts.
So bad.
Texans at Bears.
Texans should win this game. They've looked decent. Bears have looked like garbage.
The Bears defense is okay.
Sneaky?
Sneaky. They young. They got some boys out there. I'm gonna take the Bears.
If Justin Fields throws for more than 20 attempts, they have a chance. But the way they're running this offense, I can't pick them against anybody. Give me Houston.
The Texans' defense has looked pretty good the first 2 weeks. I think that they have the pieces to limit Chicago's offense even more than it's limited right now. So I'm going with Houston. I think they get their first win of the season. Jaguars at Chargers.
Chargers should win this one.
Chargers for me too. Rams at Cardinals.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals in the upset.
That's not a crazy opinion.
They feeling it. They feel good after that big win. I'm gonna take the Cardinals.
I get where you're coming from. I do.
Trust in K1, bro. Don't fold on me now.
I trust in K1.
Bro's gonna fold.
Cardinals are freaking mid.
Rams are fucking mid too.
They are. You know what, Riv? Thank you.
Bro, we ride.
Cardinals.
I'm going with the Rams in this one. Packers at Buccaneers.
Ooh.
Buccaneers.
How healthy are the Bucs?
It's a great question.
Julio they don't have nobody throwing the ball. If they give me at least two guys, Mike Evans isn't playing.
He's facts. Oh god.
But Packers ain't got shit either. Give me the Bucs.
Leonard Fournette.
It's gonna be a tight one.
Leonard Fournette's gonna have a huge game.
Yes, very tight.
I'm going Bucs.
Like knotted up 8 times tight. Like this might be a low scoring game. Give me the Bucs.
I'll take the Bucs as well.
I actually have the Buccaneers as my pick, but thinking about it, their injuries, the Packers' defense.
They fucked up on that. Hold on.
I think, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. Falcons at Seahawks.
I'm going to take the Falcons.
Falcons have looked good.
I think this is a
for
Drake
being
London
bad.
day.
For sure.
I'll take Seattle at home.
I'm going with Seattle at home. Geno Smith, one thing about him is that he doesn't make much mistakes. He limits turnovers, and I think as long as they can run the ball well, which they can against Atlanta, and Geno can make smart passes, I think they'll do just enough to beat Atlanta. Next game, 49ers at Broncos.
I got the Niners. I'm standing on that.
I'm going my boys. Come on, Broncos.
Statement game for Denver. Let's see it.
You taking Denver?
Yep.
Listen, the Broncos have a bad coach. The Niners have a great one. Jimmy G starting. He's 33-14 as a starter. Right. San Fran is winning in primetime.
Jimmy G, baby.
And Monday Night Football, Cowboys at Giants.
This actually could be a really good game.
On cool. 3, let's all say it, baby.
1, 2, 3, Giants.
G-Men.
Going with the G-Men.
I'm going with the Giants, too.
Let's go, man.
I think we just jinxed us.
Fuck the Cowboys.
I don't care. I said it weeks ago. 4-0 to start the season.
That's going to do it for episode 212 of the Pick Aside Podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.